What's up, y'all? FastForwardGaming here, and this is my last video in our series of videos. Well, there might be one more part, I don't know. But, yeah, on my commentary of the Easy Allies videos with Maximilian Dude on Final Fantasy 7. This is the last one currently out. This one's 4 hours, which is crazy long, as you guys can see. But I'm gonna be doing it 2 times speed, so I can't believe they don't do it higher than 1080p. But yeah, I'm gonna get through this hopefully pretty quickly. I just want to get this done, and then go on to my Metal Gear playthrough. Playing through at least all the games before 5 is my goal. Multiple versions of them as well. So look forward to that. But yeah, for now, let's get this started.
Special guest, Max Dude. How's it doing, Maximilian Dude? How's it doing?
Hi,
How's it
hi,
going?
we're back. We have, I guess, like concluded our timelines. We're all like meeting up here, and we've all collided once again. It's good to see you all.
Yeah, yeah. Little foreshadowing right there.
I know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay, sure. Okay, we can play like that. All right. I know the story. I know the future. Maybe like some other characters possibly in this game. But this is our spoiler mode. I'm joined by Michael Huber as well. How's it going, Huber?
Oh, doing really well. Excited.
Dude, I just want to say, when I was playing this for review in advance, I told you already, I was so tempted. Multiple times I like hold my hand away from hitting enter on the keyboard to send him messages on Slack. I'm like, no, he hasn't played it yet. I can't send him that because I was like, dude, this part. And he's like, oh no, he hasn't experienced it yet. I'm like, shit. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, it was brutal for me because I was late too, and I sort of went completionist run on my first playthrough. Yeah, so I was just like, oh my god, everybody knows about this ending but me, and people have been waiting like weeks for me to finish it. So I'm glad that we're finally here. I've sat on some thoughts for a couple of days now, and I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Excellent. And so we're about ready to begin here.
Oh yeah, I guess I should say. So this is obviously, if you can't tell from the title of the video, it's FF7 Rebirth. And yes, spoiler mode, all spoilers on the table. So, and they're probably going to go into theories for part 3, and I'm just going to kind of say my opinion on different parts of it and stuff too.
So this is our usual warning. If you have, like, this is a broader warning than usual. If you've not anything with the word Final Fantasy 7 in it is fair games to talk about in this spoiler mode. OG Final Fantasy 7, Remake, Rebirth, any of the compilation of Final Fantasy stuff, Advent Children, Dirge, any of the Crisis Core, Before Crisis, all that stuff could come up here. And I'm just gonna give you a broader warning, like just general Final Fantasy warnings, because some of this, the rabbit hole might go a little bit deep here with some of the stuff that might be coming up. So let me just give you an umbrella warning here. We've all been in the game.
I'm guessing that Danya is gonna bring up 12 or 10 stuff.
All right, before we kick off here, it has begun. Love that movie. Before we kick this off, though, real quick, Max, we got to do this. For those people who just might not be familiar with you, there are some people out there. Tell us a little bit about yourself before we dive into this.
Yeah, so thank you so much for bringing me on your podcast once again to talk about Final Fantasy 7. My name is Maximilian Dude. I'm a massive Fortnite streamer. I love Call of Duty. Just a break, I love Roblox and Minecraft. I'm just kidding. I do a lot of fighting game stuff. Conveniently, also a big Final Fantasy 7 fan, just in general. I've been very lucky to be put into a situation where like a lot of people, when they hear Final Fantasy 7, like think of my name and they go to my streams and my videos, which I do appreciate. So I'm just doing my best, trying to get as many videos out as possible and thoughts and information. So
and that's the thing is, it's mostly about him getting out videos rather than me making sense. But yeah.
Because there was a lot to think about with that game. So I got a big shout out to Easy Allies. Like I never even did an own personal take on the crazy theories at the end of FF7. It was kind of you guys. We did that live. So that video is pretty great.
I'm glad you had an outlet for that. And honestly, where we're going with this type of stuff, I gotta say, this has made me way more intrigued in like narrative and storylines and like timelines. And, and I haven't felt this in a long time because just a little background from me real quick, like Zelda timeline stuff. This is starting to scratch that itch where I've generally got bored with that in the Zelda universe. I'm done with that. It's like it's not as interesting. Square Enix has found a way to like work up that mystique, that enigma again about getting all the fan base riled up about theories. Like they study that along with like multiverses. It's like the hottest thing in the past like 5 years. So they're just combining these two powerful forces, and it's just like undeniable how it's just like its gravity has caught everyone in it.
For sure. And I feel like they were aware of that a little bit with part 1, where part 1 had sprinkling. They peppered some stuff here and there, and they're like, we wonder if people are going to catch on with this, or they're just going to play it straight, because you could definitely play it straight with that one. And it was like, okay, so there's some big braining that could happen here, and there's some conversations that could take place, and once you get somebody to see it, there's like a click. It's like, oh, you're kind of right. This is all throughout the game. But this game's sort of unapologetic about it, and they just lay out the plate. So we get to talk about that today. We get to talk about all the stuff that they put on the table, and then again, the awareness of that, where now they're like, oh, now we know people are doing this, so we're going to go even more than ever before. It's like, oh god, now there's almost too much, brother. Like, what is happening?
Yeah, and I know a lot of you are here because you want to hear a lot of our crazy theories and Max's like awesome theories that go many levels deep. But I got to start at the beginning and ask them basic questions. You just finished this a little over a day ago, Max. It's still pretty fresh with you. Like, what are your overall impressions of just the game? Like all the different elements about it. I mean, I watch a lot of your streams. You seem to enjoy it, but yeah, how are you feeling about it now?
Yeah, and I feel like it's kind of a tough one because it's been like my life for the past like months. It's done so much to consume so much of my time and thought space in the past month that it's like, okay, I got to put this into a compendium of some way. And I don't want to like really hype everybody up in a way or disappoint people with an overall thought because I haven't done a final review. So I don't want to set all these crazy expectations, but I think it's one of the greatest video games ever made. So sorry, like if they're like, oh, was it this good or that good? No, I think it's actually legit one of the best video games I have ever played, and that comes from a bias of Final Fantasy 7 for sure, because the game is clearly catering towards FF7.
Yeah, I kind of agree that it's got to be one of the best games ever made.
Squaresoft 90s level game making. It's aggressive. It is all over the place. It is ambitious.
It is
it's
so
risky.
complete.
Like, a lot of their
It's
games felt like they
you
used to
can
be.
every
So
inch
it
is
very
just
much feels
packed
like,
with money. You can
especially from like
see
the
it,
Japanese side of the
dude.
gaming industry. Feels like we're back in the SNES or PS1 time with this game.
So
and from the
good.
likes of which a lot of these games that come out from the big devs like the Square Enix, the Capcom, the Bandai Namco's, this one feels so unsafe. It feels like they're just throwing stuff at the wall, and we want to throw all of it. We're not. There's no limitations.
It's actually two of the best games ever made because it has Queen's Blood.
Yeah, dude, dog.
Can't stop from this.
Like, let me tell you, there gets to be a point where it's like, I love the towns, and we'll talk about all these individual elements. I love just getting to towns and just talking to people and the world building. So where are these Queen's Blood bitches? It's like showing up at an arcade where these fools think they're hot. I'm gonna show them my destruct deck.
I was ready to throw down cards.
I gotta say, Max, I watched you fight. Well, we'll just say Regina, aka the real person behind the villainy of Queen's Blood, and I saw how long it took you to complete that, and I know I took much longer to do that. Huber, I don't know how long it took you to tackle that.
Final,
If you did it.
oh, we did spoilers. Final battle.
Yeah, the one with the card that's annoying, and you have the Emerald Witch card that like counters it. So,
Yes.
that one took me. I think it took you like maybe 30 minutes of tries, Max. I was like, what the fuck?
I out destroyed her.
Yeah, that one. So
Is what I did.
Not the hardest Queen's Blood challenge. I'm gonna tell you what the hardest Queen's Blood thing for me
It's
was.
fun.
I first tried the final battle. I don't know how. I just got mad lucky and I stuck like emerald. I first or second tried it. I stuck the emerald in there and it saved me. And I was like, oh wow, it just sort of worked out. And then I think she actually killed herself with a bad play. And I was like, how did I just win? Like the AI actually screwed itself over. I was like, what? Okay, I guess I just like first or second tried this. There was a puzzle challenge for Queen's Blood that took me 2 hours.
Those ones were so hard.
Dude, the one that's in Costa del Sol.
Yeah, the puzzle fucking challenges are so hard, dude. Especially the Costa ones, the Costa del Sol ones.
This thing has like
I had to look up
like
the
50 ways.
solutions.
One way works. And I'm like, oh my god, this shit took me forever. And then I eventually got it, and I was just like, it's done. Like, it's over. So yeah, that was for sure the hardest thing in the entire game for me in terms of Queen's Blood stuff.
Yeah, I think I busted out like a Google Doc to take notes for some of those because so funny thing is I was being stubborn and trying to win almost all these with like a starter deck essentially without really using.
Man.
And so I remember messaging Hubert and saying like, dude, I'm spending like 2 hours on some of these Queen's Blood like puzzle
Oh
challenge
my god.
things. And then like we talked about it like on our impressions and at that point I realized I gotta edit my deck, man. Like I got the I gotta get into like the destruction cards that trigger the buffs. Like you gotta start doing that stuff.
So I was gonna ask Huber because there's like a point in the game where you're like 2/3 done through Rebirth, and you start getting a lot of cards that start getting secondary buffs. Queen's Blood gets like another level on top of it, so it starts expanding. There was like a part of the game where I naturally was like, these destruct cards seem really good. Like blowing up your own cards and getting yourself buffs seemed really good. So I just started focusing on that like crazy, and it was like like right at the same time the game started doing the same thing. All of the other people did. Did you come across that like that realization, making your own deck at the same time?
Yeah, because those came so late, and then I only had a couple, and I was like, oh, I only have like a few of these. I'm gonna try these out, and then I started getting more for sure. That was awesome. And then like all cards that were like, yo, if you win this lane, you get more points. I love those.
Yeah, all the conditional stuff starts popping up. Where it's like if you don't have a card that has like a condition in some way, you know, you're doing it wrong. But there's one card that never left any of my decks as soon as I got it from the beginning of the game. I think it's the best card in the game. It's Titan.
So you guys like Titan?
Best card in the game. And the reason is he's like a tier 3. He's like a 3-pawn card that only costs 2. And the buffs he gives you is so good. So and he doesn't even do like I blow this up and I nuke half the board. No, he's just like a super solid play at the mid or the start, and you always play him.
Titan is very strong. I banked a lot of my matches on the jockey card. What's his name again?
Jockey.
Yeah, because of the plus 10 if you won that lane. I was like, I just got to neutralize.
I
other
barely
lanes
ever
and then
used
win this one
Titan.
lane, and I like bailed me out so many times. And
Yeah, and I appreciate there was at one point where I'm like, I'm not a TCG guy that much. I played like Teppen, and that was it, right? So there was a part of the game that like taught me to think differently about this, and there was a puzzle that I was having trouble solving because in my head I'm always thinking about winning 2 or all lanes, and eventually it's like no, you can just invest crazy hard into one lane because it's just the total that you have to worry about. And I was like, oh god, I didn't even think of that. I'm like always thinking about splitting my difference between like the top 2 or the bottom 2 or in between, and it's like, oh no, here this is going to teach you invest hard into one lane, and that's actually the tough part about the talk fight is that they teach you to invest and then split that investment, and I'm like, what the hell, dude, that's gonna be crazier.
So sick.
Now, talking about like mini games and like side activities, I do know Huber. When we talked in our impressions, does it stand in your final thoughts, your impression that there was maybe a little bit some of the activities became too repetitive, like the Ubisoft like activities, like the towers, stuff like that. Do you still feel like that at the end? And then also, when you get a chance, Max, like how did you feel about some of those? Or did you feel maybe they could cut back on some of those or change some of those?
Huber first.
I will hopefully not hear much Chadley slander today, because I'm a fan. But I will say, in that regard, there's just a few too many points when you add them all up. I think if they cut down like 5% of those, it would have just made all the other mini games and all the other like story beats just flow a little better. I think because there was a point when I was like trying to keep up with all that stuff, and then I just was spent like 15, 20 plus hours straight grinding.
Yeah. So my opinion, I don't think that they needed as many of the towers and the events in the open world. I think maybe like you said 5 or 10%. If you cut down with it, that would be okay. It kind of felt like a little bit much, but it wasn't too bad. The side quests are really eventful and they're really good. The story in them usually is impactful and meaningful. And sometimes you find out things like that you only find out in those freaking side quests. About Wedge dying and stuff. Like it's crazy. But yeah, I think that they did an overall good job with the open world.
Out, the Chadley points and the mini games and everything. So if they just like took a little bit away, I think it would have been perfect. But just the sheer amount of games you could play and how good each of them were, and the fact that you could have like the expert challenges. So like Fort Condor and going back and doing hard versions of that, like all that stuff was so amazing.
Yeah, and I do agree with you like on the Chadley part where it feels.
I don't think they needed to have hard versions of the mini games. I thought that was a bit like they could have just had the harder versions out to the start. I don't like having to redo it again.
It's like, oh, Chadley gets the most spoken dialogue in this entire game. I do, at one point, I remember feeling like, oh, what they're setting up with the story is so interesting, and it was at Cosmo Canyon. And right as Cosmo Canyon is like over, they set up this, and the geese stuff happens, we'll talk about all this later. But when they set that up, and they set the precedence of like, well, we gotta go, get on the plane, let's go check this out, this is where we gotta go, I was like, damn, I really want to go. Like that seems like a great idea right now, because now it's like the premise of going. And the game just goes like, so here's also 7 hours of gameplay down there in Cosmo Canyon. You're like, I can't not do it though. So ultimately, I don't think it goes as a detriment against the game in any way at all, because like, I think it's like 90% of the mini games in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, they are optional. They aggressively go out of their way to be like, hey, you don't have to do this. Like a lot of people that are crazy completionists are like a little upset with the game because the completionist rating on this game is very hard. Like getting the final stuff in the game and the platinum trophy and stuff is actually ridiculously hard. So, and I don't think that should be held against the game in any way.
Yep, I just 100%ed it today.
And having a game that gives you like
and yes, it was very hard. And I didn't use the streamlined progression, even though it came out a couple of days ago. I kept my version of the game on the old version, and I took my Steam offline, so I didn't have to play the new version. And also didn't want it to break by graphics mods and stuff like that. But yeah. Wait, what graphics mods did I use now? I think about. Oh, well, like the 4K textures and stuff like that. Yeah.
I know that argument of like, oh, you don't have to do it, but then I think of stuff like, you know, the side quests and like the proto relics and stuff. It's like, you don't have to do it, but like if you don't, you're missing out on so much stuff. So that's the balance for my like OCD completionist brain,
for sure.
But also like, you know, pacing it out. I got to do a better job of like pacing it out too. I don't know.
And I do agree with what you say, because that's the way I felt. There was moments where it's like, I want to go in the story direction really bad, but I can't. And the reason I can't is because the side content is good. It's really good. The quality of like the vast majority of it is so good that now I don't want to miss any of it. So they've done a problem. The game has a problem. It's too good most of the time. There's too much good stuff where it deviates from like the main plot. So I recently had a remake again.
I agree.
Something I'd never done before. I blitzkrieged the game. I went just main plot, and I ignored all of the extra stuff. And guess what? I loved it. I thought it was liberating. I actually thought it was way better not having to deal with all the extra side stuff, because the side stuff brings the game down. It's the opposite of this game, brother. It's like the other side stuff like elevates the game in several ways, and there's really great story stuff there. So it's like I don't want to skip that. So anyway, I need to do a Rebirth where I skip all the side stuff now and just like gun it and feel how does that feel? How's the pacing of the game now that I'm not just meandering around the grasslands for 10 hours?
I did that I think maybe 2 weeks ago now. Because I wasn't sure how long it would take you and other people to finish. I'm like, dude, I finished this game like middle of like second week of February or something. I was like, crap, I'm gonna need to play this again to keep the story fresh. And I thought it was like, you know, still very enjoyable, and I liked it. It was actually kind of a relief not to have to go through some of those side activities again. Even though like a lot of them have great stories. I've seen some copium theories about the amount of content, the side content, that when we get part 3, some of that is like meant to be part 3 as well.
Midway through February? Why, dude? The game wasn't even out yet.
Those are all the mini games. They're just there already. You did them. You don't have to go back and do them. I was like, I don't know if they're gonna do that, but
yeah, the part 3 discussion we're gonna have later is gonna be pretty interesting, because you know again, this game is like clearly a sequel, like a mad sequel. This shares some similarities to part 1, but it truly feels like this is a vastly different game. And I'm really curious if part 3 is gonna be more like a Breath of the Wild to Tears of the Kingdom. There's a lot of familiar.
Again, with the hyperbole. No, it's not a vastly different game. It's not vastly different. It is a smidge different. I would say it's 5% to 10% different. Like obviously they expand on everything. I'm talking about like the Zack stuff, the Aerith stuff that's new, that's different from the original, is 5 or 10%. Now, if we're talking about like new content, not like, you know, not changing content, like, but expanded on the old stuff content, then I'm not including the percentages in that. I'm saying like the weird Zack stuff and the weird Aerith stuff and the weird Sephiroth stuff. That's 5-10%. Not vast. If you were saying vastly different to me means like 80% of the game is different. No, it's not.
Familiarity, right? There's a lot of like familiarity with a twist, you know, sort of situation. Or God of War Ragnarok, where it's like these places are familiar. Now there's just new twists on them, right? So we'll talk about that later.
With a twist, I like that.
Just a few more questions about like the basic game stuff. I had a friend named Tony who we were talking about some of this stuff, and he brought up a complaint about how the summon fights are locked behind the Chadley virtual environments. Sure. And that we have those field intels with the fiends that culminate with like a big like monster fight. They were kind of lamenting how they can kind of like combine those two concepts and have like the final of those be a big summon fight out in the environment. I think that was a bit of a cop out.
I agree that too much of the big culmination fights, like the summon fights and certain other things, take place in VR. And there's one complaint that our friend Matt had.
Yeah.
So much of that VR is like a training fighting game. You just see it.
I mean, it's built off of the same structure as Remake, and it's going to be the same thing for Revelation. They're using UE4 again. They want to reuse as much as possible to get things out faster. It's going to be the same structure. Okay, you're not going to find Knights of the Round in a fucking cave in the north. Like, you're not going to just find it there or anything like that. Like, you're going to fight it in VR. It's going to be the same exact thing as Rebirth. I guarantee you.
so much. And then, yeah, I thought it would have been cool if you could have had like a Grasslands VR version, or a Corel VR version, or a Gongaga VR version, where it's just like clearly VR, but you can just change the environment a little bit, just to give you like a taste of like this could look a little different, right? You know, because you just see that. I recently had a moment where it's like, all right, I got like 35 Chadley VR fights I have to do, and I was just in the thick of it for like 2.5 hours going through them, you know.
I will say at least when you summon during a fight.
It should have been more than 2.5 hours if you're doing 35.
There's one thing I really appreciated about the final Proto Relic fights, and it's that it took place in unique environments. It was like at nighttime and stuff, and I was like, whoa, we don't get a lot of stuff at night in this game. This is really cool.
That was epic payoff.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the things I hope is that they could we can get a little bit now too as well. It kind of ties into like the flashiness of some of the bigger battles because the VR environment, as like nice as it is in the beginning, it gets played out. And one thing aside from like maybe like 1 or 2 fights in the boss fights in this game, specifically like the final Genova fight and final Sephiroth Reborn fight, the spectacle was not always quite there for boss fights for me, though it was still like a great combat system. And I just comparing it to last year's Final Fantasy 16, like the Titan and Bahamut fights, it's like I would like to see something, especially with how crazy we're going in these games and how much crazier they have to go for part 3. I feel like they need to like kind of one up that a little bit. I mean, the 12-phase boss was pretty extravagant, but
they're not gonna one up that. No, you're not gonna one up what they did at the end of Rebirth, dude. It's gonna be the same sort of structure. Like, you think there's gonna be Final Fantasy 16 type shit? No, you'd have to change the entire structure of the game. Like, I feel like these comments are either just trying to sensationalize things to make it sound more exciting than they are, or could like get the hype level up, or just they don't know how programming works, and you just have to I don't know, suspend your disbelief that badly. But it's quite obvious that it's going to be a similar setup to Remake and Rebirth to a T.
Yeah, it felt more like old school RPG style than like this is like insanely spectacle. I mean,
I don't know if we're gonna get that because that's essentially 16's identity, right? Like 16,
exactly.
The most appealing part about it is the Asura's Wrath moments, and it isn't even as much like the human versus human interaction stuff. Like that's just really cool. The Asura's Wrath stuff is the dopest stuff in the game. It's like, I love this, man, but it's so over the top and insane because it reaches a scale of like epicness that is way bigger than dude versus dude. You know. However, Part 3 is very large scale. There's very big creatures in Part 3. I think, I mean, just we're already getting into it, but I think they're going to have a completely different battle dynamic for weapons. I think they're going to do a thing that is like quite involved, like whole party involvement. When you fight weapons, that'll be different from normal party engagements throughout the world. I think they have to one up something where it's like, hey, everybody's involved, and now you have to like figure that out.
Because even then, like even in this one, when like your reserves are just kind of in the back, sometimes I would see like an Aerith little spell like come into the fight. Yeah. So they're like one step away from that. Max. It's actually a really cool
Let me just ask you that now. I know that this will be Part 3 discussion, but I think we're organically there. I mean, you had a little bit of that. You do see your party members who aren't active, your active 3 around you in some fights doing like auto attacks. There is like the ability to synergy call one of them in
backline command.
The backline command. Do you see them doing more of an active swap system in Part 3, especially the addition of Sid?
No, they're not.
Like, a little like big for the party. I mean, you saw they handled it that they kind of forced you to have certain comps at certain points according to story beats.
Yeah.
But do you expect them to maybe try and push that a little bit further and be like, I can tag someone in, or like spend an ATB bar to tag someone else in? Or
no.
Like
that was my original thought process where like this would eventually go when you have full party access. We thought you might even get that in Rebirth back in the day, but to have an FF10 style, everyone's there, but 3 characters are active at one time. To be real, like we don't want to be playing and hot swapping between 7 to 9 characters or some shit. That is honestly too much. And the party dynamic of Final Fantasy 7 is always 3 active characters on screen. It's done that in the OG games of this game, so I don't think we're gonna get like a big thing.
Good.
Constantly have to worry about 7 characters, but I do think they have to expand party dynamics, and they have to do a thing that allows us to properly utilize other team members and synergy abilities and synergy skills, especially. Synergy abilities are big and flashy and cool. I get it, but I think this game truly shines in like no ATB cost synergy skills that really change the flow of combat and what you can do with characters. So there's so much room to expand. There's so much, and I do like the idea of having access.
They're not going to expand on it like that. No.
Even though Cloud can clearly get up there now, and I can throw Tifa. But at the same point, it's like it would be nice if we can just Vincent get in here, like sit, jump on that dude.
Well, that was like that's how I use synergy skills. I do see some people in our Twitch chat saying like, they didn't really use synergy skills, and that's fair. I think you don't really need to use them. But for like Tifa, one of her bread and butter synergies was like a launcher. Like you just like flip her up into the air. I'm like, so it's like, oh, Tifa can't get the aerial, and he's like, yeah, she can just use hold R1, just launch her up. So it's like I feel like I expect them to allow you to mix and match the synergy skills and synergy actions in Part 3, so that you can maybe like pick up the 2 per character, but they're not like the active party members. It could be I want to use this one for this slot.
Oh, you want assists? You want literally multiple assists? Yeah, that's actually not a terrible idea. That's actually kind of cool because it does feel like there's room to expand these. Like some characters only get certain synergy skills with others. There's room for expansion here where you can assign which ones you want. Now it's like sort of just like in there. Like you get the bodyguard one. I think you could somewhat assign them. I didn't do it for the entire party, but the effective use of them are great. They literally have the ability from FF16, which is called counterfire, which reflects and allows you to counterattack enemy projectiles, which is one of my favorite things to do in 16, which is like the big Phoenix wing and go back and whoop their ass. You get it. It gives you a ton of ATB after. Cloud reflecting projectiles from Barrett's gun or like Red 13. You can do it in the air. You just get to build ATB whenever you want. I think a lot of people that get hung up on the ATB-ness of this game, where it's just like I just have to whack an enemy till I see the bar show up. I'm like, no, you don't, dude. Like all these synergy skills, the majority of them build mad ATB. If you do the power cleave with Tifa, with Cloud, or like the magic cleave with Aerith, or I think it's Yuffie, it builds like an entire ATB bar on Cloud and the other character. So it's like, oh geez, dude, these are really good. It's just that
there are really good
ATB
synergy stuff.
Magics and weapon skills and everything like that.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about like builds and stuff. Like I'm doing the brutal legendary challenges with Chadley in hard mode, like having to look up like good builds, and like that's one of the bread and butters is like equipping materials and skills that keep your ATB bar just constantly charged, and like everything working. And like I was like, dude, these are amazing builds. Like if you use these in the normal game, you can like breeze through. So I think that's part of the process is like figuring out some of that stuff and enjoying it.
Yeah, like the Quagga builds and shit.
So
yeah,
that's something I do hope they maybe in the next part make it easier to save material loadouts because doing these challenges, some of them like recommend specific builds. And it's like I would really like it. And as you get more characters, you only have you only like one piece of a certain material. It's like I don't want to keep switching it. Can I just like stuff like that.
It's probably like and again,
I've spent hours and hours in the materia menu, dude.
Split your party party up, and you have to flip between parties throughout some parts of that game. And I'm like, damn it, dude, I have to do all this materia horseshit. There needs to be an easy way where it's just, and what's also crazy to me, a legit criticism of Rebirth. There's a big materia screen, right, where you can beep, 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 and like assign everything. That's cool. That also exists in OG Final Fantasy VII. That's cool. However, the functionality in OG FF7 is 10 times better. You can select a whole character and be like, boop, I'm gonna put whole character's materia on this whole other character, and it works. It just works.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist in this game for some reason. I'm like, that needs to exist. Like, you should just be able to be like, hey, this character's
Copy
gone,
and
I have all this
paste,
old
yeah.
slottage appropriately. I just need to take all their shit, just stick it on that other person, you know?
Yeah, it's weird. Like when you change like your weapon or your
You
armor,
could do
it will
that in
ask you to,
original
like, as best as
FF7,
possible
that's
retain those
true.
Materia in those slots, but like it doesn't go the other way. It's like I want to transfer those to another character. Like we don't have an easy way. It's like you got to pick each materia one by one. You can like do the swap, but man, it just takes so long, and it's like so easy to like maybe mess up one. It's like, oh come on, like just like make this like a little bit easier. And I hope they do that in part 3. Another
I don't think they will.
both of you is we got
I'm gonna say it right now, I don't think they will. They're not gonna change that now at this point.
We had all like Red 13 walking up walls, but they were only kind of locked to certain chapters or sections of the game. Do you want those to be more readily integrated into like part 3? And how do you feel about them just in general? And do you want to see like more of them?
Go ahead, Hubert.
For party members?
Yeah, like when
the
they're in
party
the
members'
environment.
unique abilities in dungeons and stuff.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool how you bounced around so many characters and were controlling specifically almost like every party member, and they all had their own little feeling vibe, because it just made it feel like more of a
I felt
party
like it
story
was
rather than
nice
just
that they
about
forced
big
me to
characters,
use
but being
certain
able to bounce around and
characters.
have
I
so many
agree.
of these characters be the focus, I think not only helped shake up the gameplay a little bit and the exploration, but narratively as well, it just helped me get in the minds of this whole cast.
And yeah, they were obviously like hyping it up ahead of time, showing all these unique character actions, and I thought we were going full Guardians of the Galaxy. And I really like that about Guardians of the Galaxy, where it's like, hey, you have a party, and they all have unique abilities. How are you going to combine those unique abilities to get the hell up there? And I thought that was cool. I'm like, dude, when I was playing that game, I'm like, this would be awesome for the next Final Fantasy VII game. And they sort of do it, but it's a bit controlled, where each character gets their own dungeon for the most part. You get like the Barrett dungeon, you get the Aerith dungeon at the end of the game, you get the Kate Sith dungeon, right, which sucks. So you still get to see those things, but do you get to like utilize them in
Yeah,
some way? You
Kate
don't.
Sith
However,
dungeon was
what they
fucking
do allow is that each dungeon
awful.
doesn't feel like repeater just going through another
God.
hallway sort of situation, which is kind of what a lot of FF7, like dungeons can feel like. Now there's a lot of branching paths and stuff, and they give you a ton of options. You can now grappling hook with Yuffie and do all this stuff. So I think it 100% helped. It definitely alleviated some of like the feelings that you kind of had in Remake, where it's like you weren't really excited about like, oh, we get to go into the sewers, or oh, we get to start going through this place. Some of that was met with some like reserve, where it's like, okay, let's just get to the cool fights. Now I didn't feel that way. Now I was like, yeah, the mithril mines were dope. Yeah, dude, going through Corel and grappling around with Yuffie was cool. Like, was it the most amazing level design ever? It wasn't, but I wasn't thinking that there's parts of this that are actively bad, that are like PS2 level error, like sort of like gameplay. But then you get to the combat, which is very next gen. And this game that didn't have that issue, where that was a fix. That seemed to be a problem from part 1. We need to solve that. We need to make our interactions and environments a little bit more dynamic and interesting. I think they did that 100%.
Yeah,
I totally feel that.
Room to improve. You feel
box
what?
throwing one.
Oh,
boxes.
oh, the elevator, like the time one? First time?
Courses like failed. You did not.
I raged at that, but now I'm a pro. Now it's like I'm doing like half the time they even require. It's like, okay.
I was going through that section, and I was like reading what I have to do to throw a box, and I was like still trying to do it with my hands. I'm like, Square Enix, we did not need to reinvent aiming.
Yes.
Like, why are we reinventing aiming in a video game? We do not need to do this. And throwing a box. So I aggressively didn't like that part of it. The part that people don't like about that part is fighting with Kate Sith, because nobody fights with him.
Oh.
Like, Kate Sith is so hard to like wrap your head around in first impression. I spent a lot of time with him. Yeah, I spent a lot of time with him ahead of that. So I really appreciated that challenge. I thought it was actually cool.
If you can unlock some of Kate Sith's skills, they're like really good.
Man.
Like the magic one,
So
brings like a
fun.
summon into the fight, just like right. I think that was the thing. If you don't have some of those skills unlocked from your weapon skills, it's going to be a lot more challenging. Plus, the enemies were really good. I mean, they're frustrating, but they were kind of like puzzle enemies. Like the scale one was like use so many physical attacks. Like it's immune to physical. So it's not exactly rocket science, but at the same time, if you're not prepared, you're kind of like screwed a little bit. You're trying to wait it out. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
element, dude. You start throwing dice and slot machines in there.
exactly. Yeah, you just like I'm gonna put this in God's hands, and you just start like throw the dice, dude. That's the cool part you learn eventually about Kate Sith, because he has so many like hidden mechanics and stuff that they don't explain to you. Every character does this, by the way. They don't tell you that Cloud has an air dash. You have to like figure that out as you're playing the game and stuff.
Yeah.
Kate Sith is the only character in the game with like a Dark Souls iframe roll, and it isn't when he's in his cat form, and it isn't with the dodge button. When you're on top of the Moogle and you just press left or right, he does like a twirly spin. It is fully invincible. I'm like, wait a minute.
I didn't know
I
that.
realized that it was just him tap dancing around enemies. I'm like, oh my god, he's god. Like no other characters in the game have that shit.
Awesome. I
didn't know that.
Victory songs, each one like kind of hums when they win Kate Sith's. When I really like that. Yeah, I like how they like force you to do it. I was kind of expecting that. I mean, if you play RPGs long enough, you know that big ensemble casts are always going to get a point where they need to have like a one-on-one or a small group focus. And I do really appreciate that. I will say there are a few times I do wish maybe some of the tutorial stuff was like a little bit worded a little bit better. I'm actually still shocked they haven't patched the game over retry screen on some of the boss fights, because there's during the Sephiroth Reborn on hard mode. I'm just I lost like on every phase multiple times on hard mode, and so it does checkpoint you. But the description of there's like 4 different retry options. And I'm like, I kept picking the wrong one. I was streaming it in chat like maybe try the top one. Because let's go back to the beginning. I'm like,
It's the top one.
It's the top one. I'm like, why would you word it this way?
Like, I saw the greatest meme, which is like
It's
a
his
dude sitting in
current
a chair for most of
phase.
the
That's
millionaire
pretty
with a chair, and
obvious.
The options for all of it. Would you like to retry? And the 4 options were the 4 things. And the guy's like, like, oh my god.
Oh,
so I got lucky. I just chose the top one. I'm like, that sounds good. I heard about this. I took it, and it was like, oh, it puts you back right before the fight. I'm like, cool. We're cool. I don't go back to 6 chapters ago or some shit.
It was a little frustrating. I had that, and then I picked the real wrong one, because I hit like I was mashing, and I was kind of frustrated during the Coliseum, the Gold Saucer Coliseum. I got the Rufus. Rufus on hard mode is a fucking nightmare, and I hit the wrong one and sent me all the way back to the very beginning of like the ass faces. I was like, oh no, it was like the Turks fight before that was also pretty hard. I was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
I was so angry. But yeah, they could definitely prove that. But back to your
Well, you do have to change that.
complex
I had to
character
change that
interactions, I think
materia
maybe they were
so
trying
many
hard to back to, like
times.
those weird, goofy, like obtruse, like control schemes you had for different like mini game or secret stuff that they were purposely, weird and strange like that, because it added to their mystique. And maybe nowadays we're just so spoiled by like good controls explanations, it just didn't land as well as it maybe could have.
And there's so many of them. To me, it really reminds me of the 90s, right? It really reminds me of just like classic arcade games. The majority of them, outside of like one, there's only one that I have a complaint about that isn't arcade-like and is also like weirdly convoluted. There's a ton of mini games in this game. I think
That
98%.
Tifa, what is it? The one where you get it increases your stagger gauge, or the staggering as you're doing with Tifa. forget what it's called, like Unrelenting Fury or something. And it just changes all your moves into stagger moves, but you can just keep punching over and over, like just keep uppercutting constantly, and just builds your ATB like insanely fast. With Tifa, and it's like, yeah, it's fucking crazy. And then you just keep getting Aerith to do comets constant, like it's fucking nuts.
Are super fun because you first do it and then you're like, oh, I get it, and then you do it again and you like slam it, which is the best thing, which always feels good. Like, oh, I did only okay, and then you slam it and it's like, all right, let's go. The only ones that I have criticism of are like the 3D brawler, which is brutal, and then obviously Gears and Gambits. And Gears and Gambits is like, okay, so we're going one level deeper, another level deeper, another level deeper. What the hell's going on with this thing? To me, it came across as like an even worse version of an already very difficult minigame, which is in this one Fort Condor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of Fort Condor overlap with that one, so it didn't hit me as hard as I wanted to. I still really liked it. I saw a lot of criticism of that one. I thought it was fun, but it definitely wasn't one where I was like fiending for a standalone game like Queen's Gambit or Fort Condor. And I miss the OG Fort Condor where you could like, you know, cycle in all your units and stuff. It's like the pre-made builds, which was kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
But there were so many games in it, I didn't hold it against it.
You don't hold it against it. Yeah. The majority of them are completely optional. I don't have to do this Gears and Gambit. I don't have to do the Fort Condor. You do not have to do this. You can't really hold it against the game. The criticism of Fort Condor being so hard, I figured out what makes it so hard, because Fort Condor I think is legit better in the Yuffie DLC. I actually like it a lot more.
It's my favorite.
It's so good there, and they make it really freaking hard in this game for some reason, but there's a good reason. There was a cheat that you could do in Fort Condor Yuffie DLC, and it's the cat mob. You have the cat, and you can send it, and the whole gimmick of the cat is that it avoids all interactions and rushes a boss.
That's right.
You now do not have that. It takes away from you in this one, at least from the ones that I played. Instead, it gives it to the AI. The AI has a cat mob that rushes your face and pushes your line back. You're like, dude, this is so cheap, but this is what I did to you in the previous game.
It felt like it kind of feels like we were talking about the Queen's Blood challenges, where Fort Condor this time around felt like, yo, there's like one-ish ways to get through this. Like I need to play this almost perfectly and follow like kind of a set strategy here. Whereas in the Yuffie DLC, it was like so many units. I could like have all my different builds. Like, oh, I like this unit, I'm gonna throw that in. But this one felt like you had to do a very specific strategy.
There's a lot of the game that in the minigame fashion, that final reward is almost perfect execution, where you have to like the chocobo flying and stuff. You have to execute this perfectly if you want to get it. I was like, this is so. I spent the greater portion of 30 minutes to 60 minutes on a lot of those, just getting it exactly. And it's like, I don't think this is bad, but it's definitely hard as balls, man.
Yeah, I definitely think they were going for that challenge for some of those, especially the chocobo gliding mini games ones. I watched one I struggled on. You did it too, Max. Like, okay, good. Like, I feel like everyone's got a little bit of trouble in that last one. When this was the last two so far away, I'm like, oh my, what are you doing? But I do have a question for clarification, because I do know difficulty impacts some of the mini games. I don't know if it impacts all of them. For example, chocobo racing is 100% impacted by difficulty. What you choose, easy, normal.
Easy.
So I played on normal for review.
Yeah,
and played through I've done hard mode already, and I noticed it was definitive proof because the gold cup race, the story gold saucer chocobo race you have to do. On hard mode, I had like a god tier build because you carried over progress from my chocobo, flawless execution, only won it in like the last half of the last lap. And I'm like, holy crap, dude! Like this is way harder than it was on normal. So I don't know what's impacted, because some mini games also have hard modes, like Gears and Gambits and Fort Condor hard mode, and those have some more severe restrictions. Like for Fort Condor, you only get so many of each unit. You don't even if you have like resources, you have a finite cap on how many times you can spawn certain units, and so there is pretty much a one-way build order to win those. Same with Gears and Gambits. And for some reason, I didn't have as much trouble with either of those.
There's a lot harder.
I did. So I don't know if it's definitive which ones are impacted other than chocobo racing, but I know they patched something recently to adjust mini game difficulty.
Yeah. Other people were saying it, and I think even my first playthrough was in dynamic. So some people were saying that I turned this back to normal when I played this, or I turned this to easy, because even I think dynamic is sort of acting like just a middle barrier between normal and hard most of the time, because I still don't really understand like how it works. When I was going through a lot of the mini games and stuff, there was some moments where I'm like, okay, I'm turning 60 FPS on, and I'm also going to turn it down a difficulty to see what it's like, and it was easier. I was like, okay, that's interesting. But for the majority of the game, like in terms of game challenge and difficulty, even outside of mini games, for a lot of them, I'm like, this game's kind of easy. I actually wish this was harder a lot of the time, and I'm like, I wonder if normal mode is harder, because maybe it's scaling incorrectly. I went back to normal, enemies just die, and I was like, oh no, it is okay. So it is doing a relatively decent job at like padding things out somewhat. They make enemies a bit more spongy.
Yeah, hard mode is definitely, if you're looking for like the actual challenge, like hard mode, you will like some bosses have not necessarily different mechanics, but how their attacks actually really work are different. For example, the Temple of the Ancients, the Fire Dragon, the one that breathes lava, in the halfway point. There's like it just does that, and then, like if it gets it off with like even like part of its like chest body part intact, it's almost like a one shot. The Red Dragon, it's like you will not survive that attack if you don't like take proper like measures. In normal and dynamic, it's easily survivable. So like and like the demon wall thing, whoa man, you got like if you don't do things correctly on that, you are just done in that fight.
Yeah,
one shot you. Yeah,
hard mode's already like really fun and challenging in part 1, but part 1's like a much more siphoned game, like with much less boss fights in it.
Demon Wall is a fucking bitch, dude. And I don't know what he means by do it right, but I really had to fucking cheese Demon Wall, dude, in the hard mode. It was fucking annoying.
Right? This game has hard modes are
so like it's almost like a one shot. There's like it just does that, and then like if it gets it off with like even like part of its like chest body lava, and the halfway mechanics, how their attacks actually really work are different. For example, the Temple of the Ancients, the Fire Dragon, the one that breathes lava, in the halfway point. There's like it just does that, and then like if it gets it off with like even like part of its like chest body part intact, it's almost like a one shot. The Red Dragon, it's like you will not survive that attack if you don't like take proper like measures. In normal and dynamic, it's easily survivable. So like and like the demon wall thing, whoa man, you got like if you don't do things correctly on that, you are just done in that fight. Yeah, one shot you. Yeah,
hard mode's really fun and challenging in part 1, but part 1's like a much more siphoned game.
Even if exactly like Damiani said, it just one shots you. Like there's nothing you can do. I just had to I put re-raise on everyone. Like maybe if I buried everyone or something, I don't even think barrier does anything. Like it didn't even feel like barrier helped. Yeah.
Like with much less boss fights in it, right? This game has so many boss fights, has so many big epic scale fights that are already like really challenging on dynamic or even normal. So I'm like, damn, dude, hard mode of this must be absolutely bonkers, because I'm hearing hard mode gets new attacks, like new music. There's like a lot of crazy different things that happen with hard mode boss fights throughout the game.
Yeah.
No, there's no new music. What are you talking about?
And I also say like maybe don't try not to look up like builds first unless you're like really struggling. Like
Sure.
I mean obviously however you want to play, but that's how I approached it. And like I would say the chapter 1, the Viper, what's it called? The Python
Migro Summer.
Yeah, Migro Summer. Jeez, it's fine. It's phase 3 attack. It's like they're like
Yeah, Migrosummer was a bitch. I don't think I looked up anything for that, but that was a bitch fight.
the character's shouting get to land, not the poison, but the fire one, like get to land.
Beta,
It like one shots me. I'm like, what the shit is this? I'm like, okay. I'm like, what do I do here? Like I spent so long on just that boss, and I was like, okay,
Yeah.
what the hell is going
And
on
that's
here?
interesting. That's what I kind of dig about hard mode is that hard mode's really going to make you focus on game mechanics. Like you're going to have to start utilizing this stuff because there's so much different ways that you can just play through Rebirth in terms of like compared to Remake.
I don't know why he's even talking. Max, obviously from this conversation, has not beaten the game on hard mode, or at least hasn't at this point.
Especially that the developers naturally assume that the very, very, very large majority of people that play this game are just
Like he just, it's just so annoying when people just act like they know everything. It's never gonna stop pissing me off.
literally going to match square against everything, are barely going to utilize the other stuff, are just going to match square against everything. Does the game still accommodate that kind of a play style in a way that is like punishing in sometimes, but also not in others? And I think it does. I think it does a pretty good job at balancing. Like most people said, you do not need to use synergy skills throughout the entire playthrough. If you do, the game gets substantially easier. Like your ability to build ATB. A lot of people complain you don't build a lot of ATB in this game, and I'm like, dog, yes you do. Like you just have to start utilizing some of the things your characters have instead of just matching square. So it's a common criticism, but you have to also assume the developers have to account for a ridiculous amount of playstyles.
Yeah.
The game just gives you so many tools.
I would love if you just in remake 1 and 16 as well. I would love it if just hard mode was unlocked from the jump, so I could like fully engage with the combat system like to the maximum degree, because like these are long games. I don't go back to replay them for like a lot of years. So
Yeah.
I want that first playthrough to be.
I think
because you have the easy modes as well, which is awesome. So just let everyone.
I think that's
play.
dynamic. I think that's why they added dynamic mode because FF7 Remake Rebirth hard mode is just new game plus. It's designed for you to have all the material.
Exactly.
You need all the
them.
weapons. Like you need them, or else you're just gonna get swiped. So I think they did a good job with dynamic because dynamic at least kept things relatively challenging. Because I spent all my time just like, exhausting every area, and I felt like I should be OP as shit right now, but I wasn't. Like each fight the bosses lived.
Yeah, I agree. I think the way they do hard mode right now, it is meant to be new game plus, and it is designed around that. They would have to fundamentally change a few things about that. I would say where they could maybe go for more challenge beyond like dynamic is just increasing the complexity of some of maybe like the boss fights in terms of like what you're dealing with. That's something they did with 16 recently with the first DLC, and what they're going to do with the next one to address some of the complaints about it being too easy. Is they started making the boss fights have a lot more mechanics, like a mechanic diarrhea. Basically, it's like these things are just overlapping. You have to deal with so much. Like you're going to get hit by shit, you're going to die. It's like it's okay, you're going to learn this dance, and that's one approach. But also they could just do it in a way where maybe it pushes back a little bit more on the material you're using, because I think because they added in the folio, everyone gets the 4 elemental abilities without needing materia, so they address that complaint from Remake.
Yeah, I'm like I saw that in the very beginning of my first playthrough, and as I was playing the game at the start, and I'm like, oh, this is non-MP costing element. This is for hard mode, but it isn't for hard mode as you play through. This is for situations when the majority of enemies you fight in the game are like will be pressured from elemental weakness, and you check on that character and they don't have the appropriate materia. Well, now they do.
It's
Now
for
you just
hard
use it,
mode.
crank
No,
because
what do you
I think
mean?
we all realize as we play through the game, MP is very valuable in this game, and you don't get a lot of it. They scale it down a ton because, to be real, in Remake, magic is OP as fuck. Like it is so powerful. Magic is so good in the first game, and it's so like it doesn't really scale with the things the other characters do very well. And you get a lot of MP in the first game too. So that's what they were like. Okay, so magic's like valuable now. So if you're gonna like crank an August spell, it's gonna literally shit out damage.
Folio's giving you like +3 mana. It's like, oh, I need it. I want that mana.
Yeah, and again, I didn't do a lot of this. So I did not have a lot of MP on a lot of my characters in the end. I was like feeling it. I was like, dude, I'm running out of MP after a couple spells. But yeah, like that's what that stuff was for. It was just like, here's all the elements that every character can have, so you can pressure any enemy in the game if they have an elemental weakness and not have to worry about MP. Also, the hard mode accessibility of MP being even more valuable in a hard mode.
Yeah, you can't, again, same deal, no item use, benches only give you back HP. There is a way to recover MP though. The destructible environment objects like boxes, some of those will give you back a little bit of MP.
Just like Remake.
But it's not substantial. And from people who know more about the game's balance than I do, have already done all like the hard stuff like well in advance, they were saying that like the MP and HP absorption tactics, like using those materials in Remake, their potency has been nerfed in Rebirth. So while they're still useful, they're not like you'll never have to worry about MP again if you equip this stuff. They have cap stuff, they have nerfed some stuff. So this hard mode is, I think, in my opinion, is more challenging than Remake's, and the hard Shadley stuff is more challenging.
Yeah,
It's definitely more challenging overall.
Because when I play RPGs, I like leveling up and obtaining
like being
gears.
powerful.
Well, yeah, because I like earning that power.
Exactly.
I like doing the side quests and being like, yo, because I do these side quests, I'm like 5 levels higher, so that'll give me an edge here. So when they like scale with you, it just it doesn't feel as good for me, I guess.
I made that observation early on when I was like, we were playing the game in the demo form at like the preview event, and I kind of like was doing all this random shit in the grasslands and not really fighting a lot. I was like environmental and calm, and then I was like, I'm running out of time, and I bum rushed the snake, and he destroyed me. I was like, oh god damn, I'm fucking dead. And this is just normal, right? So I thought it was kind of cool where it's like, oh, so wait a minute, this isn't like Remake where you can just like bum rush the bosses. The problem Remake had was that there was barely any leveling. There was no places for you to grind until like the very end of the game in Remake. It really didn't exist. So that's like a complaint. They solved that here, where it's like, okay, you want to grind? We're gonna give you a ton of shit to grind. You're gonna whoop the shit out of that.
What are you talking about? There's no you think in Remake there's somewhere at the end where you can just grind? No. You talk about doing the fucking like that one car, like when you're going in the underground garage mission in Shinra HQ? No. There's nowhere for you to just grind.
When you come back to one. So I'm like, that's actually great. Once again, accompanying a variety of playstyles, because Remake you really didn't have that. You had like some, but not like in build stuff, but not really. This game gives you the ability to become buff and then whoop that thing's ass.
So satisfying.
We talked a lot about like difficulty and builds and stuff. I want to ask one kind of like last question before we start getting into some of like the real spoiler stuff.
Sure.
The vibes of the game, preserving kind of like the goofy ass nature of a lot of like what we experienced in the PlayStation 1 days and the PlayStation 1 version of that. Were you like kind of surprised they were able to like pull it off, and do you actually think they pulled off a lot of it?
I'll say in compendium with that, like the theme of the game, the feel of the game, like a lot of those elements coming together, the way towns feel, the way traversal between environments feel, the way you interact with the environments and are rewarded for it. I feel like this game was a dream. I feel like I could not have imagined a better way to execute an open world or like a large environment Final Fantasy VII. I don't believe they were able to accomplish what they did with the time they had. It seems impossible to me that the game was actually real. So that's my impression in the end. The game felt like it was, as I was halfway, I had like a halfway point where I'm reviewing it, I'm like, I feel like I'm dreaming. Like I feel like this should not exist. And the way it's handled is so well at every single point that I'm just like, there were so few parts that I had like actual legit criticisms and not just like minor problems with like something here and there. Just in total, like the vibes, handling a goofy nature, but also handling dramatic moments, all that kind of stuff, the way characters evolve and the way you learn about characters and their backstories, I'm like, how is this so good? Like how are they cooked way too hard.
Oh yeah,
Calm was so cozy.
Jeez, dude.
God,
Cosmo fucking Canyon.
Oh, the music in Cosmo Canyon. I would just
believe
be there
it.
and just like walk away to like get some water and stuff, just blast.
Calm was
music.
cozy.
Like you walk into Nibelheim and you just
go to what
you just get
Huber
this,
was saying.
This place is dreadful, dude. Like it's so good. And I just had like I think there's like again minor complaints because the game's so good that I want it to be even like gooder at some points. I had a moment where I went
More
to Junon
gooder.
and it was like sunset. So I was like, dude, I want to go back to the grasslands and see if it's sunset. And it was. I was like, holy crap, I could barely recognize this place. It looked substantially different at sunset, but that doesn't happen at many points later in the game. I really wanted to see the Corel Desert at sunset again. Not like the first time you fight Dyne and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, this place looks so different. I actually legit love the different time of days that you saw for some environments, but not everything. But it was locked to chapters. I really want them to give us like a nighttime, a morning, and like a sunset. I think that would be so cool in the future.
I think it's 100%
Can't they
coming.
just go full Dragon's Dogma?
I think
I don't know if they
100%
need to do that. I don't want them to have to go full day-night cycle. Just give me like a fixed point in the day where you can make the environment look different. Because day-night cycles can be kind of hard. And clearly, there's one criticism.
Even Dragon's Dogma, they've had day-night cycles since fucking Zelda
like the way they handle full
64.
light, the same thing was the same way in Remake. The fully lit environments look pretty good most of the time, but even in Rebirth, it's like, yeah, daytime areas look okay, but clearly when they take away light, it looks amazing. It's like, wow, this is where this game really shines, dude. I would love it if we could just like take away some light from some of these situations and actually see low-lit areas, because I truly feel like that's where this shit shines. There's only one spot in the game we get that's like that outside of like some flashback shit, and it's Gilgamesh's Island. It's at nighttime.
So sick,
And I'm like, this place looks so cool, dude. It makes me realize most of FF7 Rebirth takes place in the day.
Dude, I love like lighting is my favorite thing in games because I love survival horror and it's all about lighting. But I remember in 16, Joshua, dude, has the little like floating flame right
So
there.
good,
It's
yeah.
so awesome.
It's the same thing in even Remake Part 1, where it's like, dude, Midgar is literally Las Vegas. You turn on the daytime of this place and it sucks ass. It's a dirty stink fest. And then you take away the light and it's way better. I'm like, yeah, this place is awesome. Look at this shit.
I mean, I pretty much would almost like guarantee that they're gonna have this kind of like ability to set like the day night at like
I really hope so.
I don't know how granular it needs to be. Like if you go to like a spot to set it. I mean, even like shout out to Simmons, favorite series Xenoblade, where they literally pick like this hour of the 24-hour day. You can set it like so fine like that, but just something
this
that's
was
just
just
like
like
day night would just be fine.
Neutral light, sunset, nighttime. You could just choose. And it'd be cool if they put gameplay things in there. Like, this shit only comes out at night. Okay, well, let's go change the time of day. You know?
Man, I would love to do that.
That is a way that you can expand the world in Part 3, right? That's a way that you can actually like make things a little bit more dynamic. And again, I went back to the grasslands with a completely different like time of day, and I was like, I don't recognize this place. Like, where am I right now? The same thing happens in Junon when you wake up the next day and you have to do like the dog fetch quest and stuff, and you're like, oh, this place isn't blazing orange anymore. What the hell? It looks completely different.
Yeah, it'll probably be at like the inns, and I saw someone mention temporary rest house because you already pick like next day or till like rest for a little bit just to heal up, but it doesn't change the time of day, so they could probably just do it there. Real quick, you're saying like just traversing this game, going from town to environment, like how it's a dream that they did this. So I didn't watch the state of play. Even I was like 60 hours in the game, watched the first 10 minutes of that state of play, or first 10 seconds. I said nope, bye. I'm like 60 hours, you're spoiling me, bye. I'm like not till I finish. So I didn't get past the bit at the end that they said they actually described it as a seamless overworld. And when you get the tiny Bronco in chapter 12, and you can go out into the water and like Yoshi, like wait a second, I can sail over to Junon right now. I'm going by the minecart part. I did like wait a second. What?
Adventure. I'm
I
just
was like,
like,
yo, is this Kingdom Hearts 3 like Pirates too?
it was literally like there was I've already gone to like 6 zones, and by the time you get to Nibelheim, I started to feel the fatigue a little bit. But the nice part about Nibelheim is that number one, it's smaller, and number two, they give you the best accessible area chocobo, where it's like, oh, if you want to traverse, this chocobo's the best for it, and it's so, oh, this is so refreshing, flying around everywhere. This is so different. So again, as soon as in FF7 Rebirth, or I'd say Remake, there's points where it's like this goes on a little too long. I started feeling that at several points throughout Remake when I was playing again. I really like this game, but there's certain points where they outstay their welcome a bit too often. And every time that happened to me in my first playthrough of Rebirth, they did something else. As soon as I was feeling that emotion, where it's like, yeah, I'm getting sort of exhausted of the way this is set up, and like now we're in Nibelheim. Okay, but there's some differences here, but I'm getting a little exhausted of it. Now you have a boat that goes everywhere. And I'm like, wait a minute, wait a minute. I actively went to the ocean. I was like, I could just cross this whole ocean. Oh my God, they're not stopping me.
Yeah,
dude.
it's cool.
And
You
I
can
was
just
excited
cross
over
the
it.
ocean.
And once again, invigorated me with like this, Jesus Christ, this game's insane sort of feeling.
When I pulled my map out at that part 2 and I was like going through the water, I was like, yo, this is barely revealing a map. How huge is this ocean right
It's such a great moment in the game where it's just like, it almost reminded me of like OG FF7 when you first leave Midgar and you're just like, okay, so this is what the world is, cool, that's fun. Wait a minute, now you're giving me this too? Wait, what is happening? So I thought it was such a great moment.
Yeah,
It was a little it was okay. I mean, it wasn't great, but it was like you can go to Gilgamesh's Island and get the pirate treasures, and that's pretty much it. There's not like crazy like, whoa, you can do 15 million different new things. No, it was okay. It was a little new, but yeah.
I was really blown away by it, but also to me, from what I understand about like what goes on behind the scenes, this explains a lot of things to me. I feel like they have put like the development team have put in a lot of the legwork towards part 3 because when I hit that chapter 12 part, I'm like, oh, this explains so much. I understand now with the ending they're using why they're having so much performance problems because everything is actually connected to. Okay, this makes way more sense now. And like they're trying to build out what's going to be in part 3. They already talked about we got to find a way to make this work and redo some of the old zones because we're going to make you fly at some point. Like, okay,
yeah. You have to realize how challenging that is for an Unreal Engine 4 games in general. Like the accomplishments the devs have here, even though there is clearly technical shortcomings and a lot of shortcuts to make this stuff
Why
possible,
is he acting like why is he acting like he knows anything technical? He thought they were switching to UE5 the whole time. Now he knows that they're on UE4. I'm surprised he even knows that.
simple this game is, I don't know if it's been done on a lot of things. Most open world games do not use Unreal Engine 4 just because of the way it handles assets. So I had a moment where I was after stream and I was testing settings, and I was on my TV trying the game out, and I started in calm, and I just ran all the way to Junon with no loading, and I just had that entire way. I went that entire way, and then I realized, wait a minute, if I park the tiny Bronco and do this again, I can just walk all the way to Junon, get in the tiny Bronco, take it all the way to Corel, go from to Costa del Sol, go through Corel, go through. I can literally run the entire map of the game. It'll take you like 45 minutes. I'm like, that's wild, and there's no loading. There's no loading. It just seamlessly is just there, and I'm like, this is crazy.
There is the one. Did you encounter the fog storm, like not storm, but like really cloudy weather in the ocean?
Yes.
When I was doing that, my chat was pointing out there, like that's a loading trick. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
You can't walk to Calm to Junon. You need to go through the caves.
It's loading. Don't get me wrong. It's definitely
like a zone loading, yeah.
But there's no like Coca Black, and then you're just waiting for a while to do something. There's none of that in the game. It's wild to me that you can fast travel from one completely different environment to a completely different environment on the other side of the world within 2 seconds. But for some fucking reason, I'm sitting on a black screen when I'm in Chadley fights in between matches for like 8 seconds. I'm like,
I agree with that. What the fuck's the deal with that? Why do I have to wait so long between Chadley matches, dude? Why?
what is happening? Let me fight the next thing. Come on.
Chadley messing with us.
Yeah.
Testing our patience.
So yeah, I mean, I think we're all pretty impressed with what they achieved in the game from these perspectives. But we talked about the vibes, the atmosphere, and how they accomplished this. I think it's time now maybe to get into some of like the story elements.
Jesus Christ, where do we start?
I would like to start at the very beginning because I give you a little behind the scenes thing. Because you were both at the preview event and you were showing the beginning of the game, but they did not show something specific because Hubert didn't know this was coming. Because when I got the code for the game and played it, Hubert, they showed you the beginning of the game. Why didn't you mention this thing to me?
I can't believe it, dude.
So they did not show the opening sequence with Zach because I was like, if everyone's allowed to talk about this, would be like all over social media right now. I'm like, why? I was like, they didn't show you that.
We
I
were
saw
under
you
the
play that,
impression-
Max, and you didn't know it was coming either.
We were 100% under the impression, oh, we've seen the beginning of the game. Yeah, let's just start getting through it. And then all of a sudden, it's not the beginning. I'm like, what has happened? So they somehow kept that a secret. They somehow kept like the opening with Zach is not like what the. So the first like 5 minutes of the game are a massive shock. Oh, everybody in your party is dead. Tifa's dead. Like Air 13 dies saving you. Like what's happening, bro? So anyway, it was that you have to ultimately realize, like go back and think in our thought process. This timeline shit was not known, right? All the theories we had from the previous podcasts were not solidified. They were hinting at it, and there was ultimanias and stuff that were getting into it a little bit more. But the game's like hand feeding you, hey, there's multiple timelines and shit. Your characters exist in other places. Most people thought that footage was like Shinra propaganda, and I'm like, dude, that doesn't make any sense. Like there's two timelines happening here. So ultimately, it's kind of crazy that stuff starts the game, and we don't get actual explanation of it until the end of the game. We have to wait. We get teased from that shit for almost a little too much.
Yeah.
We get teased way too much, and they save it for just the final chapter.
I was actually shocked how long they went without really revisiting like the Zach or the multiple timeline stuff. Like in the structure of this game, you go a good long while.
Dude, for me it was 30 hours. 30 hours later, we get the second Zach cutscene. I was like, what? This is bonkers, dude. I forgot that was happening. It was so many days ago.
Yeah, and I mean even like the end of that Zach first scene, like they knew what they were doing. Like having the ribbon fall off, the white materia bounce, playing the music. I was like, wait a second, what are we doing right now?
We're in mad spoiler territory, so you have to start assuming like dev expectations, player expectations, devs messing with players' expectations.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you guys right now. Did all of you guys see Aerith die at the start, seemingly die, and assume as you're playing the game that when our Aerith dies, she's gonna be alive in Zach's timeline? She's gonna like that Aerith is gonna wake up from her coma. Did anybody else feel that?
Oh, you mean like as we saw the progression of that? That's what's gonna happen.
Yes.
Okay, so let me just say this real quick. I'll get this out of the way, and I'll try to be brief. For the longest time playing this game,
Don't be brief,
I
there's no
wasn't.
rush.
Because I don't think this is right. So we don't need to waste time on something that's wrong in the end. But like I was juggling. Is it multi? Are we doing with like a multiverse,
Or is it
are we
already
doing
one
with? Are we
timeline?
doing with like a purgatory? I was like,
Yes.
are we doing with? Are we seeing is this purgatory? Like, are Cloud and Aerith really unconscious right now? And everything works. I was like, oh, please don't let Remake and Rebirth be like a fucking dream, man. And like they're about to wake up and all this. I was like, don't you dare do this nonsense. I was like, I will be so angry if you do that. So I was like very like timidly advancing, like, please don't let that be that. But then it's like it's not that at all because you get these hands like that can't possibly be working. But go ahead.
Yeah, I was almost disappointed by it.
Okay, my opinion. So, I don't. Basically, didn't make any assumptions. I had no expectations. I was just like, what the fuck's going on with Zach? Why? Like, I know they're obviously in a different universe, but what? Like, what's the purpose of this here? Like, what's this all leading to? Like, what's the point? Okay, there's multiple universes. Like, why are we even saying this? So, and we still don't really know at the end of Rebirth. What's the point? Right? Like, are we just adding extra story for the sake of adding it? Throwing Zach in there just to have more member berries? Like, what's the deal? And we still don't really know at the end of Rebirth, so. Yeah.
It was like, I was wondering if they're going to go in this direction, where it's like, oh, so we're going to go through the same thing that happens that we think is going to happen to her, but then she's going to be alive over there with him. And it's like, okay, I get that, but it's like, I felt like that was going to happen. I felt like they were teasing that for like the longest time.
I mean, everything was on the table for me, Max, when I was playing through this, because all I knew is that we had defied fate and that anything is possible now. And also, another thing we were introduced pretty early on is that both Aerith and Red 13 had lost that knowledge, knowledge of future events.
We finally know what happens there.
And like it's been explained enough to death now by like so many other YouTube videos. If you don't know what's going on, that's why the white materia becomes the clear materia, because materia is powered by its memories, and they've been stripped. And so there is no more white materia anymore. That's why it's clear. And so they assumed as a result of the arbiters, the original arbiters of fate, stripping that from them. So I'm like, yeah, like I was wrestling with that. We had that going on. Like, why did they lose their memories and not knowing Nanaki's real voice for a little while? Like, is Aerith talking to like a time ghost? Like,
yes, like, they fuck with you so much. This game, and we're not even talking about the ending, which is super fucking with you. They are.
Okay, calm down. They don't fuck with you that much. The Red 13 voice thing was just, yeah. You had no reason to think that was anything going on there.
It's almost like they were aware of like all the fan stuff in the first game, and they were like teetering it. So can we do this? Are people gonna figure this out? Okay, so we thought we were crazy. Level 4 shit. I'm just some insane, doctor.
Level 4.
No, it was all there. They just lay it out, but they take this entire game to do it. I was like, I got to 2 Cosmo Canyon. I'm like, yo, so Bugenhagen, you ever heard about other timelines? Not gonna mention anything about that. Bugenhagen, why aren't you talking about the things I thought you would be talking about? And there's no shit. Nobody knows shit about it. I'm like, wow, they're saving this for something. Like, are they never gonna talk about what's happening with Zach? We literally don't get any of it until the final fucking chapter, dude. I'm like, this is crazy. And I almost that's actually a criticism of mine. I think they.
Yeah, exactly. You were wrong as fuck. I'm glad that he of course isn't gonna admit to it, but yeah, he was wrong as hell, dude.
Pulled out a bit too much throughout the whole game, and they save it just for the very end.
Yeah, I think it didn't bother me because I was expecting that. I was like, they're playing this like the long.
They play the long game like Remake does. They save it for the very end.
I think it's their balancing act because obviously that's part of the appeal of playing these games is what are they going to change, what's going to stay the same, what are they going to embellish, what are they going to cut, and I think they've even said before the developers that it's going to mostly follow the beats one for one.
And it did.
And Remake follows everything from where it should till the end minus Rocket Town. We just don't see Rocket Town was supposed to happen, but it didn't happen. So it's like we'll see that next chapter.
The two big omissions are Bone Village and Rocket Town, and it's not that they're gone. I don't think they're actually gone. I think obviously Rocket Town's coming back, and I think Bone Village is going to show up some other place. The other big one that I think that I was thinking early on, because even in the OG game it doesn't make sense that this place's location. Temple of the Ancients got moved. Yeah, it got moved to the northern area, which makes a lot.
Bone Village might come back for when they go up to Northern Crater, because they still kind of have to go through that area.
Yeah, everyone was saying like it's just because where they go next. It's so weird. They travel half the world to go where they go next, and now it's like it's right next door. So it makes way more sense. So that's just a product of convenience. I don't think that you should read anything more into that. But yeah, I think they want to preserve that kind of like the remake experience as much as possible, so people have that joy. And I think it's a balancing act of maybe not letting things get too out of control, too convoluted, too soon. That like you're the magic that like you were talking about like the magical feel of this game would it be diminished a little bit if you're like wrestling with more than a few like morsels, because we get like an occasional flash sideways, whatever we want to call it, like a Zach perspective or whatever. Yeah, sorry, I don't like Lost, but I'll use that reference. But yeah, we get glimpses, but it doesn't really deep dive into that until the end, as you said.
Yeah, and again, the problem is like the morsel feeding they give us that leads up to it, where it's like the beginning of it is like, okay, so Zach's in a timeline where Aerith is dead, and they're pretty much confirming with us that she seemingly dies in Zach's timeline, and then they tease us again, she's not dead, she's just a coma, and so's Cloud. Okay, but also their world is on the brink of destruction. They don't have a meteor, they have like a time rift, everyone's preparing for the end. Okay,
the doomed.
The doomed world.
I thought we were gonna get a time cop situation and have like 2 clouds meet. And sorry, like that's where my mind went. It was like, we have like an army of clouds.
I think we're definitely getting into where the story's gonna go into part 3. About our characters having a perception, clearly Aerith and Sephiroth having a perception of all their different existences through all the different timelines and shit. And I think just gonna throw it out there right now. There's a reason that Aerith gives Cloud an empty materia. It's gonna have the memories of all the other clouds, and he's gonna become mega fucking Cloud.
Okay, now we're getting stupid again. This is Stupid Max here. Welcome to the world, Stupid Max. Let's hear what Stupid Max has to say. You think that they're going to fucking fill up a materia with clouds? What? What the fuck are you talking about? Let's hear this again.
Through all the different timelines and shit. And I think just gonna throw it out there right now. There's a reason that Aerith gives Cloud an empty materia. It's gonna have the memories of all the other clouds, and he's gonna become mega fucking Cloud to whoop Sephiroth's ass in the end. I'm still hanging on it, bro. We're gonna see Advent Children footage. We're gonna see some shots of like
again with the Advent Children. Oh my god, just fucking. He's so fucking stupid, dude. You really think Advent Children's gonna come? It's not gonna come into this. Holy fuck, dude, enough with the Advent Children. He still didn't learn. It's like that fucking comic, I'll fucking do it again. He's fucking stupid, dude. He's still touting this Advent Children bullshit. No one doing about anything about Advent Children in this.
I don't know if it's going to be Disney related. I don't know if we're going to see that, but you're going to see like all the clouds that have like existed in other timelines that have fought Sephiroth, and that's what's going to give him the memories of all that shit, the power to fucking do this shit. That's what the empty material is, in my opinion.
Let me ask you something.
That's dumb as fuck.
First, before you get too wild here. There's something that's not related to crazy stuff, although some of these scenes do have relevant information. Because I don't know where else to ask it, but it's story spoilers. I actually don't know how much you've seen this either, Max. The Gold Saucer date scenes. So the information you get from those as well. Like, how did you like how that played out? And some of those had a little bit, some were like good character development, but like some like Red 13s. Like
Red 13s is really plotty. Yeah. It's like, well, okay, so they straight tell us that Red 13 and Aerith could see the future. That like Aerith gave Red 13. So they hint that like Aerith touching Marlene to sort of console her in Remake and also to console Red 13 was to show her, I'm a good guy. We actually know each other. Don't worry. And but that process gives them like they can see what's going to happen later on. Marlene is just like, yeah, Sephiroth is going to kill Aerith. Zach, I know this. She told me, and she doesn't know how or why. And it isn't like they're connected to the live stream. No, Aerith, Omni Aerith or some shit has the ability to like give you information, but also maybe a lot more information, like visions of the future type shit. So I thought hiding that in just like one scene.
Not Omni Aerith. Like, it's the original Aerith from Remake. Yeah.
That is so awesome. That level of storytelling. That is so hardcore. Just like, hey, this one optional scene for this little thing. We're gonna drop a huge plot point.
Because Aerith's scene plays up pretty similar to the OG, right? Like kind of from what I recall of seeing a few days ago, it plays up pretty similar to the OG because you always want to date with Aerith in the old school one. It's really hard not to. And Tifa's is like a bit different because now there's like neutral dates and then intimate dates and stuff that actually are like the same thing but just way more and stuff. So there's a lot to unpack there. And they also have like a Kate Sith one with Vincent and Sid. And I'm like, what the shit?
was
You can do this?
hilarious.
Yeah, that was
I don't think you
cool.
can get that one on first playthrough either. I think that one has to be, unless proven wrong. I mean,
No, you're
that was
wrong.
cool even included. But like, yeah, you said the Red 13 one, having those like serious story information there, but also like balancing it with like kind of like tender moments about your paws really are soft.
Yeah, those little gags. Like they talk about that on the Corel minecart area, and I was like, this is some funny. Dude, the character dialogue, like the
Yuffie
character
always
expansion.
just, like petting Red was so nice.
Yeah.
And did you see the Yuffie date yet?
Nope.
Oh,
It's hella cute.
Precious, dude.
It's hella cute. It's like Yuffie doesn't know what it's like to be on a date, you know. So she's like, you know, so I'm gonna practice with you, Cloud. We're gonna figure this out together. It's very cute.
She describes like meeting Zach as a kid and like
Oh,
misunderstanding
yeah.
like what he meant, and so she wanted to become like a train harder to like beat him up because she thought he was an asshole. And like, oh, but he was just being really nice with me, and like she like gets all sad, and so Cloud plays along with her. Like the Crisis
so
Core
sweet.
scene where like
Yeah.
Zach plays along, Cloud does it too. It's like, oh my god, this game can't
Yeah,
handle
and
it.
it's also this game is also the realization
That
that
was very
like,
cute.
everybody loves Zach. Like that's like a big like remake like FF7 Rebirth sort of thing. Square Enix thing to the fans. A lot of this is like you know a lot of Zach pandering, but in a way that's necessary because he's never gotten like a really great moment like in the sun outside of very sad shit. Now it's like everybody loves Zach, sis. They love Zach. You're very lucky, Aerith. This guy I like fell in love with this dude because it made me realize it was Yuffie describes it as like her awakening of like boys are kind of cool. Like it was like that shit, but it was Zach. It's like yeah, this game's trying very hard. It's going out of its way because Zach is a dope character and he finally gets his moments here.
For sure. Yeah, the Snake callbacks were really cool with that.
Oh yeah, in Gongaga, yeah, that was
I
like
love
there's
all
good
that.
nods there too.
Yeah.
I'm curious what you guys thought about the expanded Gi segment in Cosmo Canyon and getting more like it gives you like world building about they can't return to the planet, the forging of the black materia. Like how did you feel about
That's
that?
one of the most interesting parts.
Yeah.
of
One of the
it.
most interesting parts of the game. Yeah. So some of the most interesting parts of the game are complete new shit. The fact that Shinra bulldozed over like an old republic around the grasslands and stuff. The old Republic of Junon type shit. I was like, what is this? What are we talking about? Once again, adds more expansion to Shinra as they like got close to making their Midgar, right? Why that is there, why it is the way it is. Also, the creation of the black materia, I fucking love it. I love it. Like we have a weird tribe of creatures that have existed for just as long as the Cetra, and the only way they can die is to create a materia of hate and spite to essentially blow up the planet because they can't die. They're stuck in a purgatory similar to like Pirates of the Caribbean
Yeah,
dudes.
give me some Return of the King vibes. Like
Exactly. Like set us free type shit. These guys are just ghosts. Like that's all they are in the old one. They're just ghosts and they kill Red 13's dad. That's it, dude. So that expansion was huge. Also, another thing that I really appreciate is the Cetra. They do the one thing that I love about Remake and I love about Rebirth that they hammer home thematically is that things are not black and white. Things are not like good guy, bad guy, Shinra, bad guy. No, there are people that are good people that are there. The same thing is done with the Cetra. The Cetra weren't just some benevolent race of like people that existed. No. They were stewards of the planet and they also potentially did that in ways that were not good. So they juggled this thing that like the Gi are a part of that. They're part of this weird gray area in between where it's like, oh, so there's this moral ambiguity to a lot of parts of the world in FF7 that was not really there before to a certain degree. They really hammered that home. So I really appreciated that.
Yeah, I liked it. I like how it expanded upon it because, as you said, some things were just like kind of glossed over in the original game, and so they're just giving it more depth. And I kind of like, yeah, they've expended all their options, and it's like they just want release, and it's like they're not really caring about what happens after. They just want to be over. And that debate, even amongst you, because they were betrayed by the Cetra, they're like, the Cetra promised us, like, no, you're not getting it, and now you're doing the same thing because like they can't have it, neither can Sephiroth. But like even Barrett's like, there's no way we're giving them that, right?
Yeah,
and it's like
they can't have
have
this. And just the existence of the black materia itself, it's so scary, right? You start to like realize what is this thing?
So intense. Like,
Wait a minute. It's like a wild nuclear bomb, but on a level that is like even more vast than that because it's like this thing is technically made by aliens. We're trying to describe that like the Gi aren't from this planet. They can't return back to it. Naturally, they're not from here. They got here somehow, but the planet just doesn't accept them. And no, you can't go back. So what's their solution? We just want peace and freedom. We're going to destroy it. We just want us out of here. Like then the planet will not find sympathy for us. So it's like interesting. That also leads into like the overall FF7 concept that like the first ending is the bad ending. That like yeah, Geostigma eventually like maybe kills everybody or some shit. That eventually everyone succumbs to some weird virus and just Red 13 and animals and stuff are left and humans all die. Where it's like oh, so yeah, there's some weird moral ambiguity with like the planet isn't just.
That's what are you talking about? If you know anything about Geostigma, you know that it gets cured at the end of Advent Children, and it's because of Genova being in the live stream. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
It's like we just want this. Like sometimes no, like you might actually be a huge problem. We're gonna get rid of you.
I have some follow-up questions later about the Gi and their relevance to like the overarching story as well as the black
Maybe go back to Street Fighter questions, dude. I'm sorry.
materia. But I want to know what you thought about like the general expansion. Like I kind of expect you guys would both like really enjoy that and like that expansion. The other thing,
and just like Red 13 coming to terms with like his dad and like what really happened, like that was so
yeah.
that was amazing.
That seems perfect. I couldn't believe it. And then it leads into the Gi stuff, like the pacing of that. Like now here's some crazy mystery. It was like, whoa, dude, I was riveted at that point. I was ready to go.
Well, the Red
I
13
know there's, like, a lot of
stuff's
different
all
points that,
just
like,
in the
we asked
original
for today,
game.
so I kind of like do you want to move some of like the bigger stuff. I want to start maybe like in chapter 13. The dungeon, Temple of the Ancients, the black materia, and like the whole like. So when we get there, they use the key, like with song enters the key, the whole thing happens. I'm curious about your reaction, like Hojo. I want to ask a little bit about Hojo for a little while because that man seems to know a little bit more than he's letting on.
No, he always acts like he knows everything.
And like, is there more going on than like what we expect from the original game with Hojo?
I mean, he always knows what's up. Dude. He's doing so many experiments. He's been doing experiments for decades.
Yeah.
Especially on Red 13. Like, could have read his mind or done like who God knows what.
Hojo's the actual like piece of shit worst bad guy like of all of them. He's like the ultimate piece. He was the same way in the old game too.
No one asked
They
if he's the
expanded
bad
in this game
guy.
at the end of Remake where it's like I think Hojo's gonna figure out all this timeline shit. And I thought it was gonna be
Everyone knows
like,
he's the bad guy.
characters in our main timeline, they're gonna have like an understanding of this. It might be like Buganek, and he shockingly doesn't. Like he gives you some general information on the planet. But as the game goes along, it seems like Hojo starts becoming a little bit more aware of what's happening. But there's a really great line.
Why would you think
Bugenhagen
would know anything about that? That would be breaking the game.
Where they're going back and Rufus asked Hojo, so what do you make out of that crazy thing that happened back there, which was like the crazy Black Materia Sephiroth thing? And he's like, well, I can't really pull a discernible conclusion, but I think we need to be much more ambitious. So
Sans the reason we need to dream bigger.
and I feel like that is setting up for part 3 to possibly be a much crazier game than we think it's going to be. I think there's a set of expectations of what part 3 is going to be, and like the reunion and stuff like that, and a lot of events are going to happen. But I think part 3 is going to get really fucking crazy because now our characters in our current timeline are also like hyper aware that some weird shit is going down.
He knows more than he's letting on. He's obsessed with like the reunion and what's gonna happen with that, but he's also obsessed with the weapons and like wanting like lives. Like,
I think okay, I'm gonna come back to this video, and you guys are gonna see when I comment on this video if I'm wrong or not. When I come back to it after keep on saying revelation. I don't think anything is gonna go crazy with Hojo where he's gonna like know anything time wise or in universe wise. Like they kept saying time stuff. It's not time, it's universes. When he says dream bigger, I'm thinking he just means like make the fucking like Sister Ray bigger or something. Like what do you think he's just gonna like whatever happened with him they found out about Chadley, like nothing even happened with that in this game at least. It's like I don't know. I think that a lot of these videos that people make, like the one I'm watching right now, it's a lot of sensationalism to get views and interest rather than something that could actually happen, which I'm a more realistic person. Sorry.
I think he definitely knows more than he's on, but I have something else I want to ask about him later because yes, I definitely agree he's like more knowledgeable and he is a real villain, but I'm not fully convinced that like he's like the end game or he thinks he's as smart as he is.
He thinks he is, and he will be up until the very end when he gets wrecked.
So I mean, I guess I should say not to be weird. Like, I think you maybe think this a little bit too, Max. I mean, I think everyone in this game, in all the games, I think this is like Jenova manipulating everyone. I think even Hojo is being manipulated by Jenova as well because Jenova's trying to teach its end goal. I think even the Gi are being manipulated by Jenova as well. I think that it's all part of their ploy to win in the end.
What? You think the Gi's being manipulated by Jenova? Doesn't even make sense. I don't think Jenova would want Meteor to come down. Am I thinking about this the wrong way? Jenova probably wouldn't survive if the planet was destroyed. Jenova probably wants to go to another planet after that one's destroyed. Like, wouldn't want to just die on Gaia.
And when we get to the multiverse stuff, I'll give like more examples. But I just want to say I believe like Hojo is being played by Jenova, and he thinks he's like gonna attain godhood or something, or he's gonna obtain the promised land himself and screw over Sephiroth or whatever. But he's going to get
Dude, Hojo already has a feature with Weiss. They already hinted at it in Remake. Like, that's why do we think that anything is gonna change with this? Like, I just think these thoughts are stupid.
What's coming to him, but I do expect him to get super powerful. I expect him to be like a major boss fight or something in part 3 because like he's gonna like obtain something. He's gonna be like, oh shit, I did it. And it's like, nah, you really didn't do it.
Well, he is a boss fight. He's a boss fight in the original game. He injects himself with shit or whatever, and you fight him in front of the console he dies in front of. In Dirge of Cerberus. But yeah, I'm gonna use the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back.
He got played.
This is the best archetype, dude. The Orochimaru, William Birkin, mad scientist. Like,
So here's what's very cool about the FF7 Remake series so far, being able to balance the OG game with like new concepts and execution of those concepts. Where the next game's gonna be wild and crazy, and there's gonna be a lot more crazy stuff in the next one. But I still am 100% faithful. We're gonna see all the same locations that we remember from the previous game, and a lot of the same events are going to happen. I still think we're gonna deliver the black materia to Sephiroth's body in the Northern Crater. But how that goes down, the way it goes down, is going to be vastly different. Like the events that build up to that, and then the consequences of them are going to be so much more substantial. And based on what happens at the end.
Nope, it's not. It's gonna be the same exact events. It's not gonna be so much more substantial. What are you talking about?
This game, they're setting this up to be way more dramatic. And it's already really dramatic. Like, the majority of plot of Final Fantasy VII happens in that part of the game, on the way up to...
It's going to be way more dramatic. What the fuck does that even mean?
The Northern Crater and what happens after. That's like the big plot of FF7. So they're pretty much setting that up and amplifying it several times over. So I'm completely faithful that, like, yeah, I still think we're gonna get Bone Village. We're obviously gonna get, all these other places. I think we're gonna, the disappointing part of this game is that we don't really get to explore the City of the Ancients. We don't get to explore the Crown Capital. But then I remember, we're going back there, dude. We're going back there in the next game. We have to. That's the whole point of it. Like, we don't explore that here. They keep the pacing of, like, we gotta blitzkrieg to save her. But yeah, there's a big, giant part of the next game where we need to go back.
Do you think they'll do something?
What are you talking about? It's not a giant part where you go back. You search for the white materia. And that's about it. It's not crazy where you go back. Like you see that weird the weird ancient guy over there that's all of a sudden there, I think, right? Um but that's about it. Like it's not a crazy like, oh, we go back, and it's not like, oh, now we're going to do 15 billion different things and explore. No. I don't think that's going to be hugely different. Sorry.
Insane where we go to Zach's timeline or like go to another timeline as the core party.
I don't think so. I think they'll get visions of it because ultimately the conclusion
Nope.
of this game is that majority of those are now gone. So the reunion
We're not.
has changed, right? The Sephiroth's ambitions have changed since the first one. The convergence has happened, but it is, as he explains, the convergence of all these realities coming together as one. There's a reason why Sephiroth is doing this. Sephiroth found a way to weaponize pain. He found a way to, like, the only time Sephiroth is powerful, he explained this, is when people are going through despair. So the goddamn famous line, "Shall I give you despair?" It's coming around now. He found a way to weaponize
Shut
people's,
up.
like, feelings of loss and anger and hatred is what he needs. And that's why all the other universes seemingly are going through like the worst shit ever.
More
He's
advent
turning
children
all the other
bullshit,
multiverses
dumb
into, like, the worst
shit.
fucking place so he can become a god.
He's Majora's Mask. He's like possessed kid trying to like wreak despair and hate on everybody so he can crash the moon down and like win.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, like now Sephiroth's getting to a point where he has this obvious hyper
Stop trying to act like fucking one word that's being said in one sentence matters more than it did in that one sentence. Like now you're trying to think in despair. Oh, it could mean this. Oh, it could mean this. Oh, it means like 15 different things. Oh, see, he was gonna give you despair. So it's no, it's just a fucking word, dude. Fucking
the
idiot.
appropriate word of all these different situations, and it's all coming to a head, and that's the point of the end of the game, is that I'm going to put all of our characters in the spot that they feel the most pain. And it's not just our main party, it's also all the other main parties that exist in all the other timelines are going to siphon into this one spot, and he's going to fucking become a god.
Yeah.
That's
him
dumb.
trying to make convergence and get all this stuff, like it's going to be very interesting, like where it goes. And I mean, there's a lot of questions about like who's who in some scenes, and like they do a good job of like putting some identifiers, I will say. But this gets me to the point about some
Intentionally confusing.
Okay, confusion. That's where I want to start here for like probably the biggest point.
I mean, we already know he was going through all the timelines and killing Aerith. So what the fuck do you think else he's gonna do?
Is the Aerith death scene or how it played out?
I don't know why I said timelines, universes, and killing Aerith. Like, what do you think he's gonna do? Like steal everyone's materia? Like in all the time? Like, what are you fucking talking about? Like nothing else happens. Like no one dies. Nothing big Sephiroth related happens in the rest of the game.
In this game, both of you. I haven't even heard you because I will say I didn't fully understand what I was seeing and needed time to process. Knowing what I know now, it makes more sense and I understand it, but it completely killed any emotional attachment to the moment.
100%.
Okay, thank you.
And that's why I want to agree with you. My first reaction to it, you know what the actual Aerith death scene is? When she and Cloud are on the date, and he gives her the white, she gives him the white materia and says goodbye. And Sephiroth walks through the door, and it's like, oh Jesus, that had the emotional weight of like an Aerith death scene, where it's like, wait a minute, are you telling me that Sephiroth is going through all the timelines and fucking murdering her? Like that's what he's doing throughout all of the timelines. He's just hunting her down. Like, whoa, that's dark as shit. Because he literally says like, oh, I found you. You're in that world that has accepted its fate.
Yeah.
And she's like, crap, I'm running out of time.
Yeah.
So I'm like, whoa, this is really cool. And its conclusion is amazing. I'm like, that had the emotional resonance because ultimately the actual Aerith death scene, as we are in, bad spoilers now, lacks that because it builds confusion. It's intentionally building confusion. They give you so much information and then it builds up to that point, and then the scene doesn't play out the way you think it does, but then it does, but then it doesn't. Like it's like on review now, I get to go watch it several times later, and it actually is really emotionally resonant. But on first playthrough, I'm just kind of like,
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I'm usually
wait a
not.
minute, is she alive?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, they keep her alive? Or now we're fighting with her? She's okay? That was my impression. My impression is that they actually did it.
So, okay, so I'll say my take on if she's alive or whatever, not now. So, mark this down. I could be wrong. But Red notices that Aerith's there. It's it Aerith? Like, she was standing right there. Like, Cloud is not crazy. Like, he's crazy. But he's not... That vision of Aerith must exist in some alternate universe or something, and he's able to perceive her. Like it's not just Genova taking over his mind. Like this is an actual Aerith presence that exists, and it's genuine. Like she is a nice, you can see she's there's no hints of deception or whatever. It's Aerith. And so yeah, she's dead in that universe, but not in the alternate universe, or not in one of the alternate universes, or she could be stuck between universes like Zack was. Like when Aerith came and delivered the white materia, and then like she was still there after that battle. Sephiroth ran away, in case you forgot. So yeah.
They kept her alive. So, like, wow, we lost the emotional resonance of it because on first viewing, you think you changed destiny.
Yeah, it was just so much the process that my mind was trying to like solve stuff. I'm like, I want to know what I'm actually seeing, so I can't. Like my emotions just aren't processing right now. They're like on the back burner in my like processing queue, and like I
So
felt
here's-
bad. Yeah.
Go up. So you almost intentionally feel bad. So here's where I'm going to get into what I call the meta. There was obviously a meta commentary throughout the original remake, all over the place. The whispers are like the fans, the purist fans trying to keep things this way. There's a lot of like meta commentary about the developers, the challenges of recreating something that's so beloved. That was definitely there. I don't think that went away in this game. The problem is they save it for the very end, just similar to like remake, where it's kind of hard to gather this shit. I think there's a meta commentary here of the perception of what people wanted. What did they set up from the previous game? What was the whole point of like the ending of Final Fantasy VII remake happening the way it did? You can save her. That's like the whole point.
Yeah, it's like the fate. It's like why are you
unknown
doing
future.
this? Yeah.
Exactly. There's an unknown future
Going
going
into this
ahead.
game, you're like, oh, we're gonna choose who dies.
It's the ultimate question. It's the biggest question. The whole point is that, oh yeah, we're setting up this multiple timeline stuff so that we can save her. It was my early impression, like from the end of that game, that's okay, so that seems like that's the point. They want you to feel like you can save her so they can steal that from you. But as you watch the ending of this game, you save her. You fucking do it, man. Like you reflect the attack and all that shit. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. We're going in this direction. And on my first viewing, she wakes up and shit. She goes like, don't worry. You know, you're like, oh, okay, I got this, babe, let's do this. So it's like, wow, we're really doing this. All right, that's nuts. I feel like us as fans are being put in Cloud's position. That's like the meta, is that we're going through what like Cloud is kind of going through, because she's clearly not alive. She's after watching it like several times, she's clearly not alive. Even if you start looking at the perspective of other characters and stuff, and it's the whole point. If people may not be paying attention to what Sephiroth says right after he kills her, she's dead, dude.
Yeah, and Cloud has been tripping out this entire game. Dude,
Yeah.
Cloud is like out of his mind. So that makes perfect sense.
So yeah, I feel like they're juggling a lot here, and I agree with you. Like they're doing a lot of this to play with player expectation. Unreliable narrator Cloud is
They're going so hard on
even
that
what we're
now.
seeing even real. Like we have to also like question we're seeing, but also as you pointed out, Max, Sephiroth got the black materia, found it the true one, activated it, and began the convergence of realities. And is what we're seeing from that point on a byproduct of realities colliding? Because in that sequence with Cloud going through like the space between realities and seeing like realities merging and like stars like going to a black hole, like that, yeah, like stuff like that. Are we seeing the byproduct of that? And is like what Cloud's seeing is like he's seeing different timelines and possibilities because of what has happened? Because the trigger.
Why do you keep saying
that the rainbow
timelines?
effect, whenever someone makes a decision, it creates another branching path. Because the Zack stuff. So I've seen so many videos and I thought at the same time too. Like so a lot of people
rainbow
think
argument.
that there are
Universes.
different Zack perspectives in the Zack timeline. Yeah, like there's one where he stays at the church, one where he goes to the Shinra headquarters, one where he goes to save Biggs. And it's like they're showing you that like this is true. We make choices, you create.
Okay, timelines usually refer to like different times, right? Like, I mean, I don't know. I guess you could say timelines could refer to multiple universes. I guess it's kind of two ways of saying the same. Now I'm thinking about it again. I guess it could be the same thing.
They're branching realities, but now that they're all coming back together, what like how can you tell the difference? And is that what's going on? Because in that sequence, the distortion effect that everyone thinks is like Genova and fake memories, is that actually reality? Cloud confusing perception of reality because he has the ability to sense that for various reasons. Along with, like,
And you start to wonder, so how much is this Cloud in Cloud's head? How much of it is a live stream talking to him? Is it Genova? Like you don't know. There's clear confusion that they're trying to build here. I think there's a very important storytelling thing because all of this stuff will come around. It came around in this game. The way things characters say about shit, they are very intentional. This is the 30-year cook, man. And I tell you this is the 30-year cook because I'm cursing because I get aggressive about this. In the OG FF7, in the Mind Palace part of the game where Tifa has to save Cloud from his mind prison, the terror is in the background. The weird universe terror is in the background.
Image, yeah.
That's where that image comes from. It comes from that. So it's like, oh, okay. So they're utilizing that imagery. They're clearly thinking about this. Going back to like the universe and timeline stuff, because the game starts proposing pretty nutty ideas that like you come across Zack who's clearly in one timeline, and it's like, okay, so this is our Zack. He got moved to someplace else. He's also in a place that has converged. A universe has already converged. It's on the brink of death. Why? Well, because the Biggs from that universe and the Marlene from that universe are seemingly our Biggs and our Marlene. Seemingly, they have the information from Aerith that we saw in remake, and Biggs knows Cloud.
Not seemingly,
so he's in the
they
wrong place.
are.
Things are messed up there. What's going to happen to that place? We don't know, right? We don't know what's going to happen to those characters. But then they also start proposing through the information of dogs that there's a lot of other Zacks. There's a lot of other universes. There's a lot of other Clouds in wheelchairs, like completely bereft. There's Barista Cloud, right? This is what I always say. There's like the alternate versions of our characters that, and Sephiroth says the same thing. There's like infinite of them. They're all over the place. So the game shows us like 7, but just assume they're countless. So it's now we're thinking about numbers so big that doesn't make any sense. It's just infinite possibilities type shit. Okay, it's the live stream. It's wild. The whole point of the game is that he's converging it all. He's bringing it all together. Why is he bringing it all together? Because
But
all
he
that hatred and
failed
sadness
to
is
do
spread apart
that.
right now. It's spread apart in all these worlds that are like split into many different live stream worlds. So he needs it all to come into one spot. He needs to like siphon it to one area,
Which I think
the
is
most powerful.
which I think is such a cool way to handle a multiverse, because for me, you can lose a lot of like emotional stakes
100%.
with a multiverse, but the way they have set up, obviously it goes back to the live stream and all that, and just the convergence and the way that even like multiple people are interacting with other universes. Like I think the premise of that is just super cool.
It is, and that's the problem with multiverse stories that I personally have felt is that a lot of them, it's the emotional impact is sort of lost just because they're just fine over there.
Well, you're saying Sephiroth, like just hunting down Aeriths in like all the timelines. Like,
he's going through the timelines looking for her.
Yeah, it's such a cool way to connect it all.
There's also the cool beats where it's like the white materia doesn't exist in every timeline. The black materia also doesn't exist in every timeline. Sephiroth gets the key to the black materia. He does not get it at Temple of the Ancients. It shows him where it is. He activates the key. It opens up like a dimensional portal, and he sends all of his bullshit whispers to go find it. And they do. They bring it back to him, but he can't do anything with it. It literally falls through his hands because he needs like somebody from like this world to give it to him for some reason, right? Cloud has to deliver it to him in some way. Yeah. But it also isn't the like same black materia we know. It's one that is.
Well, the reason why you can't hold it is because it's not really Sephiroth. The real Sephiroth is the North Crater. That's why. It's kind of fucking obvious, isn't it?
Cause a convergence. It causes the worlds to come together. So it's like, oh, this is much different than the original game. Whether or not we get the black materia that does meteor and all that stuff, we actually don't.
It's not much different. It's different, but it's not much different.
know. Like, we really don't have. We know what it does, what it's supposed to do, but as Sephiroth is explaining to us, this black materia does some crazy different shit.
Yeah, I wasn't like fully convinced that there's not a white materia, and I mean maybe no longer, but I think there was always probably a white materia wholly in each reality, because my take on it was that they lost the white materia, it became clear materia, and Aerith being able to communicate with like another version of herself like in the other timeline needed to give it to Cloud to bring back, because she has it in the Rebirth timeline to pray again. Like she has what the holy materia, but like it was gone. It's kind of like Infinity War when they need the one time stone. It's like they literally lifted that plot point. Yeah.
So I'd like to propose a weird idea here. I don't think this white materia is the same as the old white materia. I don't think it does the same thing. Sephiroth wants Aerith to pray. He wants you to call holy.
Yeah.
Which is that's weird. Why does he want that? He literally says, "Yeah, pray. You keep doing that. I'm gonna keep him out here."
What are you talking about? He said that doesn't belong here.
So he wants you. That was a weird idea here. I don't think this white materia is the same as the old white materia. I don't think it does the same thing. Sephiroth wants Aerith to pray. He wants you to call holy.
Yeah.
Which is that's weird. Why does he want that? He literally says, "Yeah, pray. You keep doing that. I'm gonna keep him out here." So whoa, that's different. Why is
The praying is when she doesn't even have the white materia. What the fuck are you talking about, you dumbass? He's so fucking dumb.
that? Well, we are proposing the idea that the white materia is like all the thoughts and memories super valuable to Aerith. Pretty much, we can all acknowledge the existence of Omni Aerith, right? We're the most OP character in this whole fucking game. She's so overpowered. She has 17 Game Shark codes. She's got the full Brady game strategy guide. She can wall hack. Sephiroth literally calls her out on bullshit. He's like, that's not fair. There's literally a moment where she gives Cloud the white materia through timelines, takes physical matter from one place to a complete other existence, and Sephiroth looks at this like, bitch, what? He goes, that's
What are you talking about? He got the black materia the same way. God damn, he just fucking like he's either stupid or lies. And why does no one call him out on it? Like Dami doesn't say anything, Hero doesn't say anything. Like all these points I'm saying is just no one has the balls to say this kind of stuff.
a bad play. He said something along those lines where he's like, you know, that's not allowed. Are you kidding me?
Very
That's poor form. So there
Jack.
is. I'm like, well, that's an interesting line. There's a power struggle between Omni Aerith and Omni Sephiroth, the ones that are like hyper aware of all this. So Omni Aerith, we are seemingly aware that the white materia she has is a hyper awareness. Is the one that is like aware of all the other Aeriths and all the other timelines and all this shit. Is one that is like essentially the Aerith that's from the live stream. You know, one that might be from the future or some shit, right? Because again, that's something that isn't confirmed yet, but seemingly is like, oh yeah, these characters are from the fucking future, bro. So again, that is our white materia in this. It's an awareness of like everything and where.
Why would you think she's from the future? What the fuck are you talking about?
I think we should think bigger about this. I don't think Meteor is the actual threat.
Oh, no.
I don't think it's actually Meteor. I think it's going to be there, but the real threat is something much larger. It's a Sephiroth that is controlling like all of these timelines, these convergences and shit. So we don't. The black materia change, where now it's like bringing together timelines and stuff, and also potentially casting Meteor. The white materia now also isn't just bringing Holy to blow up a big rock in the sky. No, I think this white materia does something much bigger. It does something that is like to save the fucking universe or some shit like that.
Hojo get his grubby little
That
hand.
could be true.
Exactly, yeah.
Like,
I think the line I was telling Max was when in the Temple of the Ancients, when he says forever, and it was a different possessed Aerith who says there's no such thing as forever, and he goes, there will be.
Omni Aerith shows up.
Yeah, and it's like he clearly, just like Hojo, has bigger ambitions. It's not, he doesn't want control. Like even Cloud's like misunderstanding. He keeps saying, oh, Sephiroth wants control of the world, you know, and it's like, no, he wants more than that, and like
He wants way more. Yeah, this isn't about Meteor anymore. Meteor's still gonna happen.
Well, he wants to bring everything together under his rule, basically. And she says, yeah, there's no such thing as forever, and then he's like, there will be. Like, somehow he's gonna have control over everything, which none of this makes any, like, no one's even, the question that should be brought up is, why does he have all this power? And I don't think there is gonna be an answer to that. Like, why all of a sudden he has the ability to travel through universes. I don't think they're ever going to give me an answer to that question. I don't think it's going to be like, oh, Hojo like did an accident when he was working on experiments or something, caused a rip in the space-time continuum, and now Sephiroth can somehow travel between worlds and shit. Like, there's not going to be an explanation for half of the shit they're talking about, and that's what I don't think people get when they are doing these types of videos. Is like, think about all the times you just don't get answers. You're not going to get all the answers. It's fun to shoot the shit, but be realistic.
Because our timeline is still going to follow the events, right? But Sephiroth's actual intentions in this one, I think we have to refer to him as Infinity Sephiroth. He talks about this in Temple of the Ancients, where he wants to control like all of existence. He wants to control time and existence and things way beyond our planet. He wants to control all of energy and life. In the OG game, he literally wants to girdle a damage point of the planet to go from planet to planet to planet and like take the life force of them, similar to how the way he does ours. So it's like, okay, so that's OG Sephiroth's intention. This one is not that. This one like wants to take over all of existence. He wants to become not just a god of the planet. He wants to become the god, the all of everything type shit.
Yeah, and I think the reason like the convergence all this, he's gained this knowledge because the original reunion was reunite all Genova cells and reform. It's like even like up through Advent showing like the remnants. Oh, you missed some of them. We gotta get more of them. That's how we truly get. But like now he's discovered, or Genova has discovered, oh, part of me is scattered in other timelines and realities. Like to actually achieve this, we need to reunify everything together so I actually can come back together, because it's impossible just in the way we were trying to do it. My question to you, Max, is if you thought about this, like where did this begin? Like where is it? Like when did Genova become aware and like send future Sephiroth? Like how was it Advent? No, I mean like the OG timeline. What triggered the effect? Because everyone says, oh, you defied fate at the end of Remake. How did anyone know to do that? Why was it activated? What triggered that stuff to begin with? Was it like something in Advent Children? Was it like the final defeat of Sephiroth at the end of that? And it's like Noah's like, all right, this is never gonna work this way. Was it something else? Was it Aerith being returned to the what?
There's a lot of like lore stuff that talk about like Aerith and Sephiroth. It's Aerith and Sephiroth's existence beyond their physical forms, like in the live stream type of shit, like how Sephiroth exists in the live stream, which probably will get very spoilery. If you want to read some of, to be honest, if you want to read some of the other like Nojima like texts and novellas and all that kind of stuff that exists, there's a lot of stuff that will probably break down the exact intentions of how our characters become and have an awareness of what's happening. But yes, like I still am under the impression that this is, I mean, dude, she has straight lines and scenes right from Advent Children. Like Aerith has like moments. The part where she assists you in fighting Sephiroth is just like an Advent Children moment, where I'm like, whoa, what the heck? This is very similar. And Sephiroth clearly like is aware that like, oh, this doesn't work out for me. Let's change that. Like, let's see how we can change that. So
You know, they messed with like Crisis Core and Nibelheim and all that.
again, yes,
So
well,
weird.
that gets into like the unreliable narrator and expectations. Like for some reason, they wanted us to watch Advent Children. They wanted us to watch Crisis Core. These movies spoil the shit. These movies and games spoil the shit out of the main theme of Final Fantasy VII. They do.
What is he talking about? Oh my god!
Isn't the point? Why are we doing this? Why do we
All
want
right,
to
I'm gonna try not to be so negative here.
There's a good reason. And
I'm just gonna not say anything when he's saying stupid shit.
The developers literally say at the beginning of Advent Children in the theaters, we want to create a game that puts everything together. It takes all of the FF7 lore and puts it into one story, one big final story.
Dude, I need Cloud, Zack, and Angeal 3 Buster Swords. Let's go.
Yeah, like there's I think we're setting up some for some again, just mad spoilers here. I thought the finale, like we talked about this before, the finale of the story, in my opinion, was that all of this timeline shit, which was not confirmed until the end of this game 4 years ago. We're like, dude, the whole point of this story is that we're gonna get Cloud and Zack together. Bros are gonna beat the shit out of this dickhead. That is gonna be that's where the story is going to conclude. That's the point of all this timeline shit. We just gotta get Zack to come back in some way. And it's like, yeah, that's gonna be the end of the third game. That'll be the sickest ending ever. It happens in this game. Wait, you already do that?
So awesome.
Wait a minute, it happens here? We're doing this now?
Yeah.
So that was truly shocking to me. That we're setting up for something even crazier than what our tiny level 4 brains were ready for in a part 2. So part 3 is going to be fucking wild. And again, we're really setting up for how wild it is with this unreliable narrator stuff. Because as much as it felt like we were being spoiled, and you're just like ruining this for your audience, for the people that don't know this, why are you telling us Crisis Core stuff? Why are you telling us Advent Children stuff? This is like ruining the story of FF7. Oh wait, and it takes until the final moments of the game, in my opinion, where they really start hammering down what is effectively the unreliable narrator of this game. And I think it's still sound. I think what they have built now is something that's way more intriguing.
Oh yeah, I have definitely questions for you about the very very end of this game and like what we're actually like seeing. But I have like some final questions about like the multiverse that we've been talking about and like all the different dimensions. I want to know how far down the rabbit hole you think we're going, because we talked about 7 realities and timelines. But it's hard to overlook that there are several references in these games that might open up
every single Final Fantasy?
Have you've done all the Gilgamesh stuff, right?
Yes.
And you saw how he says, "Oh, I'm from another dimension," and
I'm gonna fight the other warriors of light.
This is a Gilgamesh trope. He has done this before. It's not unique, but he has very specific. The timing and specificness of his lines make it feel like okay, maybe there's a little bit more to that. We have the Shinra picture and remake, the Final Fantasy X Shinra.
Yeah.
We have Crazy Chocobo from Final Fantasy 13 2 play during one of the Chocobo races in this. Do you think they might possibly just blow this open and do something insane like that? Or you think
are they gonna
try to connect Final Fantasy all of them
What are
together?
you talking
and
about?
do
Final
insane,
Fantasy
but keep it
13 music playing.
So that's Disney wishing it, right? That's what Disney Wish does, from what I understand. It like brings all of the Disney verses together, and it's like I think that fucking sucks.
That's what the reunion is. Reunion worlds.
To me, having a shot, and here's where I think it like there's like a suspension of disbelief. You have a shot of Elena just straight eating Kingdom Hearts ice cream in this game.
Hell yeah, dude. Sea salt ice cream. Let's
It's
go.
she's just eating it, and it's like they show a shot of it. You literally have Cloud getting like Dark Knight FF14 shit in this game. You clearly have a play that is referencing Final Fantasy V or something like that, one I might not have played before. You know, there is references to almost all of them. There's little nods to like every fucking Final Fantasy game in the game. It's like a love letter. To me, it comes across as like a developer love letter to Final Fantasy instead of a timeline convergence of all the Final Fantasies. What I'm trying to tell you, Damiani, is that Jecht is going to jump out of a portal and help Cloud fight Sephiroth in the
Well, I was like, part 3 is going to end with like Cloud stepping out of a portal and he sees other characters. It's the beginning of Dissidia, and it's like, there we go.
If that happens, I will eat my foot. I will chop off my foot and eat it live on stream and suffer the pain.
I know I always bring up Sora.
It's not gonna happen.
But like, come on, like there's precedent here. Cloud and Sephiroth are in the fucking game Kingdom Hearts and they fight.
Yeah.
You could do something weird there. You could do something weird.
There's some crazy realizations. I started the big picture here, and I'm like, dude, why did they let us fight Sephiroth at the end of Remake Part 1? That's such a big, like, you know, spoilery bummer. Why are they doing it again here? And it's like, think about it, man. You actually don't fight human Sephiroth ever in a Final Fantasy game. Like, in a traditional old school Final Fantasy game. Somewhat in the later ones, like Crisis Core, you do, but you don't get the traditional 1v1 versus human Sephiroth fight until Kingdom Hearts fucking 1. And then Kingdom Hearts 2, which is why, like, you know, I like those games. That's why I was into those games. But they, again, like, they're like, oh, we realize that in most of these FF7 games, we actually don't really have a lot of this. You pretty much fight crazy Sephiroth with, like, 30 wings and shit when he becomes of God. So it's like, oh, yeah, so they gave us that. They gave us, oh, now you get this. And at the end of it, this game, they one up it again. They really one up it. We're now, this is the expectations of Part 3. We pretty much gave you 2/3 of the finale of OG FF7 at the end of this game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are we doing here? We're going this far? You're going this far with many different boss fights. There's very few forms of Genova and Sephiroth we haven't seen yet. So it's like, they're setting up Part 3 to be different. They're like, oh shit, no, Part 3 is going to be getting, like, goddamn Infinity Sephiroth. He's going to get the power of infinite type shit. So we're going to be seeing something way bigger
I don't think
than
there's
just the
two
one wing, like the one wing
we haven't seen. No, I think there's only
they've
one
done so much
form
crazy
we haven't
stuff in
seen
these
yet,
first
and
two
that's
games
it with him
at
with
this
the
point, my
wings.
expectations are that the first half of Part 3 is like the events as we kind of know them, and then the next half is just like, what is even happening?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel it's still going to be traditional, but it's going to get absolutely nuts towards the end.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to get that out of my system. I know it's goofy off the rails, but I wanted to ask that. Like,
What is it called? Bizarro Sephiroth or
Safer
Safer Sephiroth? I forget which
Stranger
one's
Paradise.
which.
Dude, like freaking Jack shows up in this. Like, yeah, let's go, Jack Garland. Like, let's go. I will like celebrate. I will give Part 3 a 10 on principle. Jack
Oh
Garland.
my god.
Yeah. So here's I'd like to promote one thing before we start to get into like finale predictions and stuff like that. They're setting up Cloud's Dark Knight arc in this
Okay,
in Part
I
3.
want to ask you about this. Yes.
So the story has changed. Cloud is now in full possession of the black materia, and he is hiding it from everybody. He is the one ring like sort of situation right now where he is like, I can't tell anybody about this. You can't know about it type stuff. So it's like it's having its power on him in already a situation of Cloud losing it and at his brink, and like he's already super fucked up. There's a great line where it's like at the very end of the game. This is very intentional. I felt Sid has this line as everyone's getting onto the ship where it's like we have too much cargo, and Sid's like, no, like no more cargo. We're full to the brim as it is. And I'm like, dude, this is like referring to Cloud. Cloud is like dealing with so much more than he was in the OG game, and now he's hiding more stuff. They're setting
What are you I say wouldn't be negative. It's hard. It's a joke. Because they're talking about cargo. And then he's like, we don't need any more cargo. It was a joke. Did you not hear what was said right before that? It was a joke.
This Dark Knight arc in the next game, where Cloud's going to be like seemingly twisted by this hidden black materia that he won't tell anybody about, and they already do it throughout this game. We already got abilities that seem very weird that are not really in line with Cloud, which is Prime mode, a crazy ass like Dark Knight mode that really references Final Fantasy 14 with the look of the weapon and all this shit. It's like the new Force Stealer, and we also get the Dark Side materia, which I'm like, I feel like these things Cloud is just going to have in the next game, and his gameplay is going to change. I feel like he is going to go through effectively a Spider-Man 2 situation where you start off like normal and you learn all this crazy evil bullshit on your way to, you know, the Northern Crater type of stuff, and Cloud's going to be like a vastly different character where you essentially get the symbiote abilities of this nutty ass black materia shit. So he's going to be in his Dark Knight arc, but that clearly sets up Cloud later on for his Paladin arc, right? Where he's going to turn all of these abilities similar to how Spider-Man does. He turns the symbiote abilities into good guy stuff.
Is he
Like
gonna climb a
anti-
mountain and change to a paladin?
Oh, something's gonna happen. He has to have his switch. Story-wise, he already has a switch, right? Like that already happens in the OG FF7. All I'm saying is that you're gonna have this Cloud's Dark Knight arc in the next game with new crazy abilities that he hasn't had. He's not gonna be like the air combo guy. He's gonna be a lot different in the next game, in my opinion.
Do you think they go so far as like for part of the game he will actually be more like a villain character?
Yes,
Okay.
I 100% think he is on like a weird ass dark path at the end of this game based on how the ending goes. And the ending is my first impression of the ending is like, oh, okay, I guess we're just on the way doing the exact same thing. You know, like there's multiple timelines. She's alive in one other timeline. This is my first impression. I guess we're doing that. And upon reviewing it, this ending is dark as shit, dude. It's way more sad and depressing than I think most people are putting on.
So it ends with like jolly splash, like
it
splash screen rainbow. Have fun on your next journey.
Have fun on your next journey. I'm like, yeah. This is considering what is leading up to this. This is very weirdly, and again, it could just be poor writing, right? I think the ending of this game could be a weird poor writing, but there are several anomalies in the ways characters are treating things that are like, whoa, is this what you're insinuating over here?
Yeah. I have some questions about that last scene, if you're good.
Yeah,
You have more to say?
Because they're truly alive.
When I was playing
In
this
a
game, my
different
biggest note,
universe.
literally I wrote down, who the fuck is Glenn?
Okay, I was gonna ask about that. That was my question. So
I didn't know either.
So Glenn
Who is
so
this man?
in Rebirth, it's not the Glenn. I mean, Glenn is a character from First Soldier. There's also a Ultimania this thing about him that hints he might be more than just that, but I don't know if it's confirmed. But he's just a distraction. He is one of the hooded people that Sephiroth has sent to appear as Glenn to Rufus Shinra. Go ahead, Max. Go ahead.
But to add to you, yeah, it's intentionally confusing. Like, who is this guy? What is his intention? Why is he so weird and creepy? Why is it the first time we see him, we see the person he's talking to kill him? We literally watch Rufus shoot him in the back of the head.
Yeah.
This guy's dead. How is he talking to him? I don't. It's intentionally very weird and misleading and confusing, like a lot of the game can be. So ultimately, the only way you learn about his backstory, which is like, oh, he's an ex-soldier that defected to Wu-Tai and started a resistance. Like, okay, and Yuffie explains that in a side quest, I believe. There's some things where they get into that backstory a bit. So you're like, oh, okay, he's this dude. But wait a minute, he dies. So why is he still? There's an air of mystery about it. But you understand what he is by the end of the game, right?
I mean, it was like clearly a vision from Sephiroth. Or,
Yes.
like, one of the
You remember like
figures or
Genova will
whatever,
take the appearance or whatever. Like it's deceptive to manipulate him. And Rufus gets it.
manipulation.
Remind me about that. The timing of that scene
Guess
is
what?
very
No
important
one-
in my opinion. Where they
there's
start
no
alluding to
one-
and where that scene pops up.
There's
in relation
nothing
to other
no
characters is also
one
really important.
doesn't
What I'm saying is that
understand
Sephiroth
that you
started a war.
do.
Sephiroth intentionally manipulated Rufus to begin a war with Wu-Tai, whether or not it's to distract them from whatever Sephiroth is doing, or to put our planet, our world, in as much pain and suffering as possible. Because clearly in our world, we're cool, bro. Like, there's no crazy bullshit in the sky. Unlike all the other ones we've seen where everyone is like suffering, like majority of them are going through convergence and bad shit is about to happen. But our world is seemingly fine. So what does Sephiroth need to do in our world? Well, we need to cause as much pain, death, and suffering as possible. I need that. So it's like, oh, so Sephiroth is gathering energy for some wild shit here. He needs to start a war. We need to put this planet in the worst position it could possibly be before really bad shit goes down.
I also, given that Sephiroth probably has the future knowledge, Rufus Shinra is instrumental in assisting Cloud in the OG game and in Advent Children in leading to like the overall defeat of Genova.
Rufus
Sephiroth.
overall is a good guy. Like he's the worst kind of good guy you can have, but really he's a net positive for the party to accomplish objectives. You know. So yes, he's working. He knows this. Sephiroth has watched Advent Children. He went to the theaters a few weeks ago, so he's like, hey, this bitch does not work with me. He's against me, kind of thing, right? He's sucking the energy from the planet, which is good, but at the same point, he's also
Advent
not
Children
helping us out here.
mentioned.
I do
no
want to say though,
comment.
the one wild card here is that there are like some people starting to say, based on like I guess the ultimate description, that there's a possibility, unless it's a mistranslation, something that Glenn might have possibly be Cloud's father or some shit. I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna pull some like Luke, I'm your father shit. I don't think that's right, but I read that. I'm like, I don't know if that's right, but that would be so hilarious. I think I told Simmons I read that and he was like, what the fuck, dude? I will stop playing the game if that's true.
That would be the most out of left field shit I've ever heard. If that's like a major plot point of the next game, that is so out of left field. It would literally make my head spin.
Because the line he says to Rufus, it might not be for Rufus. It says the son completing the work of the father. Is it really being directed at Rufus, or if it was Glenn was Cloud's father?
They're talking about the promised land, bro. What the fuck? No, I'm not with you on that one.
I don't like it, dude. I wanted to bring it up because it's hilarious. I thought it was funny. But Square Enix does like to troll a lot, so I was like, I can see them trolling a little bit, having some fun with this. But
we're going to talk about the we're getting into the what's it called right now, the eventual end. We're going to start getting into ending stuff pretty deep. I'm going to use the restroom. Yeah, give me a second. I just like been chugging down. I'll be right back.
Go ahead.
Same. I've had so much coffee, dude. Feel the dead air.
Good little break. Yeah, I was reading this chat. I was reading this, and I think like Simmons was already asking me about ending stuff, and we were basically talking about the Aerith death scene, how we kind of like didn't feel any emotion towards it because we're still trying to figure out what was going on. And I like literally typed what I was reading from this thing, and he was like, dude, that's fucking just horrible. Like, please don't let that be true. Like he was like he's typing laughing, but I know Simmons. He's probably just, like laughing like his laugh, like that. He was like going nuts about how stupid it was. And I was like, yeah, it is probably not true. He does look like it, but like I don't think that's it. I don't think we'll ever find out who Cloud's father is in this, or it's gonna be a big deal. I really believe it was just like Rufus it was a mind game with Rufus. He thought that Glenn was dead. He knows something's up, so it's like keeping Rufus guessing about what his true motive is, and he discerns it by the end. He's like, you're not really Glenn. I know you're like distracting me. You're like working with Sephiroth, or you are Sephiroth, an extension of Sephiroth. And like the raw emotion Rufus showed though when he kept shooting him, you could tell Rufus was like angry, like really angry that he got manipulated. He was like, oh hell no. Like that was I think that was a really good scene for that to show.
That was
like,
good. Dude, eventually like it also added
God
some really
damn,
cool
we just
agency
can't
to
stop
the
fucking
big reveal
talking,
that's gonna happen in
dude.
part 3. This is a massive spoiler for anybody that is like not kept up with FF7 shit. I'm not the ultimate FF7 lore
Nothing is a
anyway,
massive
but there is a
spoiler.
little thing that popped up in a phone game that, spoiler alert, Rufus Shinra made Avalanche.
Oh,
Rufus
yeah.
Shinra created Avalanche to kill his father, type of stuff, so we can take over the company.
Not
type shit.
massive
So that's
spoiler.
essentially what he's going around.
Everything's
It's the
already
reason why
known.
our
Everyone
party
already
became
knows
so
this.
like secular from the main HQ, where they were always curious, why is HQ acting so weird all of a sudden? We want to bomb reactors. What's up, bro? Why is HQ telling us we shouldn't do this? We're doing this. So they disjoint themselves from them. Well, the reason HQ is like, don't blow up our reactors because those are our reactors.
Yeah.
Like, please stop doing that. So anyway, there's going to be a lot of that crazy stuff that happens in the next game outside of like the Wu Tai War and shit.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Can we briefly talk about Dine?
Oh yeah, go
I
ahead.
love this.
Okay,
I love this arc.
Go
I
ahead,
liked
you
it a
two.
lot.
Go ahead, you two. I know you have different opinions on this.
So I like the Dine scene a lot. I thought it was really good and expanded. Like it presented it in a different way. But I'm gonna be a purist in this.
If we
situation.
talk about
I kinda
Dine,
like the
yes, I
simplicity
will
of
dominate
original.
the entire
In the same way
conversation
that I
on
kind
Dine.
of like the simplicity and the almost like awkward abruptness of Zack's death in the original compared to his big heroic thing, right? That's the big thing. Is that they try to elevate moments. They really try to like bring in elevate moments. I think they did a pretty good job with the Dine one. Much less even the Zack stuff later on in Crisis Core and shit. But at the same point, there's something about it that enjoys like the simplicity. Oh, Zack just got shot in the back. Like he just got killed, and then Cloud just found his body. Like, oh, that's
Gunned
dark.
down.
It's just gunned down, like unceremoniously gunned down. In the same way that like Dine comes to a realization, I killed so many people. How am I supposed to hold my daughter? And like I'm going back. I'm done. And he just kills himself. He just jumps off a cliff. Like I almost kind of like appreciate like the fact that Barrett has
Can
to like
he
hold
just
that, and
stop
doesn't get any closure.
talking?
But they really like hammer home the Barrett part of it now, where it's like, oh no, Barrett, you have to hold this way even more than before now.
Yeah, just really, I enjoyed how like gritty it was. You know, Final Fantasy VII is pretty gritty, pretty dark.
Yeah.
But some of these scenes with Dine just like shooting people up and like how they really did a good job of showing how far he was gone.
Yes.
So
And I liked it. I thought it was really good. It was the again. There's some parts in like OG FF7 that I won't be an ultra remake stan. I do like some parts in the old game, like a little bit more because of the sort of simplified storytelling, the more of a I'd say an impression that you have to come up with this instead of like the game obviously showing you a lot in this one.
Okay.
I also really like Elena.
Oh yeah,
she's great.
Yeah.
She's so snarky, dude. I love her.
Her and
Yeah.
Yuffie need to hang out at some point. Like they need to become friends, man.
Yes, dude.
Another Yuffie thing is we're getting into the ending. Have you noticed that Yuffie has an arc in this game? She's straight. Her whole
She's the heart of
character,
the party, dude. The heart of the party.
her whole character is this snobby teenager that just wants materia and is on for the ride just for her own personal interests. By the end of the game, she's like, she has completely forgotten about the black materia. We have to save Aerith. We need to save Aerith. Like she's down there. Let's go.
Good.
Like she's so good. Like every character gets this wonderful arc in this game. I love
And
it.
she has so because her and Barrett start like at odds or whatever.
Yes.
But
Oh,
there's
don't
so many
worry.
little
She's
scenes
gonna
with
steal
background.
everyone's
Like, they're
materia in
pounding
Wu
around.
Tai.
Oh,
You
so
can
good.
count
There's
on that.
the wonderful stuff they do with like character dynamics in this, where they force because the buddy cops in this game are in remake as well are Red 13 and Barrett. They're the buddy cops. They're like the Murtaugh rigs. So what do? They stick them together to go into Cave of the Key. You don't have an option. So at the end of that, Barrett's the only one that learns about Red 13's like true nature. He never calls him Red 13 anymore. He only calls him Minaki. He never refers to him as Red. He just calls him Minaki. I'm like, that's so cool, dude.
Yeah.
That's so wonderful.
I don't think that's true.
And shout out to the I think
calls
it was
him
side
Red
quest,
all the time.
The bar scene.
Oh, Proto Relic in
Seven.
Cosmo Canyon.
Yep, the
What
seven
happened
heaven
with
callback, that avalanche.
Big
Dude,
Red
the
Daddy.
salts for the martini or whatever.
I
It
loved
was
it.
incredible.
Oh my gosh.
I couldn't-
And then the play payoff.
The quality of like just random things that you can run into that call back and reference and bring all characters together again is insane. Like I could not believe when we're just gushing before we get into the grim reality that is the ending of this game. And I think this is all intentional because shit is about to hit the fan really hard. They did a very good job at creating a world that they want you to love. They want you to love the characters in this world. They want you to love all the places you go to. They really all games want to do this, but this game tries really hard because the world of FF7 means a lot to more people than most games do. So they try their best to put like the bald bar, to put like the squad that you were with, to put the drink guy, to give the guy that does SSL while he does fucking like card game shit. I'm like, dude, there's so much personality in this world. They're trying to create a world that you love, so that eventually when it gets taken away, you want to fight for it.
Yep.
Like, that is the cool part of this game that I fucking love. It's like I love this shit, man. I think they're doing such a good job.
Yeah, the stakes are so high because we care so deeply.
I saw this mentioned in chat. I think we didn't talk about this part real quick. The scene, the fake out with Cloud and Tifa, where Cloud thinks Tifa's not real in the
Yes.
reactor.
There's no thing.
Yeah, and then her in the live stream, like the whole sequence
Yes.
with her in there. Yeah, what do you think about that?
No, let's get into the talk of Cloud as an unreliable narrator because they seemingly stole from us several plot points that lead to Cloud being an unreliable narrator by releasing Crisis Core and Advent Children and being like, hey, go watch this shit. Okay, so we just know stuff now. And then also giving the mind prison scene to Tifa in this game. That also has some big
Stop
Cloud deals.
fucking
Where it's like,
talking
oh,
about
okay,
Advent
so we're
Children.
doing this
Holy
now?
fuck,
Oh,
dude.
that's very different. And I loved it. Number one, I loved it. It also shows like the importance of Tifa in the story in general. That she also has like a connection to like the
No
live stream
one's
byproduct in some way. Now she's like been
assuming
down there and she didn't die.
based
It literally like
off
saved her
this
from dying
game.
type of stuff.
No
So,
one.
I thought it was really cool. And it also insinuates, oh, we're setting up something even bigger in the next game. Okay, so the reveal of like the Zack Cloud story is still kind of there. I love what they did in Nibelheim, by the way, where Zack literally, Cloud literally remembers his friend Zack. How did I forget him? He died out here. How did I forget him? Like that kind of shit. I thought was wonderful. And they also set up the complete loss of Cloud as a character, where he's just questioning every reality. He thinks he's literally like dying from Mako cancer type shit, and then he's also doesn't realize that he's like 3 different people in there type of shit, and is also being manipulated by Sephiroth at every which turn. Cloud is at the brim, and they did a great job where you get moments of this game where you see him shine a little bit, and then you also see how dark it gets, where he's like, "Will you shut up?" Like to Aerith being the sweetest she possibly can. Like, are you done talking?
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, this is
Punished Cloud in this
like
game.
it's brutal. So I think they did an amazing job balancing those elements.
Yeah, really well done. Like, and it's scary, and like we talked about earlier, like you might even go beyond that in part 3. It's like,
Oh,
yes,
called
even
Max,
weird.
dude.
So let's talk about
Beard
why
boy.
is it going to be so long gone in part 3? Let's talk about Aerith's death, quote unquote death, because quote unquote, right? That's the impression. The first impression is that she's alive
Okay, so
somewhere.
you both were like convinced that
We
he's,
already
like, Cloud
talked
is messed
about
up
that
and that she really died in
earlier.
that scene. Is that what you're saying?
I already
I'm
gave
saying
my
the
thoughts
first-
on
I'm saying
it.
the first
Have that read on that
impression-
scene at all.
Okay, I'm saying my initial read on that scene was yes, she's alive, or she's alive somewhere.
Yeah.
She's alive somehow. Like her existence
already
is more than
talked
it was
about this.
before. Because let's be honest, Aerith doesn't really die in FF7. There's an implication that she's like working magic in the background that like Holy could only be cast from inside the live stream, which is why she eventually dies, type of stuff, right? So like her and Zack, their existence sort of like even in Advent Children, they reference this. They sort of are alive, but they're just not there. Aerith literally talks to Cloud in Advent Children and shit. So it's
Yeah.
like, that kind of like there's a spirit reference there that they live in their spirit. But in this one, it's a bit different. She's like walking around and talking to Cloud. Like she's an accompanying party member that, you know, some other characters may or may not be aware of her presence type shit.
Yeah.
So I'm curious because I think me and Huber are on the same boat. Sure. I initially thought, oh, there's a lot of timeline stuff happening. So she's alive somewhere. The party's doing something with her completely alive. We're going to be playing that. That's how they're going to keep her alive. That was my impression for a while. But about hour 1 or 2, I felt that way. Is that the way you still kind of feel about it, Damiani?
I mean, I still think it's like timeline stuff going on, and Cloud. Yes. So I also have a belief. Like honestly, I could see it going either way. Like it could totally be that like she died. Cloud's unreliable. He's like it's the soldier degradation. He's falling apart, and he's just talking to a spirit or something like that, and it could fully be that or something along the lines. Yes. I'm also not fully convinced that all this so-called Genova distortions are happening the same reason they happen in OG. That's just like Cloud's being influenced by Sephiroth. Obviously, there is the puppet stuff that is going on, but you notice other people have the same distortion effect. Tifa has it. Aerith has it. Rufus Shinra has it. I think it's more. I think Square Enix is messing with us. That a lot of it's happening due to the convergence stuff. That people are remembering other realities. So it is still false memories.
Still
But
just Sephiroth. There's nothing to do with
other events that
convergence.
didn't happen, but they did happen somewhere else. I think that's what's going on in that moment. Like now I've seen it multiple times. Cloud
I don't
is
know
just
how
not
you'd
able to
prove
process.
that,
He's having a
though,
hard time
but
telling which reality he's seeing. He's
it's
seeing
just
different
normal
versions
Sephiroth
because of his exposure to
shit.
Sephiroth's reveal about in the singularity area. And you have my blessing. That blessing is you can now perceive multiple realities, just like Aerith, just like I can. You can see more things now, and it's gonna fuck with you because this is my end game. I want you to be like, it's not just like my puppet stuff. You're just gonna go insane, not being able to handle this, and this is how I beat you. This is how
they're setting up Cloud to be the most vulnerable he's ever been. He's gonna be so messed up. But yes, the characters do get weird visions. Like Aerith literally does it to Marlene and Red 13 until the planet takes that shit away. Like, hey, stop that. Cloud literally gets weird visions of other timeline stuff, the past, you know, seemingly another world where Aerith died, and he like feels that for a moment and it's gone. Right? That kind of stuff. Right? Visions in the whispers type stuff. But ultimately, I do agree with the interpretation. What happens in the end because it's intentionally very confusing. Like the little like rainbow effect seems to be a reference of like things are changing. There's a split here. There's an event that happened, an event that's also not happening or is happening. It is changing in several ways, and we also see that from Tifa's perspective, where she
Rainbows are just signs that there's a multiverse event happening. There's not that things are changing.
sees Aerith dying in a variety of ways, where she's like bleeding in some parts and other parts she's not, but she's still seemingly like in the same physical state, like she's dead. So I think there's a lot. It's intentionally confusing. And I think it's almost intentionally confusing at the wrong part. I think it does it almost too hard there because we're almost so confused that we're not really gathering the fact that like, oh, is she dead? We don't really know.
Yeah, I almost wish it would have played out normally. Like we saved her, gone a little bit further.
It's good that he's saying "I think" instead of just stating things as facts.
And like Tifa and the group show up and they start screaming and crying, and you look back like, why are they crying? And she's like, yeah, I just wanted to have that moment breathe a little bit where I could feel that, you know, excitement. I did it. Like, I get to like enjoy this, not so quickly have that whiplash. The whiplash happened too quickly.
This game's ending. I'm gonna say it right now. The ending conclusion of this game, outside of the amazing fights and like Zack stuff and like, wow, this is so cool. Love that. But I'm gonna be real. I wasn't super hot on this game.
He knows that Aerith's dead, but he also knows that she's alive in some way. That's why he's at peace in a way.
Game's ending on first view. I was just like sort of confused.
Now, I can't really explain why is there a tear in the sky that's saying that the world's going to end that no one else sees, though. But maybe he's seeing something on the same level that Aerith is. Because he kind of shared that same line with her. Like, don't worry, it's just artificial.
And upset that they treated it that way. In the exact same way I felt about the ending of Final Fantasy VII Remake. My emotional state was the same. Where I'm like, yeah, I don't know about this and where they're going with it. I really don't know. It wasn't until and the same shit happened when I have my chat and they start showing me shit. They're like, hey, check this out. And look at this. And look at this. And then you start getting to put these pieces together. And then you start watching scenes with new context. You start watching parts from earlier in the game with new context. Things characters say are way more important. The shit Aerith tells you in Temple of the Ancients after she goes through her trial literally directly explains how Sephiroth is gaining power and how I don't want to do that. Like, that's not what we should do. Like, this is the way that I would do it. And Cloud's like, shut up. And then the scene is over. So it's like, oh, okay. They're explaining how Aerith is going to make this work. The game's
What are you talking about? When she's going through her trial, when she's walking around saying, help me?
Completely like, this is the way that I'm trial literally directly explains how Sephiroth is gaining power and how I don't want to do that. Like, that's not what we should do. Like, this is the way that I would do it. And Cloud's like, shut up. And then the scene is over. So it's like, oh, okay. They're explaining how Aerith is going to make this work. The game.
What? What are you talking about? I am the face of Damiani right now when he's making that face.
Game's ending completely changes. It turns into something that you kind of come across as like, oh, this is sort of like a happy-go-lucky like thing. Aerith might be alive and our adventure is going to happen here, but maybe there's multiple other adventures happening. I do not feel that way at all after reviewing it quite a bit.
Yeah, it's very like depressing because the weight of being able to process the emotions of everyone else. Everyone else is just like wrecked. And Cloud, and the reality that like even if Cloud what he's seeing is real, they don't see it. And like to him, he's coming off as like you're a psychopath. Like, are you like a sociopath? Like, how the hell are you acting like this?
Even if Cloud is getting like visions of other timelines or stuff that happens, right? You also have to understand what they were doing storytelling wise. They were promoting the idea that there's other realities. There's other realities where she lives, bro. There is. That's what they're trying to tell you. That's what they're trying to set up for as you're going through this. There's realities where the team is just happy and you're just going and doing stuff. There's also realities where things are going to go fucking south and she's going to be dead. So they also present the idea that there's like infinite of these things. You get to see 7 different dogs. We can keep showing you dogs, man. There's a lot of dogs. Okay, we put dogs here. We put 30 different dogs to keep doing this. But do we need to do that? I think you get the idea that there are so many of these things that it doesn't really matter how many other timelines there are anymore. It doesn't really matter.
I agree.
And Sephiroth says it that like, yeah, these timelines just come and go, bro. You don't need to cry about them. They just go away. They return to the live stream. They converge. They do all this. You don't need to worry about it. What's important is that they're all turning into energy. They're all turning into something that's good for me. Sephiroth says, right? So it's like, okay, so they're proposing the idea that we don't really need to worry about all those other timelines too much. We should be worried about like kind of some key ones. And of course, he does that when he converges them. The reunion happens according to Sephiroth.
When he keeps saying reunion, dude, it's epic.
So the reunion is.
No, it didn't. It didn't happen. What are you talking about? Why is he saying it happened? He ran away. He lost.
different than it is before. It happens. He does it here seemingly. We don't have all the, again, a lot of this is interpretation. We have to see. We don't have the answers for this shit. But it's
Okay, you understand that it's not a fact now. It didn't happen because he ran away like a bitch. He didn't converge them.
certainly is like that's the point of this game.
Yeah.
That's the point. They talk about homecoming.
That's why
Homecoming
it's so
is
brilliant, yeah.
all of these things are going to come together as much as we possibly can. But he also promotes the idea that I can also split them. Like we can also, as much as they come together, they can separate apart, which means that part 3 could get really crazy.
Oh yeah.
But the impression after you review a lot of the stuff the characters say, in my opinion, is that Sephiroth has all the other realities out there, right? He brings them all together, and there's a moment of ultimate sadness, a moment that even in real life we are aware of this ultimate sadness. She dies, and you have to hold that shit. But to the Cloud, that doesn't happen. In Cloud's perspective, we watch it as we watch it through Cloud's eyes. We literally do it for him. We save her, right?
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
You literally deflected. He saved her, bro. So it's like, cool, we fucking did it.
Yeah.
To immediately get a moment after, nope. You thought you did. It's Sephiroth's like, and he has. I brought up the video because he has a line of dialogue right after he kills her. Cloud's on the ground, wondering, wait, what just happened? I saved her, dude, and now she's dead in my arms. What is happening? Sephiroth says, and so it begins a confluence of worlds and emotions. He's gonna take. This is the most bad vibes I can possibly build. Like Cloud bad vibes are my special taste of bad vibes. He loves Cloud bad vibes. He needs all of the clouds. He needs all of the clouds. He says literally a confluence of worlds, which is all of it coming together. He says this line. It's the confluence of all of Cloud's negative emotions across all the timelines coming together at a certain moment where he feels like I saved her, right? Nope, you did not. And then he literally says, loss, chief among them. The best bad vibe, my personal favorite. Mwah. And then after that, it says, it engulfs all of your joy. It takes away your rage. It transforms it all into rage, sadness, hatred, things I personally am a huge fan of. And then right after that, hold on a second, and he says, never have I felt them so keenly in this moment. So Sephiroth is like, he's there. I'm making Cloud feel the worst he possibly could because Cloud is now across all fucking timelines getting this emotion. He's in the worst state he's ever been.
Yeah.
But what happens to Cloud? What happens to Cloud there? What does he see?
You mean he?
What does Cloud see after Sephiroth says all this stuff in the ending? Do you guys remember?
What's like right after? I mean, he sees. I mean, doesn't like Aerith look up at him and
she's alive.
Yeah, says it's okay. I'll like yeah.
She's like, she literally goes, hey dude, it's
That's
cool.
why I'm so confused.
It's like, what the fuck? No, she is alive?
Yeah,
Hey,
that's
she has all this like live stream stuff around her. She goes, hey bro, I'm fine. She doesn't have much dialogue. She just says, I'm okay. And it's like, what the fuck? And then Sephiroth, I have to fast forward to see exactly what he says with reference here. Like he literally lays her down like, I saved her. I did. I saved her. She's fine. And then Sephiroth in this moment looks at Cloud and he says, you dumb bitch, you'll never see the truth with clouded eyes. He doesn't say you dumb bitch. He says, you will never see the truth with clouded eyes. You refuse to accept the truth. And what does he do? This motherfucker literally swings the sword with her like blood on it and types shit at him. So it's like you are refusing to accept the truth. And wow, that sounds like Cloud, right? It kind of sounds a lot like our main character.
He says you'll never accept the truth with clouded eyes because that's what he says in the original. Am I wrong? I could be wrong. It's what he says to Cloud in the original game. You'll never see the truth with such clouded eyes. And then he flies away and then drops Genova Life on his head.
The past had an extremely
Oh, it was Genova. I just remember what the first Genova was. It was Genova Birth. That was the first one.
Where his best friend died in his arms, and he refused to accept the truth. Absolutely refused it. He created a reality where he's a fucking superhero, and he can do anything, and he's actually him. He created a complete alternate reality around this shit.
Oh, and by the way, just to explain, so with Clouded Eyes is talking about how he can't see the truth about himself and who he is.
But I was gonna say, you can finish because I was gonna ask you a question. But
I'll just put this together. This is the exact situation again. This is Cloud just being Cloud, and he saw himself save her, dude. I did it. I fucking literally did it. And then you're telling me that didn't happen, and he refuses to accept it. He's like, no, I watched it happen. It's cool. So what happens to Aerith after that? Well, she's not really like she's Aerith. She definitely is, but this is, in my opinion, this is where like my hot topic level 4 thought of this is that version of Aerith that is in his arms at that moment is literally the same thing that he did with Zack back in the past. He refuses to accept the reality that she's dead. I literally watched myself save her, dude. No, I'm not. I don't believe you. You're lying to me. She's alive, and she smiled at me. It's cool, even though all the other characters, even though everybody else that is there at the time sees otherwise.
And is this what he's gonna have to deconstruct with Tifa now instead of the Zack stuff? It's actually this is what
this is
where
where
force in the face of the truth that she's dead and he doesn't believe it. And this is how they peel back the layers.
And this is where our ending gets dark because clearly,
why are we just asking Max what he thinks instead of you saying what you think?
Aerith shows up later, dude. And yeah, that's Aerith. Aerith shows up to help Cloud fight Sephiroth. But it's not as much Cloud versus Sephiroth in that fight. That fight is Aerith versus Sephiroth, bro. You go back and you look at it, that fight opens up. Sephiroth barely even looks at Cloud when Aerith shows up. And when Aerith shows up, after all the crazy bullshit she's been doing because she's mad too powerful, and Sephiroth like knows it, he's like, oh, I underestimated this chick. And then you have to fight. Another great note in that fight is, and there's a couple of gameplay things that accompany storytelling here. Aerith is busted in that fight. She is way more powerful than she normally is. All of her magic do more damage. Sorceress Storm, from what I recall, immediately breaks the Masamune. And it takes like all this extra shit to do it. It's like, whoa, how do I break this sword? It's like the only way to pressure him. Aerith can just do it. She's like, nah, screw that shit. I got this. Also,
what are you talking about? This is just made up bullshit he's saying. Aerith is not stronger in that fight. What are you talking about? She's got the same materia that you had when you equipped her. What the fuck is this dumbass talking about, dude? He's dumb as fuck. Aerith died in mine. She dies like a bitch in every version of the game. Gets hit with anything, she fucking dies. So I had to kill him with Cloud.
another cool storytelling beat. Right after Aerith seemingly doesn't die to Cloud. The entire party is experiencing what Sephiroth wants. I want you to experience loss, turn it into anger, rage, hate, and sadness. This is what I need. Every character in the party has a full limit break at that point.
Oh yeah.
They are maxed out. Everyone has a max limit break because they're ready to whoop this guy's ass. There's only one character that does not have a limit break. It's Cloud. Because I saved it, bro. He's cool with it.
He doesn't feel
I'm
like
still fight you.
he's
I'm still gonna fight you because we have to stop you. But I don't need to be as mad as everybody else because I saved her. Okay, Cloud. All right, man. So I'm like, all right, this shit is.
And he did.
Right at the end though, like being like aware of.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
So he's like more tapped into the live stream, or.
So yes, so there's clearly like obviously multiple versions of Aerith and multiple versions of Sephiroth. We sort of acknowledge that, right?
Yeah.
These characters show up in a variety of ways in like memories through like the live stream talking. Omni Aerith shows up a couple of
It's
times.
funny that I didn't know that Cloud was the only one that didn't get a limit break until, well, I guess I didn't really think about it until in my first playthrough, but in the second playthrough, he had the Goddardam rung, so I didn't realize that he wouldn't have had a normal limit break until I switched it to, whoever I switched it to, Yuffie, I think. And it's just so funny because it's like, if I didn't switch, I wouldn't have known that, but yeah, he doesn't have a limit break. And I think it's because I think it's exactly what Max is saying, is that, she was actually saved
in this story, specifically in the date scene, because Omni Aerith, like, so do you remember that song, like there's no promises to keep? It's like a song that Aerith never got the chance to like be with Cloud, really, because she died in the OG game. She never had a moment to like go out.
No, it's saying that they'll always be together. No promises to keep, meaning that they don't need to promise each other because yeah, want to be together and stuff. But at least Aerith wants it. But I watched an interview with was it Katase, and it's like, well, I want what Cloud wants, and it's like, well, we don't know what Cloud wants, obviously, but obviously it could be Aerith, it could be Tifa, based on how they play the story when they're holding hands and stuff.
With them to like be something outside of like some stuff that happened at the Golden Saucer, but that song is very much like referencing the fact that Aerith, like, till the day we can be together again, I can just wherever win. It's, to me, that song is talking about the day that Aerith finally gets with Cloud to know where they stand. And she says it, dude. She like literally says that moment when they are in that Sector 5 thing, where they're eating the candy and shit. They're doing the Zack date, the alternate, the other world date that they have. That is Omni Aerith. That's Aerith that's aware that, oh yeah, next time, right? Yeah, Cloud's like, yeah, next time. She's like, Cloud, listen, let me start telling you some shit. I need you to go take this thing to go save the world. And they start breaking down, and she hugs him, and it's like, oh, okay, so this is our Omni Aerith. This is that one. That's the same Aerith, in my opinion, that shows up later to help Cloud in fighting Sephiroth. But there is another Aerith that shows up at the end of the game, in my personal opinion. There's the one that's in his arms, right? Cloud just made up this Aerith that's alive, right? I think I'm pretty sound on that one. My next one gets a bit controversial, and people don't like this.
It's not made up.
The ending of this game is extremely dark. Cloud's in Aerith's arms just died. I deflected the sword. She's alive to me, right? Everybody else has a limit break. There's some evidence to back that up. After all that's done, you fight a huge amount of fights, a goddamn gauntlet, a brutal gauntlet of bullshit, and then Cloud walks over to Aerith's body, and then around Aerith's body is everybody weeping. She's dead. Cloud doesn't see that. Cloud walks to her body, everybody's gone. It's just him and her. And he literally tells her, hey, baby, wake up. She wakes up.
Hey, baby, wake up.
I'm being like,
Yep,
a little
he does.
hand with this, but yeah, he literally says it. Hey, Aerith, wake up. So she does it. I'll just do it. Cool. What do we see after that? There's a passage of time that is very awkward, where it's like, oh, so she's alive. Wow, she is alive. That's crazy. We're keeping her alive.
She's dead. She's alive. She's dead.
But we flash to all of our characters outside of the pool, outside of the body of water.
Without
For
Aerith
anybody
there.
that knows FF7 is like, oh, this is where Cloud lays her to rest. This is where our party says goodbye to Aerith. This is the goodbye. But we don't see it. We are robbed of that shit. Where it's like, damn, they ruined our scene, motherfifers. How could you do that? We have been robbed of Aerith's death and the finality. We don't even know she's dead. What? We've been waiting forever, and now we don't get that? And are you kidding me? So it's like, oh, okay. So we're just sitting here. Cloud's sitting there. Everybody else is big sad. everybody around that pool is big sad. Nobody's saying a word. Because what did they just see?
Big sad.
They just watch Cloud walk Aerith's body out, not say anything, and sit down. Okay? And then
No, that's dumb.
Everyone's gonna be so wary of Cloud.
Yep, they're kind of like, wow, that was extremely sad. And Cloud's just sitting here big chilling. Okay, so what does Barrett say?
You
We've been
think
here for a
the
long time.
body's just
We gotta
sitting
be
there?
going. I'm just paraphrasing. And then what is Cloud's response after the most dramatic thing that's happened at the party? Is he says like, okay, yeah, sure. He says like, yeah, let's go. And Tifa goes like, the fuck, dude? What the hell's wrong with you? And then Cloud immediately goes, and starts freaking out, and he goes through like immense pain, and he gets visions of what actually happened. She died. There's visions of the materia falling. She died. He's like, God damn, no, she didn't die. She didn't die. So what does he see after that? His brain can't handle this shit. I need comfort. What does he see? He looks over and she's right there. She's right next to him, covered in shadow. The music is scary as shit. It's so haunting. He looks over. He's like, oh baby, it's you. I have 2 girlfriends now. This is great. I'm so happy. Everyone else is sad. I'm so happy. Aerith literally says lines from the most of her dialogue from this point forward comes from previous versions of Aerith. Comes from lines from Remake and lines from earlier in Rebirth. Her dialogue is just the same shit. So what I'm trying to propose here. Here's my. This is. I guess this
What are you
is gonna
talking
be
about?
because
Lines
at
of
the
the
end
same
next game, we're just
shit.
gonna know everything. I think this is a different Aerith at the end of the game. The one that was in Cloud's arms, I think Cloud created a reality where this chick lived. I saved her, man. I watched it happen. I literally watched it happen. And everybody else didn't see it happen. I saw this shit. She's fine. Look, she woke up. We're good, right? And to the point where he has erased. We are now in the unreliable.
He didn't
narrative
create
territory,
the
in my opinion.
reality,
So, okay,
but I mean,
we are. We can't reliably as developers.
she is saved in some sort of version.
We can do something. Cloud refuses to accept Aerith's death. Refuses, and he also.
She even said, I saw what you did for me back there. It's not him refusing. It's nothing. It's not his mind that's keeping her unnaturally alive. She was saved and she is alive, but not in this universe. That's what I think.
This falls in line with Cloud a lot for Advent Children, because in Advent Children, he cannot let himself, let himself go. He can't forgive himself at all.
I'm just hearing white noise when after I hear the word Advent Children, dude.
He is suppressing this stuff so much, he doesn't even remember putting her body into the water. He doesn't even remember her dying. He's getting visions of it. His brain is trying to, like, a real Cloud in there is like, you stupid mother! She's like, come on, wake up! But that real Cloud is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. The further away all this stuff starts getting crammed into his head. So that's my impression of where Cloud is at in that mental state, and why everyone is so sad.
All right, Huber, what do you think?
In that moment, Aerith shows up, a different version of Aerith that, like, is talking to Cloud and stuff, and is super cool with him. But also, in my opinion, looks hella weird. Like, the Aerith at the end of the game, in my personal take, is that she looks weird, dude. I feel uncomfortable looking at her. And somebody shot for me, and it's like, yes, character expressions can only do so much in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, right? I get it. Like, the way character's faces move and animate. Somebody shot me a video of Sephiroth
he doesn't
in the
stop
beginning of the game
talking.
with fire behind him. And he does this thing where he smiles at Cloud with his eyes. He does this, like, I'm doing my best to emulate it. He does this really weird fucking face to Cloud, and it does look weird. When you go back and you watch the opening, when he's like torch the town, it's like,
They make a lot of weird faces in those CG
cutscenes. It
cutscenes.
hella looks similar to the way Aerith smiles at Cloud.
So,
and I'm like, what the fuck? Why does she look like that? And again, she looks weird in the CG scene just in general because the character's just a little off from the CG models and stuff. So here's my
Exactly.
I got a little bit of evidence to back this up, and a little bit of counter evidence too. My level 7 brain theory is that at that moment, Sephiroth realizes that Cloud is so fucked up. I tried my best, dude. I shoved the blood of her in his face. I literally, everyone else, I murdered her in every fucking, I'm murdering her every time. I'm making every version of you experience the most pain you possibly can. And you, stupid bitch, have eyes clouded. You refuse to see the truth. So, I'm just gonna show you your truth. And at that point,
Nope, the eyes clouded is because it doesn't know who he is. Dumb fuck. You dumb fuck.
personally feel that Sephiroth or Genova, that this is a version of Aerith in Cloud's head now, that we already can confirm. Cloud has already done this before. He's just visioning this. I think now this is a manipulation of Sephiroth. I think now
yeah,
this is getting...
if it was like the whispers or if it was like...
I think this is getting really dark, even darker than before. They're going into unreliable narrator territory now where Cloud now has his girlfriend number 2 is fine. She's alive and she's cool with me. I refuse to accept her death, and like Sephiroth is using her imagery Genova-like, like a puppet, like mimicry. Oh. And a lot of the way she's acting at the end of the game is mimicry. It's like in the perspective of Cloud, doing her best to be Aerith-like.
If that was what he was doing, then Red wouldn't say Aerith? And also, everyone else would see her.
So it's Genova then?
I don't have an answer if it's Genova or Sephiroth or something, but some accompanying evidence.
If it was Genova or Sephiroth, you would see her. Everyone would see her, just like everyone saw fucking, I want to say Glenn. Like, it's not, this is all stuff we know.
A lot of this game tries to tell us over and over again. It can take the form of those you love, right? They can take your friends of friends and family. That's how it got to the Cetra. It took the form of dead people. The Cetra literally said that it took the form of our fallen brothers and sisters to manipulate us.
Exactly.
And that doesn't fully come around. That story beat does not. They tell us it several times. They impose it at the beginning.
What do you mean it doesn't fully come around? You see it tons of times. Tons of times.
That Sephiroth starts saying, like, no, Tifa's Genova, bro. I killed her. That's Genova. You shouldn't trust her. But eventually Cloud comes around because he shines. He's like, Jesus Christ, what have I done? I'm so sorry. I'll tell you when I'm feeling like a weird shithead again. So that story point does not intentionally come through.
That's what we were talking about Glenn earlier, too? Doesn't that
Dude, so in that scene...
Exactly, dumbass. We're talking about Glenn.
That scene with Cloud and the party getting up and leaving. And Cloud has a fucking smile on his face. He's like, I have 2 girlfriends now. This is sick. Let's go on an adventure and kick Sephiroth's ass. And all the party is big sad and they leave. I absolutely love what they do with Tifa here. Tifa is... I feel so bad for her.
Max is big dumb.
And then Cloud is like, Tifa, let's go. And like him and Aerith are just sitting there. Tifa gets up and looks at Cloud, and all Cloud is doing is staring at nothing, but he's just smiling at his girlfriend Aerith, right there. Let's go. You cool? Tifa is just like, holy fuck, dude, what is happening here? So go ahead. What do you want to say?
So this would be girlfriend 3 for Cloud then.
Wait, so Tifa, Aerith, what's his girlfriend?
And imaginary Aerith.
Oh, well, no, imaginary Aerith.
Why are we
just
saying anything he says and responding to it?
This is Aerith alive.
I don't even know why I'm making this video.
So what happens right after this scene? And I'll tell it to you because there's a lot of fucking information that happens after this. The scene, the way they're presenting information to the player, I think is really important. The scene that happens right after this, the party leaves, and we cut to Rufus Shinra. Rufus Shinra learns that Sephiroth has taken the fucking form of a guy that I killed and has been manipulating me to do some wild shit. And I started a war that I probably shouldn't have started. Oh crap! And then what happens right after that? Let's cut to our party on the way to their adventure. And then we get. I'm gonna skip ahead and so I can actually come up with some literal character dialogue examples. Oh, by the way, I'd like to highlight. We also get the Zack scene here. And genuinely, I don't know. Like, I feel like there's a lot of accompanying elements in this game where we can come up with conclusions and like be like, oh yeah, there's a lot of evidence for this shit, and maybe some counter evidence in some spots. But the Zack stuff, it seems like Sephiroth converged a lot of these timelines and shit, but also proposed that they can be split. Zack realizes that and is like, so maybe they can come back together again, because he seemingly is in some weird place now. We don't know what timeline he's in. There's no dog.
He didn't converge them yet. Exactly, dumbass. What are you talking about? He never said that he completed the convergence.
So us as players have no fucking clue. Oh, we know Zack lives. He's alive somewhere.
It was cool when he banished him, and Zack's like, ah.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, well, that's interesting. So they promote this idea of like follow the yellow flowers, and I think yellow flowers is going to be like portals between timelines or some shit like that, where it's like, oh, that's where a character's going to find it.
Dude,
exactly.
All the flowers.
Again, I'd like to also promote a pretty cool thing before we get to what happens in the final CG. I think most of the time Aerith is communicating to the planet.
Yep, that was said in Remake, follow the yellow flowers.
Trying to give herself information about like what to do and where to go, because she has this like mystery thing she says at the end of Remake, follow the yellow flowers. Like, I don't know what it means.
Yeah,
it's herself from like the future on the Aerith across all timelines, giving herself information to hopefully help her out in the future.
It's not from the future. It's her remembering
communicate with
stuff
She's
from
part
the
of Zephyr,
future,
obviously,
but
But
yes.
you know, it's already been promoted that our Aerith can just teleport to any other timeline Aerith's body. She can just go anywhere at like any point. She's too OP. Character is fucking busted. Like Aerith is so OP that again, Sephiroth calls her out on her bullshit. And he's like, that ain't fair. So I think it's really
He
cool
never
what they're
said
doing here.
that
Aerith is so
that
powerful,
ain't
it's insane.
fair. He
In
never
terms of
says
overall
that.
character power level. That Sephiroth is,
Lightning.
yeah, Sephiroth is trying to overdo this shit by becoming as like Infinity Sephiroth and shit. So, what did you guys? I don't want to talk forever here. What did you guys feel about the ending?
Oh
I want to know some other opinions because just in general, I've sat on this for a while and I was only given this information from my chat. Right? This is just me siphoning info as it hits my head, and a lot of it changed my mind. Again, I changed my mind 4 times on what happens in the ending to eventually land on something that I think feels right, and then also feels really creepy, just based on the way the developers are cooking this stuff. So, I'm curious what you guys feel about like the ending CG sequences and stuff with like spirit/non-spirit Aerith and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I like it's hard to like say whether or not like it's really happening. It's in Cloud's head or it's a byproduct of something else.
Yeah.
The thing I want, like the thing I would like to believe, and I would like to hope to see come to pass. Not quite. I mean, your theory is really good too. It'd be really awesome. And I saw some people chatting like Square Enix might not be like able to go that dark and do that stuff, but who knows? I mean, they've done some pretty dark stuff in some other games. We'll have to see. Part of me thinks that I still believe that all of this is because Jenova wants to win. It knows it loses. It keeps losing in all these outcomes. And I hate to keep
something drastic.
I hate to keep going back to this because I mean it's multiverse. I think they are just big fans of Marvel. I think it's literally Jenova pulled the Doctor Strange. What is the one way I win? What is the one way out of all these timelines I can freaking win? And I don't get thwarted by all this shit. And how do I do it? And I think Jenova is straight up. Everyone is being played by Jenova. Even Sephiroth. He thinks I think Sephiroth is thinking like he's like Black Materia. I'm going to do convergence. I think he's just like he's not like he's born of Jenova cells, but like he's not one of them. Like they have all these people have parts, but they're from this planet. They are not
Jenova. Saying
Jenova.
about like making it as close as possible to save Aerith, which is like the one timeline where it's like Cloud thinks he actually saved her and has that false hope, so he like rips away from him.
And on the Aerith, whatever to call her, she seems to be the highest level of concern for her is that Cloud wins, succeeds, lives, whatever. It's Cloud is instrumental, and so I think Jenova wants things like Jenova using Sephiroth and other means wants to change things. I think. If Jenova really wanted to win, I think she wanted Aerith to survive because it doesn't like that her death triggers things that ultimately lead to they always win. It always motivates them to win, which is why I do think part of your thing about the fuckery with his head. This is how like Joe's like I can like it was like there was something there with his false memories, but we gotta push harder. Like lean into the despair, lean into like confusing him with multiple timeline perceptions, and like he really won't be able to tell what's going on, and like he's gonna break up the group. I think you're right with that. Like Barrett's line about are you sure about this? Everything rides on this. I think they're setting up for a big failure where it's like we fucked up. It's over, and like there's gonna be some Deus Machina shit that's like oh wait on the Aerith there's some other person has a way. There's a way to do it. There's a way to do it. Like we're gonna get that moment in there. But I think it's like it's just Jenova manipulating everybody to achieve its ultimate victory, and everyone who thinks that they're like I'm gonna win Hojo, Sephiroth, even like everyone, it's all pawn pieces she's moving around to achieve this. And
I think it's going to give Jenova a bit more agency in general, right? I think and there's some weird callbacks throughout the story of this that like just make me think that this final version of Aerith and the manipulation of like Cloud's memory and hope that he saved her is messing with him so much. There's again we talked about this in remake. Music is a huge spoiler in a lot of like what is happening with the story. And if you number one. This is kind of big, and it's right in front of our face. The name of Jenova in the end is not Jenova Life anymore. It's called Jenova Life Clinger. Yep. And the Jenova theme that plays during that, it starts off not as the Jenova theme, like the OG. There's also a reference. It references the OG, which plays Aerith theme during the boss fight. It's very dramatic, right? It starts off as the Aerith theme, and then it's like the goddamn Jenova theme eats it. It consumes it, and it like becomes the Aerith theme, but all the notes are fucked up and weird and bizarre, and it's like, ooh, weird. That's very unsettling. Another thing I looked at, there's a very specific shot that Cloud holds dear, where it's like, oh, I'm holding like Aerith's hand to my face type stuff. And I'm like, I've seen this before, dude. I've literally seen this imagery somewhere in this game. Where the fuck is it? And I went back. And it's the first Jenova fight. First Jenova fight, Sephiroth is doing this very weird gesture that I always thought was odd. Like he's gonna kiss this shit or something. He's holding up some weird appendage of Jenova to his face. The very similar way that Cloud does. And he's like,
he does
those
that.
you love, like all that shit. He has that line. And I always thought that looked weird. I'm like, that's a weird. Why is he like caressing this bit? Like, oh yeah, you like it. Like, he never does that with any of the other like weird Jenova forms. I'm like, and it kind of very much looks like when Cloud and Aerith, he's like holding Aerith's hand towards his face. I'm like, huh. That always felt off to me. I'm like, I feel like I've seen this before. I went back and it's kind of similar. And it's funny, in that moment, Sephiroth is literally explaining that, yeah, Jenova can like impersonate those you love and shit. Okay, that doesn't have to mean anything. That doesn't have to mean anything. However, I think what I'm about to reveal to people, based on what characters are clearly putting on the screen and has subtitles, dude, is a much bigger reveal of what happens in this finality. Because to me, my impression of the ending of this game is that Aerith's like a Force Ghost now. Different from the OG. She's a Force Ghost. Oh,
100%.
shit.
I got Force Ghost vibes so quick. I was
absolutely.
Like, okay,
she's gonna be like there as like an accompanying, like guiding party member. She even says it, buddy, you go take care of shit. I'm gonna cast the thing. I'm gonna get it all done. I'm like, okay, yeah. She's like a Force Ghost that's gonna be sort of like showing up every once in a while and like helping us out.
Father Son Kamehameha, giving the party power.
And the live stream,
yeah.
that makes sense to me. That completely makes sense to me. I don't think that's the case anymore. I think it's much darker than that. And so there's a very cute thing to do with scene direction at the end of this game. And a lot of people, this is immediately dismissed by one thing that I think is clearly intentional, which is Red 13. Red 13 senses Aerith. Straight is like, oh, she's here. Like, look at, he was like Aerith? Like, he like references her.
Exactly.
Because,
that was my biggest question.
It was like, oh yeah, that
now why are you mentioning that now?
I don't think that's the case anymore. I think it's much darker than that. And so there's a very cute thing to do with scene direction at the end of this game. And a lot of people, this is immediately dismissed by one thing that I think is clearly intentional, which is Red 13. Red 13 senses Aerith. Straight is like, oh, she's here. Like, look at, he was like Aerith? Like, he like references her. So we'll talk about that in a bit. Because,
that was my biggest question.
It was like, oh yeah, that pretty much brings me back to a reality where like, oh yeah, that she's here. She's gonna say goodbye to the party. I'm gonna take care of stuff. You go do things. Bye bye everybody. Big happy ending, right? There's a really cool thing to do in scene direction in this entire scene. There's obvious stuff too. When Sid is working on the plane, you know, they clearly give us the hints that none of our party see her, and I think we can all acknowledge that. Even if you think she's a Force Ghost, everybody is like, oh yeah, she her dress, and she doesn't know that the plane is about to like blow up and cause everyone to go. Huh. So her dress doesn't react, her body doesn't react, and she doesn't react. She reacts almost late, and she goes like, oh yeah, oops, that's crazy. Even when Sid is sitting here and he's like cooking on stuff, and he's like, all right, we're ready to go. What does Aerith do? A spirit Aerith goes, woo, yeah, we're going on an adventure, which is very weird. Just in general, everybody else is like, woo, we're on an adventure. She does the same thing, but you obviously can't hear her. At this point in the scene, Cloud is paying attention to Aerith. He's like looking down there. He looks left and sees Aerith. There's a wonderful thing to do with scene direction here, and I think I got you, devs. I'm gonna call it right now. I think I've achieved level 7. I think I got you. The only time
Giving
Aerith
cheap
does
shit.
things and emotes and acts is when Cloud is paying attention to her. The only time she exists in any of these scenes is when Cloud is paying attention to her. And when Cloud is paying attention, she acts like Aerith. She definitely is acting like Aerith. So there's a moment where you don't see Aerith at all at the beginning, and Cloud is sitting here just like gazing at this empty materia, not knowing what the hell this shit is. The background shows all of our characters, except Aerith. And then there's a moment where Sid is working on the plane, and it comes back, and Cloud looks over, Aerith is there. She's with the party, acting like Aerith. Hey, guys.
Because he's the only one that can see her, you dumbass. What do you mean? What do you mean? They're trying to illustrate that she's not really there. That's why, you stupid fuck. What?
Let's go on an adventure. That's where that happens. And then as Cloud moves away, and like everyone starts talking about, like she's just literally acting like she's in the party, doing cool shit. So it's like, okay, yeah, Cloud's built this Aerith up in his head. She's alive, bro. She's a Force Ghost. We're cool, right? There's a really specific shot after I have to fast forward a bit, and I wish I could like show you guys this so you can like one by one. I'll make a video on it later. She walks by Yuffie, but Cloud is still like paying attention to her throughout the scene, and she literally pays attention to Kate Sith. I'm sorry, to Red 13. Anytime Cloud is not paying attention to Aerith, it cuts back to a moment of Cloud sitting there, and she's gone. She's literally gone. So anytime this Aerith that is here is for some reason acting like Aerith would always act. Kind of weird. Okay, so let's go forward a bit. Our characters are talking about stuff, right? Red 13 feels her presence. I wish I can share with you the moment in the video, but it's right as Cloud is like investigating this thing, looking at Aerith, and it cuts back and she's gone when Cloud is not paying attention. All of our characters are talking about leaving. Cloud gets the black materia somehow. We don't know what the fuck is going on. Okay, Cloud gets the black materia. Cool. We don't know how he got it. He's on his Dark Knight route, but he's clearly going to be manipulated by this shit. Mega punished Cloud. This is the most punished Cloud is ever going to be. Aerith is not present in like any of these scenes at all, really. And then Barrett gives him the very heavy-handed like speech, and Cloud is a complete effing weirdo. Don't look at the sky. Don't look at it. It's crazy. And people are like, okay, it's an illusion. Okay, so Cloud clearly has like either visions of something or what's going on. We don't know. We don't know.
Correct. We don't know.
I'd like to remind you of something that Aerith constantly talks to Cloud about throughout this entire game. Omni Aerith, even regular Aerith. The entire game, Aerith is like, Cloud, you need to take care of yourself, dude. And even at the finale of the game, the last time Cloud kind of talks to Omni Aerith in like the Sleeping Forest, she says, let me take this, dude. I got it. I will handle Sephiroth. Cloud, I need you to take care of yourself. Please take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Constantly. As Aerith shows up, she regurgitates lines that come from Remake, Part 1, when they separated Sector 7. It's the same dialogue, to a degree. And then she tells Cloud, hey, buddy, I'm gonna... By the way she's acting here is mad weird. She says, I'm going to go cast Holy and stop the meteor type of shit. So Aerith is doing everything Cloud kind of wants her to do at this point. The line that gets me...
Is he ever going to stop talking?
For it. I'm going to fast forward a little bit.
Damian just walked away because he's done.
Mike has seen this. The part where they exchange all this dialogue and she says, you gonna get back? You gonna have fun? You gonna have a good time? And he's like, yeah, baby, don't worry about it. I'm gonna go kick his ass. And they have like, by the way, they don't talk to each other like this throughout the game at all. They never communicate to each other in this way because Cloud's relationship is with like a ghost now, like potentially something that's in his head. So it's really weird. Aerith has a line of dialogue here.
Yeah, they do talk that way.
I'm personally convinced. Cloud's like, yes, I'll keep an eye out. It's okay. And Aerith says, I'm gonna put everything in my prayers. We're gonna stop the meteor. And she says, oh, super weird. And you know what? I'm gonna leave the rest of you. Good luck, everybody. And then Cloud goes, Aerith, I'm gonna stop Sephiroth. Trust me. That's his line verbatim. He says, don't worry, I will fight him. We will fight Sephiroth. That's what you want me to do, right? When Aerith has explained several times that might not be the best option. That might not be good. Like sometimes fighting and stuff like that, what she says at Temple of the Ancients is very like representative of like her impressions of like
what?
Where this goes.
What are you talking about?
She's gonna take care of yourself. She specifically says, leave Sephiroth to me. I will handle this. Please stop fighting Cloud. Cloud says, I'm gonna fight Sephiroth.
Yeah, that was earlier. That was then. That doesn't mean forever. I feel like he needs stuff like really explained to him like a child. Because you said something one time, it means it's true forever? No. She meant in the instant, let me take care of it. Not forever and ever. And now Sephiroth doesn't have to be worried about, okay, go home now. No.
Brother, trust me, baby. I got it. What is Aerith's response? There's a weird shot of her feet, a weird lonely shot. She turns around and goes, you promise? You promise you're going to fight him? You promise? She literally says, you promise. And it's like, oh, that's weird. Why does she want Cloud to go fight Sephiroth? Why does she say, Cloud's like, we're going to go fight Sephiroth. Don't worry about it. And she turns around and goes, you promise? Yeah? You going to do that? And Cloud goes, I promise. When she turns around and says, I promise, in 4K you can see it, she has this weird-ass red glint in her eyes. And the color red throughout the most of this game is fucking Sephiroth, dude.
Oh my god, shut up, dude.
I'm telling you, dude, I looked.
I really hope that this is all proven that I'm wrong, but he looks like a fucking idiot here.
In Age of Her Eyes, this weird pixel. I would like to echo to you, how Aerith is it to hear from Cloud, we're gonna go fight Sephiroth. That's what you want, right? And he's like, you promise to fight him? She's encouraging it. She wants him. She wants him to go fucking do it. At this point, I watch this scene over and over again. I'm like, who is this? Who is this person? This isn't acting like Aerith at all anymore. Number one, saying that she's going to go cast Holy. Right? She literally says, I'm going to go pray to stop the meteor. Like the meteor is the big threat. Like that's already happened, but we don't even know if that's happened yet. She seemingly is like talking about something that's going to happen in the future that we think is going to happen. But still, us as players know that, sure. But like the party is aware that it's going to happen. That hasn't happened yet, dude. Like the black materia has not been given to Sephiroth yet. So even Aerith is like, I'll put everything I got into my prayers. I'll stop the meteor. Like, wait a minute, aren't we supposed to stop that? Like, I'm a little confused by the way she's... Again, I would also like to say this 100% could be bad translation or poor storytelling. And this could just be Aerith, not acting like Aerith at all. Looking nothing like the character does throughout the entire game. It could be.
Yeah. Because
she's like transcended too, so that could change her personality at that point.
100%. It could be a bad translation. But to me, the scene leads with all of our characters like putting everything on Cloud. Tifa doesn't say a thing to Cloud for the entirety of this ending. She says no words to him. And when there's a really good moment that makes this like way darker than it kind of is. Barrett has the line to Cloud where he's like, hey dude, like a lot's riding on this. Are you gonna be okay? And based on everything that's happened, what's Cloud's line of dialogue? He turns around like completely confident and says, and it disturbs Barrett. He says, "Don't worry about me. I can handle it." Like, dude, we just watched her die,
Yeah.
and you're like, you're not even what? And Barrett turns around and goes like almost disgusted, like, "What the hell?" And Tifa looks mortified. What are you? Who are you? They're setting up Cloud to be this absolute wild, unreliable narrator.
The
'cause
guy
person
never
they feel
stops
the- he
talking
set up a
though,
reality in
dude.
his
He
head where
just
they
goes
were,
on and on and
what actually
on.
happened was she died. He refuses to accept it. We don't see the burial, and suddenly we get this weird version of Aerith that doesn't seem to be talking normally like Aerith does. It could be in Cloud's head, it could be Jenova, it could be Sephiroth, it could be a Force Ghost, it could be any of these things. But to me, it feels
Gandalf's
like
white situation.
this is a massive manipulation. This feels like there's a lot of stuff that's building up earlier that didn't pay off either, of like the Jenova shit kicking in. And there's some notes and hints throughout here. Dude, in what situation Aerith, normal Aerith in Final Fantasy is like, go fight him. You promise you're gonna go fight him?
Maybe do we know this already? Like, why? How come in the Nibelheim section when Cloud and Sephiroth are there that it's like in the place of Zack? It's like Crisis Core, but
Yeah.
not like. Does that relate to what's going on at the end at
So
all?
you're saying that the second visit to Nibelheim, right?
Yeah.
So recount for me the event. I'm trying to remember which one you're talking about.
Well, just because there's like a scene in Crisis Core when you're going to Nibelheim and you're with Sephiroth, you're going to see the reactor and Tifa is your guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
How come that's like of the similar scene but with Cloud
Because that's
instead of?
Cloud's misremembering it. It's,
Cloud-
it's OG.
It's just him
It's the
misremembering
OG.
it. It's not
So
any
far.
kind of like
Yeah,
illusion
it's-
or
it's Cloud's
going
own
mind
fuckery.
tricking him.
Exactly.
That's all so again, Cloud's at the brim of mind fuckery.
He got experimented
And-
on by Hojo when he was
Yeah,
captivated
yeah.
with Zack, and so his mind is just like was fragmented, and he's
It's
just trying
super.
to, yeah.
And even he starts remembering some weird shit. He starts remembering some like funky shit later on of like, oh, my best friend Zach was
Middle
here.
Ages, it's fun one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like in the new game. He's like, my best friend Zach was here. He went down the river. He died. Oh my god! Like he gets freaked out by it. So he's remembering the wrong way. He's remembering it in the way that he still thinks he's Zach. He still doesn't actually have the actual memory.
I guess my question is that could this be a similar situation at all with Aerith?
Oh, where this is in like, well, this is clearly in Cloud's head, right? Obviously, the rest of our party, she's dead. Everybody is mortified by this. Anytime, the weirdest thing in my opinion about this ending scene is that why is Cloud's head Aerith, right? Which does happen. Aerith shows up in Cloud's mind and shit, and she's like kind of omni-Aerith, omnipotent. People think this is omni-Aerith. I don't think this character at the end is omni-Aerith. Every time Cloud pays attention to her, she's essentially acting like Aerith. And even Red 13 senses it. My only point of argument against that, where it's like, Red 13 senses it, so it's Aerith, right? But Red 13 in the OG game is manipulated by Jenova and Sephiroth to give the black materia. They trust Barrett or Red 13, I think, in the OG with the black materia. So
What
we
are you
think Red 13 is a
talking
wizard
about? They
creature,
can
right? He was
manipulate
actually young. He's
anyone.
like a kid. He's very Cloud-like, really. He's putting on a persona to be cool. And literally, they trust him with it, and he loses it. So, I mean, we're already under the impression from our characters from the old games that Red 13 is manipulatable.
What do you?
So
Okay,
we think-
let's stop. What are you talking about? Red 13. You can give the materia to anyone. Remember when is it the Whirlwind Maze or whatever, where you give it to someone in your party. You can choose anyone, and they like, but then like a shadow version of them or from Cloud or something is convincing them that they need to give it back to Cloud. It's like who you want to give the black materia to. And I think I picked like Barrett or something, and then like Barrett will say like, no man, like I can't give you this materia or whatever, and then there'll be some sort of Jenova clone of Cloud that will like say something like, we have to go fight Sephiroth. I need this black materia now, or something like they'll basically do something so that you have to give it. But Red was not manipulated any more than anyone else, so I don't know what the fuck you're talking about there. Like none of this makes sense to me.
Red 13's a wizard, Jenova, and Sephiroth. 13 senses it. My only point of argument against that, where it's like, Red 13 senses it, so it's Aerith, right? But Red 13 in the OG game is manipulated by Jenova and Sephiroth to give the black materia. They trust Barrett or Red 13, I think, in the OG with the black materia. So we think
You can pick anyone in your party, so that's wrong.
Red 13's a wizened creature, right? No, he's actually young. He's actually a kid. He's very Cloud-like, really. He's putting on a persona to be cool. And literally, they trust him with it, and he loses it. So, I mean, we're already under the impression from our characters from the old game
Okay, so he's just basing it all off of that. That's a pretty thin fucking line.
that Red 13's manipulatable. He's not infallible. He's definitely more connected than most, but clearly, like, it can go south. So, my biggest point about this ending scene is
Anyone could fucking go south. What do you mean? That's a stupid ass fucking thing to say.
there's some weird things where she's like acting like she's alive.
Do we think there's any Hojo manipulations through Aerith here?
Not for this.
Like,
Probably.
Hojo-
It's nothing to do with
I don't think so,
Hojo.
Joel. I think this is all
No,
in stuff in Cloud's head. The biggest point of, I think, contention for this end scene is that a lot of people think
it's
this is
not in
Aerith.
Cloud's
They think
head.
that this is the Aerith that is
Did he
Cloud's
just
head.
say
But
that?
the biggest,
Through Aerith here.
Not for this.
Like,
Probably.
Hojo.
No.
Okay.
No.
I don't think so, Joel. I think this is all in stuff in Cloud's head. The biggest
It's
point
not.
of, I
It's
think,
not in
contention for this
Cloud's
end scene is that
head.
a lot of people think this is omni-Aerith. They think that this is the Aerith that is, they think this is the Aerith that is kind of omnipotent and gives Cloud information, and they go on dates and stuff like that. But the way they communicate is not that. They don't sound like they're talking to each other. It sounds very stilted and weird. The other parts of the party sound normal, by the way.
It's
I
not
think
weird.
why I don't think this is bad translation or this is bad writing, because the other party members are in line. Barrett and Tifa are shocked. They are disgusted almost by the way Cloud is acting and what he's doing. It's just that Cloud and Aerith
They're
seem to be
not.
on some like weird dream reality with each other. So, and this is all in Cloud's head. Like, in
They're
my
not
opinion, this is all in Cloud's
disgusted.
head, but I think this is like manipulation. I really do. The ending sets up for something very like cheery, and Aerith goes like goodbye, you know, like all of this stuff.
Sunshine and rainbows.
I honestly wouldn't even like be surprised if the next game cuts in immediately and it like zooms in on Aerith after she says goodbye, and it's all looming and creepy and shit because it already is setting up this looming and
It's not, because it's not looming and creepy, because it's really her. What do you mean?
creepy thing. Like, what? Who is that? Isn't in his head? Is that she just around there all over the place? So anyway, A lot of people aren't gonna like it. I've watched it so many times. The scene direction in the end feels very intentional. How they are
I
presenting.
feel like everything in this game is very intentional.
Very intentional.
100%.
And why
It's
would they do it?
not.
Like, why would the reason be for this? Dude, imagine in the next game if, like, suddenly Aerith is back. Wait, why is she back? Why? And Aerith is, like, talking to Cloud, convincing him about shit.
She's not back.
Even more convincing than even Sephiroth. Because Sephiroth and Cloud's memories, he doesn't trust that dude.
I mean, she's not a party member. We can see that in the Revelation trailer.
He tries his best to fight that dude, but there is somebody he trusts, his girlfriend that he saved. So I think they're setting up for a really dark part 3, where in Cloud's mind prison in the end, he has to realize she died. You need to accept she died, dude.
Oh, and
And
fight him, dude.
that's
That's
when
mental breakdown. Boss fight Cloud.
Well, obviously, he has to realize that she died, but it's like that'll be in the universe conversation.
Let's go.
you're gonna get the lake scene. You're gonna watch the lake scene happen. You're gonna watch, like, you know, when Cloud is like, when Aerith dies, you see Cloud talking and stuff. He's like saying all this stuff, but he doesn't say anything in our perspective. You're gonna see all of those things actually happen. It's the full realization that as Cloud needs to accept that she died. You need to accept that Zack died. You need to accept that you are a person under all of that. That's who you're supposed to be. You can't live with this forever. You need to accept the truth, motherfucker.
If
And that's
only
where.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. You know, you go ahead.
If only Cloud sees her, though, then wouldn't he eventually realize that, yo, she's not like talking to anyone else? Or like no one is really like
Dude,
communicating.
we're already
He's just
there.
like imagining all that shit.
We're already there. He's already like, everybody around him is in the worst moment of their lives. He just forgot he dropped off her body and looks over. Hey, baby.
Why is no one
smiling and
disagreeing
happy.
with
We're already there,
him?
dude. He's gone.
Yep,
He's
yep.
and every
We're
other
saying
member of the
their
party is trying to tell us
opinions.
He's gone.
And just acting like he's always
we've lost him.
correct.
Dude. Cloud's in a much worse state than he was in the OG game at this point. In the OG game at this point, he actually has accepted Aerith's death. He has like a speech at the end of the game, in like, you know, right before the altar, and he's like, you know, we have to do this for her. We have to save this planet, type of shit. He's still in like, you know, hero Cloud form before he has like his breakdown. So that's not. This
I mean, it's
no,
just
this
like
Cloud is being manipulated by the black
looking at
material
random
that
shit
he's
'cause
hiding
it's
from
so
everybody else.
boring.
He doesn't want anybody to know that he has it. I'm like, what more evidence do we need, dude? What do we?
I don't know. Let the legend come back to life.
Jesus, man. Mike, what do you feel about that? Do you feel that this Aerith in the end is acting anything like Aerith at all?
So yeah, the little CG end, like that's not.
Oh,
Like,
he's
you
asking
can't
if someone
even
else
believe
thinks?
she's physically there. Like she's not physically there. Like no, like even my like timeline version, like he's just seeing. I thought he was just seeing visions of another Aerith there.
Exactly.
But it could also just be like the live stream Aerith is communicating with him. And
Omni Aerith.
I don't think it's. Yeah, I don't know if it's Omni Aerith though. I think Omni Aerith is something different. I think this is Aerith that died, went to the like Aerith that died, went to the live stream and is talking with him. I think like Omni Aerith or whatever we're gonna call the all-knowing Aerith is like.
Yeah.
Aerith of the White.
I'm so like there's so many big questions I have. Why was Sephiroth specifically hunting for that one Aerith? Obviously we've talked about he tried to like kill her and other ones, but like he's like this is where you were hiding in this world that has accepted its fate. It's like this Sephiroth has been tracking this specific Aerith across multiple realities, and she's been trying to hide from it until she could do this one act, and then she's like, it's okay, I'm fine, I achieved my goal of giving you white materia, and that allows Aerith to pray, which another Sephiroth says good Aerith is
happy
pray,
with
and I'm
that.
like, so I'm
Well, that happened earlier. She already prayed. That part happened after where where he said the pray part was before the white materia happened. She didn't have the white materia then. Right? Or wait, no, sorry, I have it backwards. So no, she did have the white materia because when the whole thing happened with the date and stuff like that, she got it then. Because she was in the alternate universe body when she gave it to Cloud, and then Cloud gave it back to her. And then said, I'm going to go stop Sephiroth. So yeah, he did say pray when she had the white materia. That's correct. And the white materia fell down to the down to the bottom of the lake.
this is my crazy thing, Max. I think obviously there are multiple Sephiroths. I think there's one Sephiroth working towards one objective, the one we've been like all clearly seeing. Yeah. I think there's one that knows Jenova is not his mom, not a good. Like I think there's a Sephiroth that has accepted the truth and wants to work with Cloud to like the one who says I want to defy reality into 7 second shit. I think there's a Sephiroth who's like I saw what happened. Jenova wins and I get fucked over too, and like this can't happen. So I need to help. I need to help Cloud.
Let's go.
So I think there's a good Sephiroth in all this. That's my wild one. Is that there is a Sephiroth who is out to help.
I acknowledge that might not be where the story is going thematically, but that is wild and crazy enough where that would be nuts, and I kind of love it. Where it's like, yeah, there's a version of Sephiroth that even realizes.
That's what I was saying. I said this in an earlier video. I think that would have been really cool to have Sephiroth be a good guy and like he actually wants to save the planet, and there's a version of him that's like actually good. Yeah.
Is that this crazy alien bitch is actually a problem. Maybe we should take her out. Maybe I should be the thing that exists in the end of it. So you're telling me a Cloud Sephiroth team up?
That's I think
yeah.
there'll be a point where like that we see that play out in some level of their reality. And also,
I don't think this is
like,
gonna happen.
the
This
only
is
one
just
that
fun
doesn't have
fan
that
shit to
Okay,
talk
no,
about. But
he's a
yeah.
good guy. I think he's just like he understands whether it's choosing Jenova winning or you know what,
Yeah.
like part of him will remember I was good once. I was a human. He will remember that side to be like I'm gonna do this. Like I'm choosing one or the other. I will choose human. I realize I was played by Jenova, but like I can't undo all the evil fucking shit I've been doing. Like
so maybe that's why the Edge of Creation they talk so differently, because Sephiroth can actually like talk to Cloud maybe without like Jenova interference or some shit. Like the Edge of Creation, which is like the 7 seconds to the end kind of like Sephiroth, right? I don't know. Like there's some weird. Yeah, that's an interesting thing to go back and look at.
Yeah, I just don't think he'll be a good guy. Sorry. Yeah, I don't think he'll be a good guy. I think he knows that like it's the lesser of two evils he's picking, and he's just like, and it has to be Cloud. It's not gonna be him that saves the day. He just gives like a path to Cloud to be able to do it. And also, again, I think honestly, I know this is being dark for Aerith and Cloud. I don't think Cloud and Aerith are ever like meant to be together, and I think this is playing out as it is. I do think we're gonna get a sappy good thing with Zack and Aerith. I think Zack and Aerith reunion is happening. They will get there, and it'll be some reality or the live stream, whatever. They are ending up together. You're getting that moment. We're all gonna freaking weep and cry.
The Zack and Aerith reunion of them actually being their like versions.
Live stream.
Yeah,
that's absolutely
will happen eventually.
Well,
no one's brought up
obviously they're both dead, so yeah, they're going to be reunited.
Nero and Weiss. How does that factor into this shit?
Weiss doesn't factor. He's only CG. He's a VR guy. But Nero, yes, deep ground stuff I think will start showing up deeply for Wutai.
Yep.
I think the Wutai War is going to be a lot of like crazy deep ground shit.
I agree. And that and or the return to mid.
Why do we think Wutai is going to bring deep ground into that? That doesn't make any sense. What are you talking about?
And more Vincent stuff. Like, and actually, I think they might even tie it a little bit to Sid because they seem to be leaning heavier into Sid's involvement with Shinra. And who is it? I'll give credit to Simmons. He's the first one pointing out, even though I kind of like was suspecting it, but he pushed harder. Is there any thoughts that maybe Sid is related to Aerith? Like, or like he was like so protective of her and like kept asking.
That was weird.
Way, but
isn't Professor Gast Aerith's father?
That's how it's supposed to be. But we're in different realities. I don't.
Wait, what did you say about Gast?
It's going either way, but
isn't Professor Gast Aerith's father?
That's how it's supposed to be. But we're in a different reality.
Yeah, it was.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's
interesting. Crush, he's like trying to look after
they definitely had a thing where they had like a fling for a bit. Yeah. So he like cares about her in some way. When they found out that but when he found out if Fallen actually died, it like fucked him up. Where he's like, well, I should do something. You know. By the way, Sid's a complete character betrayal. In a good way. Sid is not the same character he was before. They instead Han Solo him in this game. They turned him into the hero pilot guy, which he wasn't before, but like the same Sid that they had before. There's gonna be some contention because he's not the same Sid that we see in this game that we presented him before, which is like the very angry and bitchy Sid. He's very aggressive for sure, but he is very much the Han Solo kind of character of our party now.
Yeah, in the original FF7, he was very abusive to Shira.
That's a good point.
I like it. And
I wonder if they're gonna still have Shira, and he's gonna act like a complete dickhead to Shira still, and they basically like be abusive to her. So that was really awkward to watch.
You know what? I can acknowledge this is very different than the old Sid. I can acknowledge that, but I don't hate it. I actually kind of like it.
I'm very curious if they're going to keep the whole thing about the failed rocket because they gave him some backstory about what he said, like what he was doing in the past, how he used to work like I forget what was it, not a warehouse job or something. Like, he gave some of his past stuff. So I don't know if they're going to go with the same backstory with that.
The Crisis Core museum, the museum section has a little bit.
They do have that. So like, I hope they keep something like that in there because like it would be kind of cool.
The space program exists. Like Palmer has already talked about if this goes well, we get money for the space program. Like he said that in Remake before. So the space program has existed and it was seemingly canceled. So Palmer hints at it. So I'm 100% convinced Rocket Town is normal. It's still gonna have like the Tower of Pizza rocket. Like so Sid has his backstory. We just haven't learned that about Sid that he has aspirations to go to space.
Yeah, I still expect that to happen. What was the other crazy thing I forgot? So we talked about the last scene real quick. We talked about like obviously like Cloud has black materia and like he needs to give it to a version of Sephiroth who's still in the North Crater. Like still happening. The effect it did when he put it into the Buster Sword though.
So intense.
What was it like Transformers doing like Matrix glitchy shit? Like
so that's where I'm pitching the idea. This is Cloud's Dark Knight arc. This is where he's being like manipulated like the One Ring type shit by the black materia. Yeah. And it's gonna fuck.
It's not an arc. It's what happens in the original game. What do you mean?
Came up. This is like even more stuff. Cloud has an imaginary girlfriend that may or may not be a complete goddamn Sephiroth manipulation, like fucking with him. He also is, Zack somewhere in there too. The trauma of, the trauma of death. He's hiding all this, and he's also being manipulated potentially by weird black materia. He's corrupted as shit now. Okay. So I think that's gonna show up gameplay wise in the next game. I think Cloud is not gonna play the same big air combos guy, which is what he is in this one. I think they're gonna go for something much more.
He instantly gives away the materia. What do you mean? That's gonna happen really early on. Like what? Like go to maybe Bone Village, Icicle Inn, go through the Whirlwind Maze. Give the fucking materia to Sephiroth, and then gotta save the world, like kill all the weapons, and then you go back to North Crater. Like that's the whole game.
Violent. He's gonna be a much more violent game.
Well, and also after he gives the thing to Sephiroth, then they have to go to Medial to find him. But yeah.
Play style in the next game.
Some of the kills in this one were really
they're pretty brutal. Like, they already hinted at it, and we already get some materia gameplay stuff that feels very dark. Air combos guy, which is what he is in this one. I think they're gonna go for something much more violent. He's gonna be a much more
they're not
gonna
change his fucking battle style. Like
some of the kills in this one were really
they're pretty brutal. They have the fits and stuff, but that's not.
That feels very Dark Knight-ish.
Some of the kills in this one were really
they're pretty brutal.
It's just stupid theory bullshit.
I think they're just gonna utilize that stuff. In the same way that they made materia in part 1 just part of characters' toolkits in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it also has a gameplay, like you said, like it has a gameplay. Be pretty sick. Another question, real quick. The weapons appearance in this. Obviously, we haven't seen the fabled Ruby Emerald, anything like that yet. But they look unique, right? I mean, almost like a Sin from Final Fantasy X is like the closest thing.
Yeah,
they look like.
I think they're scouts.
Yeah, okay.
I think they're like personal, like parts of the planet that are wig weapons for sure, but aren't for like combat. They're there to like scout shit because that's simply what they're doing. They're like hovering around, looking at what the hell Sephiroth's doing down there and stuff. Because Sephiroth is like cooking up some weird shit under the ocean. I'm fairly sure the impression that we're getting is that something really bad is happening at the final.
It's not the ocean. It's a fucking live stream, dumbass. What do you mean ocean? Did he really just say ocean?
Under the ocean. They're there to like scout shit because that's exactly what they're doing. They're like hovering around looking at what the hell Sephiroth's doing down there and stuff because Sephiroth is like cooking up some weird shit under the ocean. I'm fairly sure the
Yeah, he says
impression that we're
ocean.
getting is that something really bad is happening at the final shot of them, and they're like preparing for the worst. They're like almost like it seems like they're telling the planet that some bad shit's happening.
It's
we better
the
start getting
life
ready. So it's like
stream.
the actual weapons are getting like prepped is kind of what I'm gauging. Also, a crazy visual thing I'd like to throw out that we keep talking about. We have to get to the top to get the black materia to Sephiroth.
They don't
right?
need to be corrupt. They're already mad monsters. You mean?
To summon a meteor. I'm fairly sure that's going to happen. But there's kind of a weird thing that happens because Sephiroth has the black materia when they get to City of the Ancients, or the Forgotten Capital. There's a big CG cutscene where Sephiroth like calls the goddamn eternity to like collide, right? Where he calls the realities to collide. But before that, he summons meteor, bro. Like he calls meteor from the fucking sky, and similar to remake part 1, this isn't a vision. Like this is like seemingly happening. He calls meteor, and he takes the energy of it and it absorbs into him, and it absorbs into his wing or some shit. So it's like I went back and I looked at it, and it sort of like glazes you over because so much shit is happening. I'm like, wait a minute, did Sephiroth just summon meteor? And then he harnessed its power? Like what the fuck is going on here? So I don't know what they're setting up for, dude. Like
I mean, this is the same effect they did in remake. We don't understand what it is. It's just a weird visual thing that looks cool.
It's a very similar scene shot for shot from Remake Part 1, and I don't know if it's supposed to be an illusion or anything because the characters aren't in some crazy other reality. They're sitting right outside the City of the Ancients before they go in. So I'm like, wait a minute, did he just use the whispers to absorb meteor, and then that energy translates into the life stream, and the life stream turns black. It turns this weird crusted color. It gets infected by it. So it's like,
What are you talking about? No, it's not.
Illusion here. We're not in like a Shinra simulation illusion. Like the characters are all seeing this shit happen, and then he goes to Aerith after. It's like, that's some crazy weird shit, though, right?
Life stream never turns black.
Actually, at City of the Ancients, and suddenly meteor shows up, and he just like sucks it up.
Maybe he needs to store that power when he suddenly performs
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
So,
Sorry.
I don't even know what that technically like. There's already like impressions that we got from Ultimanias in Part 1 that weren't very clear, which was what Sephiroth was doing in the end. That he was actually in control of the whispers. That really technically wasn't communicated to us as the player of these games until the end of this game, where it's like, oh yeah, no, these whispers are in control of Sephiroth. These are his whispers. We don't know what the white whispers are, but we knew that from like the devs in some sort of book.
You know, the white whispers are from Aerith. It's obvious. They come in when she comes in.
At some point where they're like, oh, yeah, it was like a recap that Sephiroth is now in control of Destiny Whispers. We're like, what the fuck? Didn't know that. That's
sort of black and white whispers tied to the black and white materia?
They have to be, right? There has to be some sort of connection there.
He
sends the black whispers, which are in control of him, to go find the black materia.
It's not even a question. When Aerith comes through the multiverse portal, the white whispers directly attack the black ones that Sephiroth is sending to attack Cloud when he sees him. When they're in the Cosmos area.
Opens up a portal, and all the whispers come through, and the materia manifests in his hands. It's the actual black materia. So I'm like, this is definitely connected to like white materia, black materia shit in some way. The white materia is clearly like something from Aerith. Like,
because the Fates move shit around.
In some way, they're preserving some element of Destiny, but at the same time, I can absolutely confirm that none of us have the info, bro. That your friend Jack Showmo does not have the information. Your dad that works at Square Enix also doesn't have the information.
I have the information. I just told it. I just said it. The white ones are Aerith. It's not even a question.
The goddamn localizers. The poor localizers from Remake Part 1 didn't even have the information. They also had to go back to Part 1 and change the ending line because the ending line was meant to be taken literally and not subjectively, so they had to fix it. And now she has a different line at the end of Remake. They patched that in to accompany the freak shit in the sky.
Yeah. They
had to take that line out because, no, she's actually talking about the freaky fucking thing in the sky, brother. So, again, it's like, nobody knows. Nojima himself might not even know yet. They might be, like, listening to the shit and changing story bits. We don't know. All I gotta say is that, like, I love not knowing. I love that we're in it.
I don't know why they changed that line, but yeah, she says that she doesn't like the sky.
At the end of this...
But she said that ever since Crisis Core, so it's not new.
Game, I was in a spot where I was like, dude, I don't feel like there's any mystery anymore. I feel like we kind of got confirmation that like the timeline shit is happening, and our party's just going up there to do this stuff, and some weird shit's gonna happen. I kind of felt that way. I was like, you know what? There's no theorizing here. This was like the first couple of hours. There's really nothing here to bite into because as the events are presented to you on screen and you translate them, you're like, okay, yes, that's what's going on.
Has he replayed Crisis Core?
The game wants us to think that is what they are seemingly setting up. But similar to Part 1, I feel like they sprinkle shit all over the place that now leads to even more absolute crazy schemy bullshit. That like, oh, now they know people went crazy schemy bullshit with the first game, and some of us were right.
Mess with them.
Again, the timeline thing was not given to us on a plate. We did not have confirmation of any of this timeline shit until Sephiroth is traveling with us through dimensions and goes, Cloud, I'm going to break this down for you piece by piece now. And that was 120 hours into Rebirth. They gave us that information finally, dude. So anyway, I don't think we're gonna get confirmation of any of this shit until like the end of the next game. I think it's gonna take a very long time for us to even get
there. Yep, I agree with that.
But we, as like FF7 Remake fans and people that got into this, we sort of take for granted that like this timeline stuff isn't confirmed yet, right? Like, we don't know. We don't know what the hell's going on. This could have been Shinra propaganda.
The final game is over.
Zack could have been alive with our characters in the same Midgar. Like he could have just been back at Midgar. There could have been one timeline. We don't know. We literally did not get that information.
People talking about the sky is crazy, and they're like, what? What are you talking about?
The stamp logo is a seasonal thing that changes every season, and so
yeah, and then the stamp thing is there just for us as fans to start making connections that like, oh, this is a different one, this is a different one, this is a different one, that's a different one, you know. So as they're definitely cooking some wild shit here, and I feel like in Part 3 we're definitely gonna have a similar thing to Part 2 where we're gonna carry on our party and do very similar situations. But I'm really curious what's happening with the Black Materia and Cloud, and how Cloud's breakdown is gonna be worse than ever. It's gonna be so dark, dude.
Stop
really
talking.
Feel like it's gonna be hella dark, but there's a good reason. In my opinion, there's a great reason for all this. The most triumphant moment of Final Fantasy VII OG isn't when like you beat weapons and stuff like that. The best moment of the FF7 OG.
You should just shave his head, dude. His hair is so so
do
far
this shit. I'm
back.
Like I have not been that person this whole time. Dude, it's so good, and they're setting up that moment to be the most fucking triumphant moment. Like the Let's Mosey shit. All this timeline shit is setting up for the Let's Mosey moment to be so fucking cool. Where like and then the ship breaks off. Let's go! Like type of like, goddamn, I can't wait, dude. That's gonna be so amazing.
Especially if Cloud, it gets so dark. Like
so down this rabbit hole.
We really have to bring him back.
I don't feel like I'm pitching something that crazy here. They're really setting up Cloud to fail so hard. Barrett literally says it, man. He's like, we have everything riding on you here.
Man, when they go so
are you
far,
okay? And he says, literally, I'm fine, bro. He's like, not even taking it seriously. It's like, oh, dude, our party's about to be so disappointed in this guy. We're about to be. And Tifa looks so sad in the end and shit. It's like, yeesh, man. This seems like a really happy ending for our next adventure. On first watch, I don't think it's that. I think this is a setup for disaster.
Watch, man. They'll kill Cloud. He'll have a death scene. Zack will reappear, and Cloud will hand a Buster Sword to Zack. We'll have a reverse of that scene, and really mess with us.
I don't know if I would do that, but yeah.
I'm not gonna do that. But I do want to. We've been alluding to it. I do want to talk about some expectations for part 3.
Yeah.
If you're cool with that. I want to know where you think how and where is it going to start on part 3.
Why are we just asking what he thinks and that's it? Why is that the whole conversation? Just asking what he thinks and then he talks. I don't know why I watch things that piss me off, and I don't know why I'm doing this.
So the next calm was going to be part 2.
For sure.
Yeah, where we're going here.
So I'm going to say it. I don't know. You know why I don't know? Because this game's leading to something that doesn't make any sense. We have a flying airship at the end of this. The Tiny Bronco flies now. That didn't happen in the OG, outside of the first scene when it dies. Now the Tiny Bronco is flying, and we get access to the world. It's like there's a big thing where it's like the most comedic part of FF7, tragedy to comedy, is that, bro, our best friend just died. Like, my girlfriend just died. Let's go snowboarding.
Yeah, the plane's gonna break down again.
Not your bro.
And they're gonna snow out there. Snowboard
So
out.
is that
There's
something
gonna
that's
be
gonna go? I actually don't know where they're going with that. Like how and what the next game is going to start off with, because Calm made the most sense. Getting the backstory of the Sephiroth and Nibelheim backstory made the most sense. Now I really don't know, dude.
Will we start as Omni Aerith?
Well, yes.
Start as Omni
More
Aerith.
OP Aerith shit. Yes.
Different timeline shit.
Like, give us. I want to have some like crazy. I want to be completely in depth. They can't have Cloud be insane Dark Knight Cloud forever though. That has to end eventually, because that's really depressing. If like the whole party can't trust this guy, especially at the end of this game, he needs to come back around in some way, but also being corrupted by this shit. So I don't know. I actually don't know where the next game is going to go.
It's part of the character arc, you dumb fuck.
Following you, Cloud. We're going to the north, right? He's like, yes, we're going to the north. Aerith, you do your prayer. Let's go. So they're going to be following Cloud's direction in some way, but I really don't know, man. This one doesn't make any sense to me.
I could see. I mean, I thought this too. I saw mentioned in chat by a few people. Like, we go to Rocket Town first, because maybe Sid wants to make it a little more fine tuning to the Tiny Bronco. He's like, hey, I got it running, but let's stop here because I got to take care of a few upgrades, and then we can get moving again. And we get a little bit of like a Sid deep dive and kind of like start a little slower.
I will say the thing that I do presume them doing is that instead of having a 2-tier airship, which is what we have in the OG game, you get like the propeller plane, and then you get the jet plane after. We're gonna have a 3-tier airship. We're gonna have one that is clearly like Sid's Tiny Bronco, but it can only go so far, similar to the water Tiny Bronco in Rebirth, right? But it can't go through like crazy weather. There's gonna be some nutty ass weather and shit that just won't prevent this ship from going there. So we gotta land and huff it on foot type shit, right? But then we're gonna get our next tier airship, and then after that, after the big triumph, we're gonna get our expert or jet airship. So I think air travel and how airships work is going to be a massive part of the next game, introduced at the very beginning. It isn't gonna be a thing that shows up down the line. It's like introduced right at the start with Sid. We're gonna be pilot wingsing this shit around.
Because we'd be at that point like 200 hours into this game, so that makes sense.
Yeah, and also I don't think they're gonna admit this. I think we're also probably gonna get the ocean. I think we're gonna get the submarine. I think they hint at the under the ocean part with the Tifa scene a lot, where it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna be able to submerge and go around all this shit and fight stuff and discover things down here. That'll be super sick.
Are we gonna get another intermission, perhaps, possibly with Vincent?
They weren't gonna do it.
So we are not, and I really wish that wasn't the case, man.
Yeah,
because
it was so awesome.
If there's a DLC I wish we had, it was a goddamn Vincent DLC right now. They pretty much said that we're working on part 3. I think they want part 3 to come out even faster than part 2 did.
Yes.
So and you have to realize how much of a miracle this game is. I'm gonna set these things up. This is one of the most content-rich games you can buy this generation, straight up. It has, and the quality to time of content is also insurmountably high. It's impossible to think a game like this can be made in less than 4 years. Number one. Also during a pandemic. This game was made during the pandemic. Their entire workflow was altered in some way to help them with the next game. So much of this game sets up and builds the world. Right now we just need to expand this world. And if you want to talk about
Remake
things
was?
I think they can improve on, actual criticisms
Rebirth
of
was? No, it wasn't built during a
situation
pandemic.
to, like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, where we get an expanded world with more
What are you
stuff. You can do
talking
type of stuff.
about?
I think it's gonna be similar. It feels like a sequel to this game, like an actual like, oh, this is another Rebirth with more stuff now. I think it's gonna happen. There's one thing I think they should change. I think we need a jump button. I think we need a jump button on the characters and the weird contextual world interaction stuff.
You aren't getting a jump button.
Like ladders and stuff like that are fine. I get you, but like the way chocobos run across some environments and shit, and the way like your player runs across the environments, it's kind of clunky. So if there's one thing I hope they fix with like the way the world functions in contact with the player, I appreciate that. I think
That ain't
definitely
changes.
fixed.
That is not
Would I
changing.
hold it against this game in any way, like review-wise? Not at all. Not at all. I never really thought about it, but it is something that can be improved.
I kept trying to
Sometimes
glide
moving
the
through the map
chocobo,
was
like in 16, because like you could jump with the chocobo and glide. I'm like, I can't do this in Rebirth. Why? Like
you get adapted to it very fast. Like your brain goes like, okay, and you sort of like wrap your head around it. But the
Because
weird
we're made
contextual
with
jumping and
different
mounting stuff is a little odd.
engines.
And it'd be nice if there was a jump button. You know, it would make a lot more sense for the next game. Like the FF14 is almost like a good example of that, or even Elden Ring, and the way they handle weird environmental shit in their world.
Why does he
I feel
keep
like
talking about
there's room to improve there,
FF14 like he's played 14?
People, you're saying, sir.
Oh no, just moving through the map sometimes was challenging.
cumbersome.
Just cumbersome is a better word. Yeah.
How much? We know what's left in OG Final Fantasy 7 that I haven't covered, but a lot of it is technically optional stuff. How much of that do you expect? You know, we don't have to be specific, but do you expect a lot of that optional stuff to be made mandatory or worked into the actual core of the game?
We already talked about that.
That's exactly what they're doing with the Proto Relic in the next game. So,
We already talked about
The
that.
next game's Proto Relic quest is pretty obvious what that shit's going to be about. It's you hunting down the 13 Knights.
Hell yeah, dude. Knights of the Round.
And
Let's go.
the Knights of the Round materia potentially harness.
Scene or thumbs down, dude.
The Knights of the Round built into the story of the game, which is, you know, as we saw from this, the Cetra
It's not going to be in the build of the story of the game. It's not.
against the warring humans.
Gilgamesh wasn't even in the original game.
That fought them, and the only reason they fought them was under Genova's manipulation, like literally pitted humans against the Cetra type shit. So I think that's going to definitely build into the story. And the same way they expanded the Cave of the Gi and the Cave of the Gi, I think that's going to not just be like a VR thing. No, I think Knights of the Round is going to be integral to like this was like a weapon we used against the Cetra or like a weapon we used against Genova type of shit, and we now need to use it against Sephiroth.
Nope, that's stupid as fuck. Nope, not happening.
Budget cinematic in the history of video games. Dude.
It's gonna be nuts.
Budget. We had to spend an extra like 30 million just on Knights of the Round.
I'm also gonna throw out this idea. This game promotes the idea of costumes for characters, right?
Oh,
it does.
yeah.
So I would like to pitch the idea for part 3 that I again think we're gonna see Advent Children. I also pitched the idea 4 years ago that I think we're going to relive and play through events of fucking Advent Children at some point. I think we're gonna actually like see our characters from that future reality. So I think it would be really neat if we got
Fucking
those
idiot.
characters' costumes.
Yes, please.
Like it would be insanely cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's gonna happen. That would make me so happy.
I'm not going to invoke his name because I do it every chance I get, but I need the Kingdom Hearts costumes, dude.
Kingdom
I
Hearts
need
costumes,
the fucking taped Buster Sword, dude. I'm begging, man. I'm
Go to
begging for
Disney.
it.
You have to go to
Oh
Disney.
my God.
It's the problem with all this stuff.
Just give me that.
Dude, if Cloud and Sephiroth didn't get their Kingdom Hearts outfits in Smash Brothers, I don't know if there's much hope here, dude.
That's true.
To be real, that shit is a legal fucking
We
nightmare.
didn't get like Advent Children amiibo, right? We got regular Soldier Cloud.
Yeah,
and
no, we
Advent-
got Advent Children Cloud in Smash.
But
That's what my plan is.
they did put Sora in Smash, though.
We never got the other shit, dude.
budget. Sakurai got
That's what I'm saying. If they couldn't even get that for the Final Fantasy
Yeah.
characters, and again, Kingdom Hearts has distanced itself from Final Fantasy almost intentionally, so I don't know if it's happening.
We'll have to see. Do you think it was? People were hoping it was going to be in Rebirth. It does not appear in Rebirth. Tank Ceratops or Triceratops Tank. Whatever.
So
Yeah.
he's in this game, and he might be disappointing to some. They turned him just into a dinosaur. Apparently, the name, there's like a Japanese character that you fight in Gongaga that is Tank Ceratops. But it isn't the same OG goofy design. It has the same name as it was in the Japanese version of some shit. But it's one of the notorious monster fights. You actually fight him here. And there's like a bigger one that shows up in the Battle Coliseum that is technically Tank Ceratops, which is a little disappointing because it is just a monster. It isn't like a weird robot Triceratops. It has a different name in our version. Apparently, in like the
What
Japanese
is he
version, it shares the
talking
same
about?
name
I don't know what
as
he's
Tank Ceratops
talking
in the
about.
Japanese FF7 is what I heard.
Is this like a Test Zero situation? Tommy?
Kinda.
I can still believe maybe they'll make it a reality in part 3. I really thought.
Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Let's finish
During
this
the
off.
Scotch and Koch part, it was gonna be one of the phases. They're gonna bust it out again. I was
Yeah.
like, that
would have been so sick.
That would have been great.
Yeah, was there any really big like enemy reveals in this game?
Well, for me, it's Test Zero.
Yeah, Test Zero was an insane deep cut reference. To me, one of the best enemy reveals in this game was the Vincent boss fight.
Oh my
fighting,
God,
fighting
yes,
Gillian Beast.
dude.
I was like, what the fuck is happening here?
That
This
was
is crazy. I loved it. I thought that was so cool.
Oh yeah, some shouts to Kid
That
G.
was
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, Kid G getting a story like Final Fantasy VII Sonic the Hedgehog getting a story was very interesting.
Let's see. We talked about the optional content. Would be clear. You already mentioned you think we're like.
Getting a
What
story
was he
beat. So
talking
Zero
about
was
earlier
insane.
before that?
That would have been great.
Yeah,
But gonna bust it out again. I was
Yeah.
like, well, that's where came out. So
That would have been so sick.
Part. It was gonna be one of the phases. They're gonna bust it out again. I was
Yeah.
like, well, that's where came out. So
That would have been so sick.
What is he saying? It's like you're speaking like foreign language.
Be one of the phases. They're gonna bust it out again. I was
Yeah.
like, well, that's where Hellhouse came out. So
That would have been so sick.
bust it out again. I was
Yeah.
like, I really.
I mean,
like, it's still-
kinda.
I could still believe maybe they'll make it a reality in part 3. I really thought during the Scotch and Koch part it was gonna be one of the phases. They're gonna bust it out again. I was
Yeah.
like, well, that's where Hellhouse came out. So
That would have been so sick.
That would have been great.
Still don't
Yeah,
know
was
what they're
Any
saying.
really big like enemy reveals in this game?
Well, for me,
I think
it was Test Zero.
Yeah, Test Zero was an insane deep cut reference. To me, one of the best enemy reveals in this game was the Vincent boss fight.
Oh my
fighting,
gosh,
fighting
Zero?
Gillian Beast. I was like, what the fuck is happening here?
That
This
was
is crazy.
insane.
I loved it. I thought that was so cool.
Saying.
Oh yeah, some shouts to Kid G. Yeah.
Yeah, Kid G getting a story, like Final Fantasy VII Sonic the Hedgehog getting a story was very interesting.
Let's see.
Kid
We talked
G?
about optional to Kid G.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kid G getting a story, like Final Fantasy VII. Fuck is happening here?
That
This
was
is crazy.
insane.
I loved it. I thought that was so cool.
Oh yeah, some shouts to Kid G. Yeah.
Yeah, Kid G getting a story, like Final Fantasy VII Sonic the Hedgehog getting a story was very interesting.
Let's see. We talked about the optional content. Would be clear. You already mentioned you think we're gonna like play or see Advent Children, like other
think so.
other compilation stuff. Like obviously, probably it's likely it could pop up, like for sure.
Yeah.
Like everything's
No,
in
it's
I
not.
think that we're getting into the final game. We know it's the final game. We know this game's series is supposed to encompass all of the compilation of Final Fantasy VII and the original Final Fantasy VII. They told us that at the beginning of Advent Children in the theaters. I think they're bringing it around. There's so many Advent Children references in this game, dude. Like there's so even the part where
There's
Cloud and Aerith
not.
are sitting there back to back.
There's
after
no
fighting Sephiroth
reference.
is literally
No
the shot for
Advent
shot
Children
of Cloud and Aerith
references
sitting
in the
back to
game
back
at
in Advent
all, I
Children
would
shit before she
say.
disappears. It's like, yeah,
And it's so calculated the way they came out with Crisis Core
You
Reunion.
thought there was
in 2022,
cutscenes and there's
whenever that
not.
was, they
Yeah.
re-released Advent Children. They're like, hey,
God.
here it is. Like the way they came out with Crisis Core Reunion in 2022 or 2023, whenever that was. They re-released Advent Children. They're like, hey,
God.
here it is. Like they wouldn't. Again, everything they've done with 7 Remake has been so purposeful.
So
they
you want my,
wouldn't
you want my
They've never
Where's
done
this going?
anything
And it ties to what Cloud's saying at the
regarding
very beginning,
Advent
what the hell it is. It's
Children.
the empty white materia, which
Oh,
Aerith specifically gives to Cloud, the clear materia,
Yeah.
which has no memories in it yet. I think that thing is going to get filled up because they tell us several times throughout this game, materia is like memories and experiences put into orbs, and that's why Aerith depletes because it's removed from her. So Cloud gets an empty one because what is Cloud now? Well, he doesn't really have anything. He has nothing yet. So eventually, that is going to be like the weapon that Aerith gives Cloud for an eventual conflict when he needs to fight, when he actually needs to fight Sephiroth. I think that. So what is the white materia again to our characters? Seemingly a perception of the future. Like it's omni-Aerith memories. It's Aerith that understands everything from timeline memories. It's this crazy holy materia, right? I'm like, ooh, that's a little different than before. So what's the black materia? Potentially memories from all the negative shit across all timelines now instead of just meteors. Like, ooh, that's scary. I think Cloud's materia is going to be him omni-slashing Sephiroth, memories of him whooping his ass in every single other timeline. It's gonna be like Cloud, you're about to inject into your ass. You killing this guy every other time you've done it throughout all of history. Fucking go. I think that's what they're setting that up for. That's Cloud's awakening materia. And it isn't just him like, I'm a nerdy 16-year-old kid who's really insecure and kind of a loser. Let's mosey. That reveal's still gonna happen. and I think there's another reveal for Cloud that, like, dude, you've done this before, you can do it again. Like, I think they're setting up for Cloud to whoop Sephiroth's ass in like a really sick ass way, and it also will include Zack in some way. So
We don't
I
need
think
to.
Paladin Cloud shit is what I'm hinting at.
We don't need to spend much time on it, but I've heard a lot of people. I disagree, but a lot of people have been like, "Yo, remake part 3 is actually going to be Final Fantasy 17."
No, it's not.
No. Yep. No. Okay.
No.
I had to get that out there. I've seen that a lot. A lot of people.
What?
That's me. Yeah, the next game's already in development, and what do you guys think it's gonna be called?
Oh yeah, that was the question I was gonna ask.
Final Fantasy 7 retcon.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what the hell I thought it was. It might not have. No, I think what it is. Sephiroth uses the term claim. I want to claim this. I'm going to claim all of these things. I'm going to take back what's mine and claim it. I think it's going to be called like reclaim or reunite. He also talks about uniting all of these universes together and shit. However, that doesn't make sense because he's already done that. The reunion is the reuniting of timelines, and that happens at the end of this game. So usually,
Rebirth's also the
it's
same as
already used.
remake. So.
Usually, the descriptor of the games is what Sephiroth is doing. They are. Sephiroth is remaking the timeline. What was Sephiroth's goal in part 1? To essentially use... Oh, this is another tidbit. Sephiroth's goal in remake part 1 is to use the Fate Ghosts to remove Aerith's memories. To essentially make the white materia useless. And he does that, which is why he's mega pissed off.
It's just
when
a
she brings him
word,
another
dude.
timeline.
It's not...
So Sephiroth is like remaking time. He's remaking, Final Fantasy 7. Part 2 is the rebirth, right? Essentially the rebirth of an entire new timeline. These are all Sephiroth intentions. So I'm like, the final one is the last thing that Sephiroth wants to do, which is much grander in scale than I think just calling meteor and damaging the planet. Like, we've already confirmed he wants to control friggin' infinity.
Rebirth in
and
an
he wants to control all of
entire new
existence, not just this planet.
timeline?
Sure.
So,
A word that starts with R.
oh yeah, it has to start with
It has
RE.
to be, right?
It has to start with RE. It does. So
That was what happened
I
in
don't know, man.
remake.
I think
They're not
reunite could also be it
rebirth,
too. I don't know. It could be a lot of things.
Yeah, I feel like I've done this before. Yeah, because Reunion would have been so perfect, but they obviously already
Already
used it. And then Reunite does like thematically make sense. I had like Redemption.
Red Dead Redemption.
But like people don't like that.
Maybe Redemption is related to Sephiroth coming around and helping the party in some way, but he has to be a bad guy. He can't be redeemed. Sephiroth is fucking irredeemable, bro.
300 words that start with re.
I know.
Like,
He's got to scan them all and be like, all right, which one's it gonna be?
yeah, I mean, the meme one was Revengeance because like I said it during my stream. I was like, and then I saw some people chat say it again. I was like, yeah, Revengeance. It's like, they just go there. They're going. That's like they committed to going off the rails, like level 20 off the rails. We're just buckle up, buckle up. Here we go. Like every slash of Sephiroth sword, we go to a different reality in the final fight. PS6 hardware needed for all those loading.
So I'm very impressed that the devs were able to get me as excited for the next game as I was for the end of remake going into Rebirth. On first glance, I wasn't super excited. I was kind of only okay with what's going on, and like it's one of those introspective sort of endings with a lot of retrospect. You have to check out the whole game as a compendium, and it starts changing, and you're like, whoa, I think they're setting up for way more than we think they are. I don't think this is just about the Black Materia and something Sephiroth. There's way more shit going on here, man.
I think it's so cool when a game comes out or a sequel and it makes you completely re-examine the one that came for it, or when you go back and you go through remake 1 now, or even the original. You're gonna see it so differently.
The last thing I gotta mention before we go, if this is the end, I have some more things to talk about. There's a wild NPC in Cosmo Canyon. Have you seen it, Mike?
Which
the timeline NPC in Cosmo Canyon around the little powwow meeting.
I haven't done it since my first playthrough, so I might have, and I just don't remember.
It's very easily missable. It's super missable. It is a character that is in the little round table that like Tifa is in at the powwow, and you have to like wait a while. And one character starts talking about like characters being like dead and lost, but then potentially living in other realities, and then we can communicate. It's a girl, and she goes deep into like the lore of what the timelines are and the existence beyond it and what a live stream is. But then she says it's like just a theory, and I've heard about it, but I don't know if it's real or not. So it's like, oh, these are the devs fucking with us, dude. Like this is the dev lore dump hidden in Cosmo Canyon.
That's good. I don't remember that one, but that's fully what I expect from the devs.
Not sure what he's talking about.
It's red herring, or it's true, but they're like, you're gonna doubt it till it happens. Like,
yeah, she talks about like her parents dying here, but being alive in another world type of stuff. It's like, whoa, okay.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
Well, that's already stuff we know, so it's not really new.
Oh my god, the trailer's gonna be insane.
Yeah, I almost
now I'm anticipating the trailer in the same way I was anticipating the trailer for Rebirth, where it's like, is timeline shit gonna be there? What's happening, dude?
I just want someone.
That's not anything like groundbreaking.
Just the title card at the end, so I can see the title, and we're good. I don't want to see anything else.
You want to see anything else? I'm gonna be way too anxious to know. I'm gonna be so anxious to know. So when can you all expect that? Well, there's a pretty significant Final Fantasy 7 date in the not so near future, and that is 2027. It's the 30th anniversary of Final Fantasy 7. So similar to like this game, we got during the 25th anniversary, there was a big event and show, that was like showing and talking about Rebirth for the first time. I think in 2027 we're gonna get either big reveals or an actual release in some way, and I don't think part 3 is depending on how development goes. Shit changes all the time.
Children's coming out again.
FF7, we completed.
It's not
the FF7 remake trilogy.
Yeah, I think that's a good timeline.
Too perfect.
I think I think next we already have.
Please
like,
tell me
16
he didn't
DLC
just
with
say
14
Advent
expansions.
Children again.
Yeah, shit changes all the time. I think that's their goal. I think their goal is to have like 30th anniversary FF7. We completed, the FF7 remake trilogy.
Yeah, I think that's a good timeline.
Too perfect.
I think I think next we already have like 16 DLC. We have the 14 expansion this year. Like, just in the realm of Final Fantasy and like their first party offerings, their AAA stuff. That's pretty much got this year covered. The next, I would feel very confident saying that I feel like Kingdom Hearts 4 will be out by the end of next year. I feel like they're not gonna take too long on that development. So that'd be like the big 2025 title from them, and I don't think you're gonna get like another mainline enough too soon. 2026, end of 2026 is probably like the earliest you'd see.
I just realized Evercold's coming out like
having a
right
line with pretty big
before.
milestone. So I would imagine something like, I'm gonna say Summer Game Fest 2026. We get a first like look at
I think Jeff will get top dibs at it again.
Evercold's coming out like right before.
Yeah, we still got. Oh, I don't think Final Fantasy. I'll be honest. I don't think Final Fantasy 17
Revelation
until after part 3 of Rebirth or the remake trilogy at this rate. Like, I'll just throw that out there.
Dude, Dragon Quest 12 was announced
They're
so freaking long
well, that's
ago.
just waiting for Switch successor. They can't show it off till that because it's obviously on that platform, and they don't want to talk about it till it comes out on that. So
you know what we get to be excited about and anticipate that's FF7 related? The PC version.
Oh gosh,
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
I can't wait, dude. I want the PC version of this game so bad. Like I played a fan modded version of Remake before this, and somebody modded in 4K textures into the whole game. It added like 50 gigs to the game, and it made me realize like why there's so many things that might not look great upon close inspection in Rebirth. Because dude, if you increase the texture quality on everything in Rebirth, the game would be like 300 gigs, bro. Like Square Enix,
It is,
the only people that have that kind
and
of
it's
pull
good.
is Activision to convince
I
Sony,
did
like,
it.
hey, we can make it bigger, right? Like, well, whatever, okay. Like Square might not even have that kind of pull to be like, we want to release a game that requires you to buy an extra NVMe. Like, what the hell, dude? It would be so huge.
Yeah. that for sure. There's already an issue with 14. They've been redoing the textures. They have a big graphical update, and they're like, yeah, it's been a difficult job of like balancing how much we can do and how fast because the game is already so damn huge. So something that has to also be like on consoles as well. Like that's like 14 is too. It's like that's insane. So yeah, I imagine the PC version will allow you if you have those resources. I can't wait for Rebirth to come out on PC and like potentially get closer to 60 frames with like actual 4K. It'd be nice. The last question I have, we saw some reports, and it wasn't actually confirmed that the last one would be like have the same exclusivity as Part 1 and Part 2. I mean, are you pretty much convinced that Part 3 is going to be a Sony exclusive as well and have like the same format?
I'm convinced Sony scooped up the entirety of the remake series. It was shown at a Sony event. It's already like talked about that, like, oh yeah, Sony has this one for a limited period of time. 1000% in my personal opinion, that the next game is like a PS6 or PS5 to PS6 game, because we're gonna be right around that time. We're at the end of the PlayStation 5 lifecycle. So we're already more than halfway done. Just to throw that out. Like Sony's already said that, like, we're already halfway done through the lifecycle of the PS5. It's like, whoa, I guess that happened. Like, holy shit, he's actually right, goddamn.
Yeah, we might be able to check out
the box set of all three of these games together when that comes out is gonna be so
We'll save that for
sick.
Part 3 spoiler mode about whether they'll go back and redo Part 1 and Part 2 to make like a seamless game or something.
Like a Bigum version,
like the recollection. Everyone keeps calling it FF7 Recollection or something.
To be completely honest, it's gonna be really hard to go to remake after Rebirth, especially considering how improved the combat is. I can't even imagine playing characters I can't jump and move around anymore. Like not getting air dash cloud, I'm like, that sounds painful to me now.
Yeah,
I do hope Part 3 has more linear sections like Part 1, and like some of the agents was very like, you're locked into this.
Yes, I think it will, because it's more story. To be real, there's an issue that Rebirth has in general with its story, and it's just point A to point B to point C. Most of it is that, and then there's like little sprinklings of plot here and there. And that's an FF7 problem. FF7 problem is a globetrotting adventure until it gets to the Northern Crater, and there's the story, right? The story kicks in. So where's the next game kicking off for us? Well, big story is about to be going down. So I think the next game's gonna have a lot more like mega plot relevant shit.
North Crater is where the game ends. What do you mean?
We just hit the 4-hour mark here.
No, how?
Oh
my god, this is gonna be impossible to digest for anybody. I'm sorry. How long was the old one we did back in like 2020?
Not 4 hours.
Oh shit, bro.
I don't think so.
I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry. 4 hours. I'll say
I
that.
apologize. It's never long enough.
But,
Chat appetite is insatiable.
Yeah, they probably want us to go for like another 4.
My voice.
Yeah. But yes, we gotta let Max go. And thank you so much for joining us, Max. Yeah, are you gonna be playing any more Rebirth? And obviously be doing more Rebirth videos. What do you got coming up?
I very aggressively want to play more. I'm currently like 17 parts into my playthrough on YouTube. They're going up in like 2 to 4 hour chunks each. But my playthrough ended at like 130 hours, so I still got a lot more to go. And yeah, that's going up in 4K and stuff. So I'm trying to get the best high quality footage of that as possible up on YouTube at the same time since I already am done streaming it. But yeah, I really want to go through like hard mode. I want to play hard mode at 60 FPS. I played the game at 30 FPS, so I want to try like a different mode. And the 60 FPS update was pretty good. It actually made the game look a little bit better. So I kind of want to check that out and just see what that's like and have some nicer gameplay fidelity to it all. But yeah, I really want to go through hard mode. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm very curious to see what you think about it. If you think it's as hard as I thought it was, but some people, they can.
I've heard it's difficult as shit.
We'll see. Oh yeah, and Hubert, thanks for joining us as well.
Dude,
thank you,
Max, for joining, man.
No problem.
And yeah, thank everyone in chat for hanging around, like showing us that support and coming out supporting Max like this. We had a ton of viewers, so thank you so much. And yeah, and again, support us at Easy Allies. You can always head over to patreon.com/easy-allies if you want to support us, or just in any way you want to support us. We are very appreciative for that. But that's gonna do it. We're done. We'll see you in 3 years.
We'll see you in a few years, guys.
See you in a few years.
All right, that's it.
Yeah. Take it easy, everyone, and yeah, enjoy the rest of your week. Take it easy and enjoy Rebirth. If you haven't finished it, but you should have. Bye.
Okay. And we're done. All right, so yeah, I'll be back in 2027 and we'll watch this again and we'll see if I'm wrong about anything or what I'm right about. All right. Take care, y'all. Bye-bye.